I'm ready. It's not what you're saying, are you? It's true. Gonna raise it, pause and if I'm in for it, I need my joy, my demo, my boo, my shako. I'll give them the level, like you want to do. Oh, my God, I'm a Tatia, Junior Catalina, while you'll be Falarira. Ẹ̀rẹ̀dẹ̀ la fi bọ̀fá, òbúkọ fún èṣù, ẹ̀yẹlé la fi bàjẹ́. Òkété fáwọn ìyá mi o, ẹ bá ń bẹ ajá fògùn, ẹ̀fọ́ bàtà ńlá ní pínpín. Ọ̀gọ̀ràn di méjì, ìjòkó, ọ̀sá mi ọ̀sá ẹlẹ́yẹ, ìka méjì.
Hello. Please share the live as you're coming in. Aboye. We're just getting started.
Living with joy, living with peace, living with blessing. I'm living with joy, living with peace, living with blessing. Living with joy, living with peace, I'm living with blessing. Living with joy, living with peace, living with blessing. If I were you, gbogbo rumor la ṣe o. Most of our life, ti ta koko ti ma jó ọ̀sẹ̀ ìtura ọmọ oníṣògbè.
Please share the live as you're coming in.
Òfun àrídẹ́gbẹ́ ìwọ ni gọ́sù òjòwà ògúndà òjòrà ìdí àmì lẹ́kẹ̀ ògúndà ọmọrin ìrọ̀sùn àwòrán ògúndà bèdè ògbìyànlá.
Share the live, tap the likes.
Ìdíyàmí àtẹ̀gbéyàwó alára ìka aláka ọ̀yẹ̀kú palaba òtúrá àṣìkún òtúrá àmọ́sùn ó pé èrìkúsá ó pé túrúpọ̀n ó pé fúnfún lóhùn ọ̀yẹ̀kú ṣìdí wọ́n rí àjọṣẹ́ wọ́n rí àparò ìrẹtẹ̀ olú ìrẹtẹ̀ olójọ́ ọmọ rí ṣìkà ọ̀yẹ̀kú bí wòlí ògbè olú ọ̀sá ló gbé.
Amazing music. A bẹ̀rẹ̀ pẹ̀lú orúkọ Olódùmarè ẹlẹ́dàá ayé àti ọ̀run. Mo dẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ mo kí yín ní kíkí tó ní ọlá jùlọ ní ẹlàbọ́rú ẹlàbọ́yè bọ́ ṣíṣe. Wonderful music by 100 and nothing. Yeah, amazing musician. Amazing Isheshe musician. So yeah, we are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the ancestors. A lot of us we've heard that term. You know, what does it actually mean? So I'm a sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn ancestors lénìí, but there's something in particular that I would like to zoom in on. So ẹ̀yin ẹ máa bọ̀ wá, ẹ máa bọ̀ wá, ẹ máa bọ̀ wá, ẹ máa wọlé wá, ẹ máa wọlé wá, ẹ máa wọlé wá o. Tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ tí ń wọlé wá, kẹ́ máa nu ẹsẹ̀ yín lẹ́nu ọ̀nà. Lórí ètò yìí, báwo la ṣe máa ń sọ pé báwo la ṣe máa ń nu ẹsẹ̀ wa lẹ́nu ọ̀nà? How do you wipe your feet at the entrance? A máa ń nu ẹsẹ̀ lẹ́nu ọ̀nà by liking and sharing as you're coming in. By liking and sharing as we're coming in. So yeah, èní yìí a máa sọ̀rọ̀ kan tó dẹ̀ ṣe pàtàkì. Tó ṣe pàtàkì, it's fundamental to our ìṣẹ̀ṣe, is fundamental to our being, you know, into who we are as a people. It's very, very fundamental. So a máa wá sọ ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn lénìí o. Ó dẹ̀ ní fídíò kan tí máa play náà. Ó ní fídíò kan tí máa play tá bá fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ yìí. Ṣó ti yé yín? Ó ní fídíò kan tí máa play tá bá fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ yìí. So yeah, ní pẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ o, ní pẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀. Mo máa play video yẹn. But in the meantime, yeah, ní pẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀, but in the meantime, mo kàn fẹ́ sáré share àwọn nǹkan kan.
If I'm in for you, I need my joy.
Èmi máa yọ̀.
My shackle. Give them the level. Lẹ́yìn ẹ̀jú wa kò tó. Ọmọ tó dá mẹ́ta.
Tí a ríra. Amazing music, amazing music. Ẹ̀fọ́ Bàtálá nígbín.
Living with joy, living with peace, living with blessing. I'm living with joy, living with peace,
Living with blessing. Living with peace, living with blessing, yeah.
living with joy, living with peace, living with blessing. If I were you,
We're gonna get started soon. We're gonna get started soon. Today's topic is gonna be an interesting one. Ẹ káàbọ̀ lórí ètò bẹ́ ṣe ń wọlé ẹjọ́. Ẹ máa bá wa share bẹ́ ṣe ń wọlé ẹ̀yin èèyàn. We're gonna get started soon. We're just warming up. We're just setting up. Bàbá mi alátúnṣe. Ogbó àtọ́ bàbá o. Àbọ̀rọ̀ àbọ̀yè bàbá. Kábíyèsí o. Mo ríṣẹ́ yín o. Mo láì bí iṣẹ́ ṣe ń lọ ńbẹ̀ yẹn o. Ọwọ́ yá máa ròkè lágbára Ìdùmarè. Ọwọ́ yá máa ròkè ẹ̀ ní ṣe lásán o. Ẹ̀ ní ṣe lásán. Ire á máa tọ̀ yín wá. Ajé á máa tọ̀ yín wá. Ajé á tún wá fi lé yín ṣebùgbé. Lágbára Ìdùmarè. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá, ẹ ṣeun bàbá. Though that was inspiring. Nǹkan tá fẹ́ máa rí àwọn àgbà wa, you know, ìtọ̀nà tá fẹ́ máa rí lọ́wọ́ àwọn àgbà wa nìyẹn. Kọ́ máa fi wọ̀n wá pé àwọn èèyàn máa ń ṣiṣẹ́ ni, èèyàn máa ń ṣe kó tó jẹ ni, and you can be self-enterprising. So mo like ìyẹn, ṣeun bàbá mi. I was very excited. I was very happy when I saw that. Tí mo rí fídíò ilé iṣẹ́ yín tẹ́ show yẹn. I was very excited when I saw that. Ọwọ́ yá máa ròkè ni ẹ̀ ní ṣe lásán bàbá o. Ẹ̀ ní ṣe lásán. Èdùmàrè á máa bùkún yín. Àwọn oníbàárà rere tó máa mú owó wá, wọ́n á máa mú owó wá, láti ojú mẹ́rẹ̀ẹ̀rin àgbálá ayé yìí lọ́sẹ̀ máa mú owó wá sọ́dọ̀ yín, wọ́n á máa bá yín ná owó. Àwọn oníbàárà rere làwọn irúnmọlẹ̀, wọ́n á máa direct wá sọ́dọ̀ yín tó ti yẹ yín. Gbogbo àdáwọlé yín á wá di ire àti àṣẹ lọ́wọ́ orí á wá lànà ajé fún yín lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá mi. Thanks for the likes, thanks for the share as well. I was very excited when I saw that. Mo ṣe rí yẹn. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá. So yes, nípa ètò ìní, we're going to talk about the.
Bàbá mi Orí Réré, mo ṣe àbọrúbọ yìí o. Gbogbo àtọ bàbá.
Kábíyèsí bàbá.
Ẹ kú ètò náà, ẹ ṣé o. Gbogbo ìwúre tẹ́ ṣe àwọlé àṣẹ o.
Àṣẹ.
Orí àgbà, orí àkómọ́ra o.
Àṣẹ.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Mo kàn ní kí n fi wọ́n wípé káwọn èèyàn náà kàn tiẹ̀ mọ one or two things táwọn èèyàn máa ń ṣe náà ni kó tó di wípé kinní mi mọ bí tí inspiration yẹn kàn tiẹ̀ wá ẹ jẹ́ ń jù síbẹ̀ náà kan àìmọ̀ ẹni tó máa nílò rẹ̀. So àwọn iṣẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ pé I'm into construction, so
I wasn't aware of
that. Kí lẹ sọ bàbá mi?
I wasn't aware of that. Èmi ò mọ̀ yẹn.
A ti sọ ní orí ìkànnì atamátàsé nígbà kan.
Bí a mọ̀ sí níbẹ̀ gbà yẹn.
Ẹ sí ń bẹ̀ ni ẹ sí ń bẹ̀. Ìyá Ọlájé gan ló béèrè ńgbà yẹn. Nígbà ó dà pé wọ́n wọnú yàrá mi lọ náà wá ń rí àwọn nǹkan kan wá ní pé òkè o bóyá mo á ṣàlàyé àwọn wá ń béèrè àwọn oníkálukú interview lóríṣiríṣi mo ní
wow.
So I'm into building and construction, I'm into property. So but iṣẹ́ ìyẹn that is on a professional ground. But ṣe rí a lè sọ pé from professional ground ká má ṣe àwọn iṣẹ́ orí eléyìí tí Elédùmarè náà tún fún wa, so gbogbo ẹ̀ wọnú ara wọn ni tó yẹ yín bàbá. So nǹkan tó ń fún wa lóúnjẹ ní ẹ̀gbẹ̀ẹ̀gbẹ́ kan nìyẹn, so Elédùmarè kó túbọ̀ jẹ́ kó rọ̀ wá lọ́rùn ju bá a ti ń ṣe lọ. So ẹ ṣé bàbá mi gan o, ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́, ẹ ṣé.
Ọwọ́ yá máa rò tèmi wa. I was happy to see that.
Àṣẹ wa.
Ìwúlò máa ṣe wá ní ìwúlò bó ṣe wà náà nìyẹn o.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Good feeling.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Ibi tẹ́ rí yẹn Ọ̀ṣun state nìyẹn.
Ọ̀ṣun state, okay. Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ́wà base?
Ọ̀ṣun state. No, Èkó mo wà. Èkó, but kò síbi tí mi ti ń ṣiṣẹ́.
Wow, that's great.
Mo láwọn ọmọọṣẹ́ tó máa ń ṣiṣẹ́ tíṣẹ́ bá ti wà báyẹn ẹni pé ká mobilize ara wa lọ síbẹ̀ kí a lè ṣe nǹkan tó bá yẹ ká ṣe.
Iṣẹ́ àti èrè
nǹkan tá à ń ṣe nìyẹn.
Iṣẹ́ àti èrè wọ́n ṣe nǹkan náà, iṣẹ́ náà ló mú èrè wá, but èrè gangan là wá. So lágbára Èdùmàrè èrè yín á pọ̀, èrè tẹ́ máa jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ á bá yín kalẹ̀.
Àṣẹ wa. Ẹ ṣé gan, mo really appreciate bàbá mi. Ẹ máa bẹ́tò bọ̀bá yẹn káwa náà wà lábẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́. Ẹ
ṣeun. Ní pẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ń sìn, so for those that are coming in, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ bá mi share. Yami Wisdom Talks with Tammy. I hope you're well. Yami, please share as you're coming in. So we're gonna get started. I saw a video, to be honest with you, when I finally completed everything I was doing earlier, topic wo ni màá mú nínú ìwé yìí lénìí. I wasn't sure, and I was even feeling a little bit, low energy. Mo wá ní pé okay, let me just go on TikTok. I was just browsing and I saw a video. As soon as I saw the video, I knew it would have to be about the video. Torí pé, and it relates to one of the chapters in the book as well. But it's a very important topic. Mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ kí bàbá mi, ẹ̀yin náà ẹ máa lè bá wa yànnàná ẹ̀ as usual, being the sage that you are. Greetings, my sister Shimatas. I hope you're well. I saw your message and I think I responded to your message. But yeah, that's something. That was a brilliant suggestion, by the way. So I'll definitely I'll try to work on that. That was a brilliant suggestion, by the way. So I'll try to work on that. Okay, I'll try to make time for it. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a wonderful day. You're not still in the office, are you? Yawa Stacy Weeze, Resca Beauty fan page. I hope you're well. Stacy Weeze, who's that? I hope you're well. Aboro Aboyo and Yawa, Aboro Aboye in Babawa. So we're gonna get started shortly, but if everyone could please like and share so that more people can be made aware that we're here. I have just shared myself as well. So we, just to make people aware that we're here. That we're starting. So yeah, I saw a video. Let me actually put the video up on my other phone. Let me put the video up. I saw a video and I was thinking, wow, this is actually a brilliant topic to delve into. Let me find the video. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Yeah. Actually, let me see if it allows me to actually if I'm able to share this via my computer, that would actually be even better, Let me give it a try. Let's see if let's see if that works. Because I've never used TikTok. More low TikTok, low laptop, low phone, comment man low TikTok. So more sure, but I am a shishebo. I just can try. Sometimes if you don't try, you don't know, right? If you don't try, you don't know. Come on then. So yeah. Is that Stacey Wee's fan page? I don't know who that is, but greetings, greetings. Yes, I need to learn how to pronounce the words. Okay, so okay, before I am able to, okay, I'll think of something. I'll think of something. Yeah, I'll have to figure something out. So yeah, I don't know what's happening. Just bear with me just one second. Actually, I don't know what's happening. The video is not sharing. I'm trying to share the video to my MacBook, but that's not working. I mean, just need to hold my phone up. Okay, let me do that. Yeah, I don't know who she playing with, but it's an invisible person, and they're tickling her. Stop. And I pray so much, it can't be no bad spirit in her. I pray so much over this house. Wow. She is really interacting. Oh my goodness. Y'all, I don't know who she playing with, but it's an invisible person. Yeah. They're tickling her. So basically, I hope everyone was able to see that video. Sherry got the one in the video, yeah. Basically, that's a child that's still connected. Because basically, there's a chapter in the book where I basically explained that Ori and the sacred circle, aligning with community and collective Ashe, was the title for it. Let me see if I can bring it up on the script actually, so that I won't have to hold the book up, because sometimes it can be a bit exhausting holding the book up. So arrival. Okay, let me bring it up on here. I've got the script up. No, not that. Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. So yeah. So basically, I'm going to read from this chapter, Ori and the Sacred Circle. For those of you who have the book, I'm going to be reading from page 184. So page 184 is where I'm going to be reading from. Okay, Sister Shimatas, you're saying, my niece has a thing with mom's face. She face like she has seen her in another life or something. Oh, really? Okay. So basically, what this chapter speaks of, like I said, please, like tap the likes and share as you're coming in. We're going to explain the phenomenon being experienced by the child in that video. We're going to explain it. So we're going to explain the phenomenon being experienced by that child. Bear with me just a second. Okay. Okay, so yeah, basically, what's going on there? Anyone, feel free to send a request if you're coming up, yeah? I'm going to read from the book and then I'll explain it. Basically, we are not alone. Part of the mind control and the brainwashing we've all been subjected to is trying to individualize us. You know, the agenda attempted and has been attempting to individualize us, to make you feel isolated. Because when you are isolated, or you think if you can be manipulated into thinking you are isolated, that you should just, look after your own interests, no one else, there is no community around you, you're just by yourself. If you can be isolated, then you can be manipulated. You understand? So the whole system and the whole colonization of the mind, the colonization of our Ori, some of the charms and the methods that they use is creating the perception of isolation. But in reality, and if we look into our ancestral data, it's always that we are not alone. So what this image here is depicting, and it says, your arrival was not silent. So the baby coming into the world, and as you can see, the beautiful mother holding on to the beautiful baby, the arrival of the baby was not silent. Okay? So you were not born alone. Even if your birth was solitary in body, your arrival was witnessed in spirit by ancestors, guides, and forces who stood beside you as your Ori declared its destiny. Remember yesterday, we covered, one of the topics we covered yesterday was a topic which basically illustrated how every Ori, before descending into this world, you actually went and you received your destiny. And in the Yoruba cosmology, destiny is twofold. There's your Ikmi and there's your Ayomo. Both of which, obviously, the English term for both is basically your destiny and or you could say your mission, your assignment. Whichever word you play, you choose. You understand? So basically, but when we are also coming into this world after receiving our destiny, after receiving our Ikmi and Ayomo, 25 to life. Thank you very much for the gift. Please share the live as you're coming in. Thanks for reposting as well. Stacy Wiz, thanks for reposting. And 25 to live, thanks for reposting. That name sounds familiar, by the way. That Stacy Wiz sounds familiar. I'm not sure who that is, but the name sounds familiar. So yeah, so when we're coming into this world, as we are exiting the birth canal, as we are exiting the womb with our mother, there are guiding spirits accompanying us. Because we are never alone. We are part of a community. We have ancestral support systems. Do you understand? So we are never alone. Dáwà sílé ayé yìí. Àwọn ancestors wa tẹ̀lé wa wá, àwọn egungun wa, àwọn ará ọ̀run. Ṣó ti yẹ, wọ́n tẹ̀lé wa wá. Your guiding spirit. Nínú Ifá, even Ifá educates us that you even have your guiding spirit comes with you as you're coming into the world as well. That's why tó bá ṣe ẹ̀sìn táyé ọmọ, or tó bá ṣe ìtẹ̀fá, ó máa jẹ́ kí ọmọ náà or ẹni náà kó mọ̀ pé, okay, this is your guiding spirit that actually accompanied you as you were coming into this world. So that's what this image here was depicting. You see, as the child was birthed, you can see the ancestors smiling, looking joyful in the background. You can see the ancestors smiling, looking joyful in the background. You understand? The mother, obviously, they're not visible to the mother, but both the mother and the child, they had company. We were never alone. Okay, even now as we're speaking, we are still not alone, and in addition to our immediate ancestor, our ancestors, our lineage, there is also our egbe, which is basically the term I can use for it. It's like our clan. You know, even in Orun, which in English they call it the heavens or the spiritual realm, we had a clan. So àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa náà, they're watching us, they're with us. You understand? They're watching over us. They're fighting battles for us. They're trying to communicate with us. They're trying to send messages to us. So when I saw that video of that child playing with invisible elements, and you can see she's not just playing and pretending. That was an interactive process. There's something interacting with that child. Bàbá mi Ọlámilékan, àbọ̀rọ̀ àbọ̀yè bàbá o, àbọ̀rọ̀ àbọ̀yè bàbá, ṣé dáadáa ni o? Ṣé dáadáa ni? Ẹ káàbọ̀. Yeah, please share the likes and as you're coming in, share the live as you're coming in. So ọmọdé tá a rí yẹn, the way the child was looking very joyful and interacting. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá mi. Asúre ìwòrìwò fún ogbó àtọ́ bàbá. So yeah, bí ọmọ yẹn ṣe ń ṣe yẹn, okay, adúpẹ́ ọpẹ́ ní f'Olódùmarè o. Dáadáa náà la máa rí o, ire náà la máa gbọ́ o. Ìpàdé wa a máa di ire àti ayọ̀ lágbára Èdùmàrè o, lágbára lọ́wọ́ orí. Ẹ ṣeun bá mi. Thanks for the share as well. Thanks for the likes. So yeah, ẹ jẹ́ kí n tún gbé fídíò yẹn sókè again just in case pé àwọn kan ṣẹ̀ ń wọlé tí wọn ò dẹ̀ rí àwòrán yẹn tí wọn ò dẹ̀ rí wò. Báwo máa ṣe ṣe o? Okay, ẹ jẹ́ kí n. Let me do this. So yeah, what the parent was witnessing there is the child is playing with some invisible elements, and you can see it was very interactive. Let me put the video up on the screen again. So ọmọ yẹn bá àwọn nǹkan kan ṣeré.
And they're tickling her. Stop. And I pray so much, it can't be no bad spirit in here. I pray so much over this house. Wow.
And this is not AI, by the way. That's not AI.
Oh my goodness. Y'all, I don't know who she playing with, but it's an invisible person.
Exactly. Bàbá mi Ọlámilékan sọ pé àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ló ń bá ṣeré. In ẹgbẹ́, the English term that I've been able to leverage for it is basically your clan. When we come into this world, we have something called ẹgbẹ́ as well. A ní àwọn ẹgbẹ́. In addition to our lineage, in addition to our ancestral, our ancestors, àwọn eégún yàtọ̀ sáwọn ẹgbẹ́. Ṣó ti yé yín, àwọn eégún wa ni àwọn bàbá ńlá wa, àwọn ìyá ńlá wa tí wọ́n ti tẹ̀lẹ̀ rí, tí wọ́n ti tẹ̀lẹ̀ pẹ́ tó tún wá tẹ̀lẹ̀ lọ tó wà ní ọ̀run. Ṣó ti yé yín, àwọn eégún wa nìyẹn. Ó yàtọ̀ sí àwọn ẹgbẹ́. Àwọn ẹgbẹ́, they're like our clan, our crew. in Orun, in the spiritual realm, we had the crew, we had the clan. Those words may not really may not do it justice enough, but those are the closest words. Other people may have words that explain it better, but in my mind, what I can think of right now is maybe your clan or your crew. You understand? And they are always accompanying us on this journey. At least initially they are, but after once we've been switched off from them and we're not able to tune into their frequency, after a while, based on my learnings, I have been taught that they actually leave us. But the ancestors as well. So those people, what the child was playing could be the Egbe or there could be the ancestors, because the ancestors are always watching. They are always watching. They are always in the background as we are embarking on this journey. So, Sister She Matters, you can see in 184, there is a council of ancestors. So yes, when we go, no, you're looking for, the page you should be looking for is page 184. But yes, there is a council of ancestors. When we go to receive our destiny, there is a council of selected ancestors. It's always in the presence of Olodumare, the council of ancestors, and our Ikmonri, when we go to receive our destiny from Olodumare. Okay, so when I saw that video of that child, wow, I'm like, wow, amazing. But that basically gave me my direction for today's live, for today's conversation. Is okay, why don't we talk about it? Because I sort of I didn't really go into great detail in the book, but there were sprinkles of it in various chapters. But I think this chapter explained it. But there's another chapter called, which Sister She Matters is referring to there, about the Council of Ancestors. But that particular one was explaining it in the context of Ikmi and Anyomo. Where can you find the video? I'm gonna have to share it, but I kind of need to exit the live in order for me to do that. But I will share it with you. Let me see if I can do it in this way. Bear with me a second. So yeah, let me share that video. Yeah, if I can do that on live, I will. But if I can't, I may need to do that after the live, I'm afraid. Because I don't think I can multitask like that. I may need to log into a different account. Okay, yeah. So basically, I'll try and find a way. I'll figure it out. I'll have to find a way to do that after the live. So yeah. So basically, when I saw that video, it just gave me my direction for what we're going to be talking about today in this live. I'm like, okay, why don't we talk about the ancestors a bit? The Council of Ancestors, the interrelation between the ancestors and the Ori. Because I know that part of the brainwash, part of the manipulation and the misinformation is trying to make us think we are alone, but we're never alone. We are never alone, no. We're never alone. We didn't come into this world alone anyway. But through our actions, sometimes we can lose that connection and we can lose those that support system. Ali, lose our ancestors. Wow. Ali, our ancestors were one. Ní kẹ́yìn lẹ́yìn wa, one ní dẹ̀yìn lẹ́yìn wa. Àbí báwo lọ ṣe máa ń sọ? Wọ́n ní fi wálẹ̀ o. Àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa máa gbè wá. Wọ́n ní dẹ̀yìn lẹ́yìn wa. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Ṣó ti yé yín, àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa máa gbè wá. May our ancestors always watch over us and not abandon us, because and which is why it's important. There is an urgency for us to reconnect, because after a while, once they grow tired, after they've been trying to communicate with you, they've been sending messages, they've been sending signals, they've been trying to draw your attention to something. If you're not listening and you're completely tuned out, after a while they move on. After a while, they move on. Based on my teachings, based on what I've learned within the culture as well, within Ifa, àwọn ẹgbẹ́ náà máa ń kúrò lọ́nà èèyàn. Torí èmi náà ti lọ, ìgbà tẹ́mi padà wá sínú Ifá, and it was so amazing. It was an amazing experience. There was something that happened. Something happened which accelerated, but I thought I could play with Isheshe. I thought I could play with Ifa in terms of come in, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I thought I could do that, but unfortunately, as soon as I had maybe by even brushing across the grid, it sent some alert to in the ancestral realm. They were alerted that I was passing through and they had to show me something. They had to show me basically. So I try not to go into the personal divinations too much, but this particular one, I thought I could play with this thing. Mo fi ke mo lè fi Ifá ṣeré ike mo kàn lè wá àwa lókè òkun ẹkọjá ká ṣáà máa learn ká ṣáà máa wá sínú àwọn ètò ìṣẹ̀ṣe ká ṣáà máa ká máa gbọ́ káwọn àwọn máa kí Ifá ká kàn máa gbẹ̀gbẹ́ kọjá we don't know bóyá a fẹ́ wá sínú ẹ̀ pátápátá. I thought I could do that, but àwọn ẹgbẹ́ mi gangan lọ́ fi wọ̀n mí pé oh serious bàbá yìí oh serious o àmọ́ pé o ti ń tají then wálé tán o. Torí àwa ti ń try láti send message sí ẹ tipẹ́ ìwọ ló di tí o Èdùmàrè oníjẹ́ adi tí ìwọ ló owó bẹ́ẹ̀ o àwa náà gbàtà tẹ̀ tí a ti ń gbé ẹ tipẹ́ a ti ń gbé ẹ a dẹ̀ ti ń try láti send message sí ẹ o ò dẹ̀ wo bẹ́ẹ̀ máa bá tiẹ̀ lọ́ gbà yẹn but nígbà tí mo wá tí àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa rí kódà ké mo shadow mi rọra brush connection or brush grid. They had to send me a message and I received it. Mo dẹ̀ mo láti lọ bí olúwo mi sí pé kí leléyìí. That message it was unavoidable. Ó dàbẹ̀ ní pé kí obìnrin kan kó fẹ́ràn èèyàn. Okay, sometimes us men we don't know how to read hints sometimes. Ó gbọ́ àtọ́ bàbá mi Ọlátúnjí Olúmídé mo ṣe bá dún ní lọ. Wá máa bá wa ṣe àṣẹ àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa máa bá wa ṣe o bàbá mi Ọlátúnjí Olúmídé àbọ̀rọ̀ àbọ̀yè bàbá wa ẹ feel free láti wá sókè o torí ẹ̀yin awo náà lẹ mọ̀ tán nǹkan tí mò ń try láti sọ yìí ẹ̀yin awo ẹ mọ̀ jù èmi lọ so feel free to come but so let me just complete it. So basically I thought they sent me a message that was unavoidable. I was trying to compare that to us men. Women sometimes accuse us and it's also true of not being able to take hints, and it's true. Men sometimes we're not very good at taking hints. You have to be candid when you're dealing with a man. I don't know if we've always been like that. I don't know, but that's the way we are as men. We're not taking hints. So basically, my own egbe, they've been trying to send me messages. Apparently, so that's the way it turned out that they've been trying to get some messages through to me, and I've not been paying attention. I've not been alert. I've not been aware. So they finally did something when I was coming into Isheshe and learning Ifa, and I thought I could just come and play with it. They had to show me something that was unavoidable, that was inescapable. It was a favor as well, but it was a favor that they made it so blatant that I needed to go and do a divination on it. I had to go and speak to my Oluwo. Babalawo mi mo de shebawo mo sheba Oluwo mi o. I had to go and speak to him like kilele is too obvious, Jew. This is not an accident. This is like ọgbẹ́ nǹkan síbi kan síbi kò sí bí mo ṣe lè interpret yẹn in any other way rather than let's call it, for the purpose of this conversation, let's call it spiritual intervention or like a message. You understand? Ẹ ṣeun bàbá mi mo try láti gbé yín wọlé o ó kọ́ ó dà pé network ni. Mo try láti gbé yín wọlé o mo ṣe bá jóni lọ o. So this came from, but I know that it was a message, and I needed to go and our Lord Baba Oluwo mi sọ̀rọ̀ wá dá Ifá sí ọ ṣe wàá mọ̀ pé àwọn ẹgbẹ́ mi lọ send message sí mi nípa sọ pé ó ti ń dé nípa àwọn tí ń ní kékin ó ti pẹ́ tó ti ń try láti get message across to me ó ti pẹ́ but mo respond mo respond mo rí nǹkan tó ń try láti bá mi sọ nǹkan tó dẹ̀ fẹ́ kí n ṣe mo ṣe tó ti yẹ yín torí kí mo mọ̀. I was in a complete ignorant state. Mo dem answer fáwọn èèyàn pé àwọn ẹ̀sìn àjòjì yẹn, if you're Christian or you're Muslim, trust me, you're in ignorance. If you don't have any connection with what I called the Olodumare Universal Network, if you're not practicing, if you're not an Isheshe practitioner, if you don't know anything about Ifa, you are in complete ignorance because you are not alone. But when you are tuned out of the system, that means you're unable to, you can't hear, you can't see, and you can't perceive. You understand? Èdùmàrè oníjẹ́ ká wà bí aláìsí o. Ẹlẹ́kítárì kí bàbá mi, àbọ̀rọ̀ àbọ̀yè bàbá mo ṣe bá wo Ifá orí mi rèé o, mo ṣe bá Juni lọ, ṣé dáadáa ni bàbá? Ó dà kí bàbá ṣì lè busy lọ́wọ́. Mo ṣe bá ọ. Ẹ kú pẹ̀lú wa o. So yeah, so I got the message in the end. I got the message in the end because it was honest. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá, ṣé dáadáa ni bàbá? Àbọ̀rọ̀ àbọ̀yè o. Àbọ̀rọ̀ àbọ̀yè. Okay, ó dà kí bàbá busy ni. Okay, ẹ jẹ́ àṣìmá bẹ́tò lọ́nà. So yeah, I finally got a message. I've been playing blind and deaf. I probably got a message in the end that was unavoidable. There was nothing else to it. It couldn't have come from anywhere else. And I needed to go and find out what the message was trying to tell me. Then I found out that basically, ẹ ṣeun bàbá, mo ṣe bá Juni lọ o. Ẹ kú àtàtàárọ̀ bàbá, ṣé dáadáa ni sà? He's gonna mute again. So yeah, I finally got a message from my egbe, and they let me know that some things were revealed, which which was like wow. I was I was they really sat me down with what was shown to me. It humbled me. It sat me down. So àwa wà nílé ayé yìí, nígbà míì a máa ń fi pé àwa nìkan la wà. We're not alone. We're over here. We're ambitious. We're doing things. We're living life. We're partying. We're getting married. We're having children. We're having relationships. We're doing things. We're enterprising. We're experiencing things. But we forget that we were never alone. And some of us, we had agreements with our clan before coming here that ṣe bá délé ayé yìí o, gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tí mò ń kó jọ màmá send díẹ̀ fẹ́yìn náà, ṣe bá délé ayé yìí tẹ́ bá gbè mí, mo ní àwọn nǹkan kan tí màmá fún yín o, tó ti yé yín, èmi náà make sure kí bẹ́ẹ̀ mi náà ṣe enjoy, ẹ̀yin náà ẹ máa rí ọwọ́ mi o. As I'm enjoying, as I'm living my life, as I'm making money, once I become rich, once I become comfortable in life, whatever I'm acquiring, I'll make sure that don't worry, I'll send some to you guys as well. So ti yé yín, àwọn tí wọ́n dẹ̀ máa ń gbàgbé àdéhùn tó ń ṣe fún ẹgbẹ́, and I'm telling you this, so based on what's been taught to me, your ẹgbẹ́ can pull you back. Your egbe and your ancestors, they can remove you from this world or accelerate your expiration in this world if you're not keeping to your I don't like to use the word spirit because I don't want it to sound too mystical. Basically, your contract, your agreement, if you don't deliver according to your agreement that you made before coming here, they can accelerate your exit as well. You understand? So taba wá sí ilé ayé yìí, taba wá ń jẹ tá à ń mu, tá à ń ṣe tí à ń mọ̀, tá à ń ṣe báyìí, ẹ má máa jẹ́ ká máa gbàgbé àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa tá a filẹ̀ lọ́run. Ẹ má máa jẹ́ ká gbàgbé àwọn ancestors wa, àwọn àgbà wa, àwọn eégún wa tó ti yé yín. Ẹ jẹ́ a máa try láti máa pèsè, ká máa ṣe ìpèsè, ká máa appease wọn náà, ká máa make sure pé àwọn náà ń rí ọwọ́ wa. Kókò má dàbẹ́ ní pé àwa nìkan là ń lọ ilé ayé yìí. Torí àwọn ancestors wa ń gbè wá. Àwọn eégún wa ń gbè wá o, ó ní àwọn ọjà kan tó máa ń jà fún wa, ṣó ti yé yín, ó ní àwọn ewu kan tó máa ń yọ kúrò lọ́nà fún wa, àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa náà máa ń gbè wá, ó ní àwọn nǹkan kan táwọn ti máa rí tó máa block away from us, ṣó ti yé yín, tó máa block away, àti pé ó ní àwọn àdéhùn, ó ṣeé ṣe káwa náà sì ní àdéhùn pẹ̀lú wọn, ṣó ti yé yín, nígbà ó ṣeé ṣe káwa náà sì ní àdéhùn pẹ̀lú wọn, and you want to stay connected because when you're not connected, you're disconnected. So making provisions to your egbe and your what's it called, and your ancestors, àwọn ará ọ̀run wa, àwọn eégún wa, is part of what we do. It's a necessity. It's part of what we do, so that they know that you still remember them. It's in remembrance. It's in appreciation. It's in acknowledgement. You understand? And obviously, they are metaphysical beings. Sometimes they can see a danger in our way and avert the danger because we've maintained. That's out of the benefit of, maintaining that connection with them. So, bàbá mi, okay, bàbá mi Kẹ́hìndé Astrop, ìbejì ni mo ń kí sí yẹn o, ìbà ìbejì o, àṣebà o, ìbà mo ṣe bá Juni lọ o, bàbá ṣé dáadáa ni o, ẹ kú àtàtàárọ̀ bàbá. Okay, the topic we're delving into today, we're starting with ancestors. And I'm just reading a chapter from the book. I'm going to read a chapter from the book. Mo dẹ̀ fi àwòrán kan hàn tí ọmọdé kan kẹjẹ kí n tún gbà wò fún for the benefit of those just coming in. Let me put the video up on the screen one more time. I may have to do it a couple more times after this. But jẹ́ kí n gbé sókè again. So ẹ wo fídíò yìí. Fídíò yìí ló inspire live tèmi lẹ́nu.
And they're tickling her.
Let me rewind.
Y'all, I don't know who she playing with, but it's an invisible person, and they're tickling her. Stop. And I pray so much, it can't be no bad spirit in here. 'Cause I pray so much over this house. Wow. She is really interacting. Oh my goodness.
Ọmọ yẹn lọ kí irú ọwọ́ ìyá tó bọ́ sí tó bá lọ bọ́ sí ọwọ́ àwọn ìyá kan tó ní ignorance ẹ pé ẹ̀sìn kìrìsìtẹ́nì àbí ẹ̀sìn muslim ti jọba lórí wọn yàmàyàmà inú ewu ńlá lọmọ yẹn kó sí yẹn bó ṣe lọ ń ṣe gbogbo yẹn o. Tó ti yé yí ọ mú lọ church ọ lọ kó ẹgbàá fún nìyẹn o. Tó ti yé yí ọ lọ donate ẹ fún Allah nìyẹn o. So even the child is very fortunate that the mother is at least not looking at it as anything crazy, you know. So our Christian, Oma Mude church is our Christian, all cope and care for the year. Wapen no more pa. Just say one exercise or more. So that child is actually very fortunate that the mother is at least trying to be understanding about what's going on. One of these things, our statement that the mother made was that she prays in this house, so she knows that it cannot be an evil spirit that's interacting with the child in that way. So when you follow the marriage, any common sense there. So that's what led to this chapter. I just wanted to read this chapter about the ancestor. So what I started from here, basically from the book. This chapter 19, Ori and the Sacred Circle, aligning with community and collective Ashe, under part 4, Ori Reawakening. And the image, what the image is illustrating is that as the child is being born, àwọn baba ńlá wa àwọn egungun wa àwọn ará ọ̀run wa unsupported, they are always in contact, they are always watching over us. The ancestors are always watching over us, you understand? They're in the background, they're watching as we as we're going through this experience, so we are never alone. So that's what the caption says. Your arrival was not silent rather. You were not born alone. Even if your birth was solitary in body, your arrival was witnessed in spirit by ancestors, guides, forces who stood beside you as your Ori declared its destiny. In Yoruba cosmology, existence is never isolated. Destiny may be individual, but Ashe is communal. It's a community thing. Just as a drum must play in harmony with the ensemble, your Ori is part of a sacred circle, family, tribe, ancestor, earth, and the divine council. When your Ori aligns with this network, your power multiplies. Ọmọ tí kìí ṣẹ̀sìn kò mọ ẹgbẹ́ rẹ̀. A child who rejects their roots cannot know their true clan. And the word clan may not really describe Egbe, with 100% accuracy, because sometimes an English word or an English alternative or translation for the phenomenon that happens, in Isheshe, in Ifa, sometimes it's not like for like. Sometimes the English word it doesn't quite capture what it really means and what it really represents. But the closest I could find was clan, or perhaps you could say crew. Even crew diminishes it a little bit. I think clan is probably the best thing I could go for. So Ori is a communal being. Though deeply personal, Ori does not exist in isolation. It is constantly interfacing with the Ori of others in relationships, community, and partnership. The people who were present when we did the impact of masturbation in marriages. When we did the show about impact of masturbation in marriages, one of the things, one of the disadvantages is that it basically diminishes the Ori to Ori union within the marriage, because when a man and a woman come together and they are married together and they're living together, is more than that. It's not just a physical man that you see, even it's the marriage of the Ori as well. One Ori coming into communal bonding with the other Ori. So when you introduce an object and you're using it to masturbate, whether it's a doll or what's it called, or a vibrator, you've now parted the Ori. So you've now separated the Ori to Ori union. And that's when you find when a husband start masturbating, or when the wife start masturbating and using, especially when they're using a dead object, it starts to separate, it starts to diminish the Ori to Ori union within that relationship. As the Ori starts departing, what you're going to find that husband and the wife will then begin to grow apart as well, until they eventually separate. Which is why the things that's been introduced to our consciousness, like vibration, like vibrators, sex dolls, and other tools like that, that are not of the divine, they are there to separate us, to keep us apart, to create a division between us, between man and woman, between husband and wife. So those who were present when we did that lecture, and also those who have seen the video that I released, some of the cutouts that I was able to download, and I put them out on my page, they'll be able to find that information there. So what we're doing with the vibrators and sex dolls and even masturbation, it's not harmless. It's not harmless. It's doing us great harm, especially in relationship and also in as an individual as well. But that's not today's topic. I just wanted to touch on that because again, this also relates. So, though deeply personal, Ori does not exist in isolation. It is constantly interfacing with the Ori of others in relationships, in the community and partnerships. Ikmori, the pre-incarnate divine self, Egbe Ọ̀run, spiritual peers and astral companions and ancestors and lineages. So the Ori, although when you see an individual, you may not be aware that all those communities exist, but they do. They do. When you come into Ifa, that's one of the things that the Babalawo draws your attention to. That's one of the things that your Babalawo draws your attention to, that your Ori does not exist in isolation, that no, you are part of a whole network, you're part of a whole system. Every single one of us, we are. Our Ori is part of a community. You understand? So it's important that we realize that. Let me continue reading. So the collective Ashe of a people, place, or movement as well. Okay, that's a continuation. Okay, so this means every step you take affects the rhythm of a sacred whole. Every decision you make, does not only affect you as an individual, but it affects the equilibrium, the rhythm of the whole, of the sacred whole, of the collective. Thanks for the gift, though. Thanks for the gift. I really appreciate that. Kò ní tọ́ níbi tẹ́tí mu á máa pọ̀ sí ni ẹ̀ ní mọ̀sálẹ̀ ọwọ́ yóò ní mọ̀sálẹ̀ àpò lágbára Èdùmàrè.
àṣẹ o àbọ̀rọ̀ àbọ̀rọ̀ gbogbo ilé o.
Ogbó àtọ́ bàbá.
Mo kí
Ogbó
yín o.
àtọ́.
Mo ṣe bá
Ah,
wọn.
àwa
Yes,
náà
sir.
kí yóò gbà tọ́ o, mo ṣe bá Júnilọ́, mo ṣe bá wo o. Ifá orí mi rẹ o, ṣé
Kí yín
dáadáa ní
bàbá
bàbá
mi,
o?
mo kí yín gbogbo ilé pátápátá, aláti ṣe bàbá mo kí yín sàn bọ́rọ̀ ẹ̀sán.
Ó dà kí bàbá aláṣọṣe wà lórí call at the moment o. Mo rí pé coffee cup wọn la rí at the moment, ó dà kí bàbá wà. Okay, so ẹ ṣeun bàbá o, ẹ kú àtàtàárọ̀ bàbá Olúmídé, mo ṣe bá wo yo, mo ṣe bá wo, mo ṣe bá Júnilọ́. So yeah, so that means every step you take affects the rhythm of the sacred whole. You're not isolated, okay? And it's not just about yourself, because we are all part of the astral collective. So and when Ashe multiplies, when Ori stands united, or one head is better than two heads is better than one. We know that. But when we realize that we're actually, how beautiful is this image? And I can zoom in. How beautiful is this image? Huh? How beautiful is this image? Wow. The great philosophers of the world, of the old, they say amongst our community there is safety, so something along those lines. So yeah, so it's about realizing that we're never alone. Ashe multiplies. Your Ashe multiplies when Ori stands united. When Ori stands in fellowship with other people who are aligned, who are connected, to the divine network. You understand? So your Ashe multiplies, which is why it's very powerful when we come together, maybe in veneration, praising our ancestors, praising Ifa, praising Olodumare, praising our Egungun, our Araoruwa, praising our Egbe. Just as individual, we should be doing it anyway. We should be venerating Kamashe, but when we come together and we do it, the power in the Ashe and the connectivity multiplies. So there is a frequency that is only unlocked when many Ori align around a shared purpose. This is collective Ashe. Examples include communal prayers or Iwure, Ashe Baba Tamatase, tí wọ́n ṣe nǹkan pàtàkì, tí wọ́n gbé program ìwúre kalẹ̀. Tó ti yé yín, iṣẹ́ ìrúmọlẹ̀ ni bàbá ṣe ń bẹ̀ yẹn, iṣẹ́ orí ni bàbá ṣe ń bẹ̀ yẹn, tí àwa tẹ́ pé from different parts of the world we tune into his channel in the morning, and we come as a community, and we where everyone says the ìwúre in the morning. That's a beautiful thing. That's powerful right there. Àṣẹ bàbá wa Tamátàsé táwọn rúmọlẹ̀ lò láti ṣe iṣẹ́ yẹn. Ṣó ti yé yín, àwọn èèyàn tó ti tibẹ̀ wá sínú ìṣẹ̀ṣe, tó ti tibẹ̀ wá sínú Ifá, wọ́n pọ̀ gan. Àwọn tó dẹ̀ tuntun máa tibẹ̀ wá sínú Ifá, tó máa tibẹ̀ wá sínú ìṣẹ̀ṣe, wọ́n sì ń bọ̀ níwájú. Thank you bàbá mi Ọmọkẹ́hìndé Hasrop for sharing. Everyone else, please share live yẹn bẹ ṣe ń wọlé, torí kí ni ìmáa ṣe àwọn èèyàn ní ìwúlò gan. Please share the live, tap the lights as you're coming in. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Mo mọ̀ lóore o. So ti yé yín. So ìbàní fún bàbá wa Atamátàsé àṣebá wọn. A dẹ̀ ṣe ìdúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn fún gbogbo ìgbìyànjú wọn. Wọn ò ní ṣe lásán. Àṣeyè ìṣẹ́gun ni wọ́n máa ṣe lágbára Èdùmàrè. So ti yé yín. So when we come together as in communal prayers or ìwúre, healing rituals where elders lay hands or chant together. A máa ń rí àwọn awo wa nígbà tí bàbá wa Olúmídé tó ń wà nínú fídíò ìgbà táwa lórí ètò lánàá. Ìkan náà bàbá wa open camera táwa rí nǹkan tí bàbá ń ṣe. A kò rí àwọn awo tó péjọ báyìí. Mo wá rí kí everybody ní ó dà pé ìkíni everybody dìmú níwájú wọn. Wọ́n ń chant, wọ́n ń ṣèwúre nínú Ifá yẹn. That's powerful. When Ifa comes together as a community like that, it's a powerful thing. Oh, thank you so much, Sister Shimates, for the likes and the share and the gift as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. May you be rewarded and repaid abundantly. Ashe. So, artistic performances rooted in ancestral invocation, mass movement for justice, remembrance, or liberation, circles of women men, or youth, invoking unity and elevation. There is power in numbers, we know that. But if there is powers in numbers regardless. But when everybody is coming together from a place of from a place of connection, from a place of everybody's aligned. Everybody's aligned. Everybody's coming from a consciousness of Ori, and we come together from that perspective. It's a powerful force. You understand? So we must understand that we are part of a network. We're never isolated. The system tries to impose the perception of isolation on us. But àkọ́ dáwà lásán tó bá ṣe wà lórí ilẹ̀ ayé yìí bá ṣe ń jẹ bá ṣe ń mu ẹjẹ́ a máa rántí àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ẹjẹ́ a máa rántí àwọn ará ọ̀run wa ẹjẹ́ a máa rántí àwọn egungun wa kí a máa ṣe ìpèsè lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan fún wọn bá ṣe ń rúbọ ọlà ṣó ti yé yín báwa ṣe ń ṣe ìrúbọ ọlà tá à ń rúbọ ọlà pé a fẹ́ nílọsíwájú a fẹ́ lówó a fẹ́ lọ́lá ẹjẹ́ àrántí ṣó ti yé yín ẹjẹ́ àrántí pé àwọn ará àwọn tí a fi sílẹ̀ lọ́run àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa wà ń bẹ̀ àwọn eégún wa wà ń bẹ̀ ẹ ṣe ìbá yín wọ́n máa ń sọ àwọn awo wa tí máa ń sọ pé ẹ lọ bọ bàbá yín àwọn eégún wa àwọn bàbá wa tó ti lọ ẹ lọ ṣe ìrúbọ fún wọn kẹ́ ṣe ìpèsè fún wọn gbogbo nǹkan tó máa ń ṣe ní ilẹ̀ wa ńgbà táwọn wà ń kékeré is very very common very very common tó dé pé ní àdúgbò èèyàn kan ṣàṣe nǹkan ẹmọ tó bá máa ń dín àwọn àkàrà yẹn fún àwọn bàbá wọn àtàwọn ìyá wọn tó ti lọ in remembrance of them in remembrance àwọn kinní yẹn ìgbà tẹ́mi wà kékeré was very very common àwọn Christian máa ń ṣe àwọn Muslims máa ń ṣe everybody ló máa ń ṣe gbà yẹn but I don't think it's like that anymore. àwọn tó ṣì wà ní Nàìjíríà ló máa sọ fún mi bó ti pẹ́ tí mo ti gbọ́ orú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn o I'm not sure if it's still practiced today the same way it used to be. The same way it used to be. Àwọn èèyàn máa ń ṣe gan I'm doing remembrance àwọn ìyá mi I'm doing remembrance àwọn ìyá bàbá mi a máa ṣe àṣàrà àkàrà a máa ṣe àwọn nǹkan míì bàbí àwọn èèyàn máa gbé àwọn tó ní eégún lé wọ́n máa gbé eégún wọn síta ní around the time tó jẹ́ kó máa remember ancestors wọn kan tó ti lọ tó ti di ará ọ̀run. So those things are very important that we remember those things because they look after us, they protect us. So gbogbo orí tó bá ṣọ̀kan wọ́n á ṣe ọ̀nà agbára. Gbogbo orí tó bá ṣọ̀kan wọ́n á ṣe ọ̀nà agbára. All Ori that unite pave the way to strength. It's a powerful thing when we come together, but the system is always trying to isolate us. It's always trying to sow the seeds of division within us. At the moment, they're targeting husband, the man and women, the genders. They're targeting men and women. They're really sowing divisions, the seeds of division between the men and women, because the system and the forces that are trying to destroy us, that are trying to turn us into lifeless robots so that they can use us for labor to enrich themselves. They don't want us to operate in communion. They don't want us to operate as a community. They're always trying to make us feel isolated, because when they can isolate you, that means they can target you and defeat you easily. United we stand, divided we fall. It applies to Ori as well. It applies to our Ori Inú as well. Okay, so this connection is a spiritual attack. If we look at the greatest spiritual attack going on at the moment is gender-based attack. Feminism is a spiritual attack. People don't see it like that yet. That's why I wrote this book. I don't know why I wrote this book like that, because I was doing something else. But Ori Minu's guide me, but boy, there's something burning we needed to draw attention to. You understand? Unfortunately, the women have been weaponized against the men. Unfortunately, the women have been incentivized to really oppress, suppress, and punish the men, and they're using the court of law to do that. You understand? I just opened one page. Look, drone privileges, the double standards no one talks about. You see, in the same court of law, the woman is automatically presumed to be brave and independent. In the same court of law, the husband is always presumed to be a deadbeat, to be toxic. You understand? So this book really drives it home. This is not an Isheshe book. This is more about drawing our attention to the weapons that's been formed against us as a community. You know, and how our women are being deceived, and discouraged from multiplying. You know, àwọn rúmọlẹ̀ lọ tọ́ka sílẹ̀ pé, you know, yeah, ìwé ìṣẹ̀ṣe tó ń ṣe is beautiful, but there is another danger. So, you know, sometimes I even forgot I wrote this book. It just came out. It came out less than 2 months ago, I think. But I forget. You know, I actually wrote this book. I forget because it's so left field from everything else I've been doing. It's so left field, but it was necessary. You understand? You know, you have our young women have been deceived. You have time. You can freeze your eggs. You can do it all. You understand? So that they can be discouraged from having a family. They can be tricked out of having a family. The drone is taught to reject what she will later need, but by that time it will be too late. That's what they don't tell you. I talked about the Oprah Winfrey effect. She's one of the weapons that's been fashioned against our women. You know, this book is very sharp, it's very straight to the point. You understand? Look at this one about drone vocabulary or glossary of feminist code. You know? And this book is drawing our women's attention to something that, you know, you are being attacked. You are under attack. An attack that's packaged as progression, something progressive. Our women are under attack, and our women are being used as a wrecking ball to destroy the men, to destroy the family, to destroy the union, to destroy the Ori to Ori communion. You know, people might want to check out this book because it calls out the tricks in a non-compromising way. That's the only way I know how to operate anyway, and I don't say that with any arrogance. But and I'm not doing this. So I'm not the one attacking the women. I'm the one calling the women's attention to the attack and the spiritual attack that they are being subjected to, that they don't know, that they don't recognize. You understand? So don't bully the messenger. Don't bully the messenger. If you know ẹ̀yin ìyá wa tẹ́ bá ń gbọ́ kínní tẹ́lẹ̀ wò pé kíni má nìyí sọ yìí, ẹ lọ try láti kàwé yẹn. Èmi kọ́ ni kẹ́ bá jà. Àwọn tí wọ́n create àwọn manipulation yẹn, àwọn ni kẹ́ channel energy yìí sí. Èmi kàn draw attention yín sí nǹkan kan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ni o. I'm just drawing your attention to the spiritual attack that our women are being subjected to. And as men, we have a responsibility as well. Because if we don't work with our women to overcome those, if we don't work with our women to highlight those weapons, if we don't work with our women to draw their attention to it, and then help our women to come out of that trance. You know, that's oppressive state of mind. If we don't, you know, we are all in danger as a result of it. Look, the cost of the drone mentality. Look at this. Can you see the contrast? A joyful, happy family eating together, walking together. That's another representation of the Ori to Ori communion. But look at this one right here. She's been brainwashed to think she doesn't need any community. You know, just focus on your career. You don't need a family. You don't need anybody. She's now been isolated, and she's got some cats with her. She's a cat lady. But you see, so out of these two, which party is more vulnerable to external attacks? Which party is more vulnerable to spiritual attacks, even physical attack? If you were a burglar and you decided you wanted to burgle a home, which home would you pick out of the two? If you were a murderer, a serial killer, and you decided you wanted to commit a murder in a community, which home would you pick? Which home would be easier to attack? You see, that's the weapon formed against the community. using the women as the wrecking ball. You know what happens when have you seen a wrecking ball before in a building site, in a construction site? The wrecking ball is being used to weaponize a weapon to smash down other units. You understand? The wrecking ball is being used to smack down other units, other walls, or whatever they're trying to smash. But the wrecking ball as well is not left unscathed, because the wrecking ball at the end of that session, or at the end of that work, or that shift, that wrecking ball is going to be wrecked as well. It's going to have what's it called? It's going to have scars all over it, scars and blemishes all over it. So the wrecking ball don't walk out of this unscathed, but the women who have been weaponized and are being used as wrecking balls to destroy the community, to destroy the union, the sacred union. They don't see it that way, because it's been packaged as something progressive, something beneficial. You understand? They don't know that they are being tricked. So this book, I wrote it from that perspective, is basically drawing our women's attention, even the men. Some of the men don't realize this as well. Drawing their attention to something serious going on. It's a spiritual attack. Anyway, went off on a bit of a tangent there. Baba mi answer, Baba boy, Baba Oshida Daniel. So yeah, okay. I was just saying that what led me to that is this. So look, what's this topic saying? Disconnection is a spiritual attack. Separation, isolation is a spiritual attack. But a lot of us, we don't recognize that. We don't realize that. Because it's happening in the physical, and we've lost all connection with all things metaphysical. We've lost connection because we've been tuned out of it, but we are subjected to it. You understand? So disconnection, separation, isolation, those are form of spiritual attacks. Because when you are separated, you are easily taken down. You are easily defeated. You are easily targeted when you are separated, because there is no community around you. Your power of manifestation is reduced because you are only working with your own Ori. Even that Ori that you're working with is not even in tune. So we must always see anything that encourages you to separate from your community. Anything as men, any preachings that tells us that we don't need women, any preachings that tells women you don't need men, those are forms of spiritual attacks. We have to start recognizing that. We have to start seeing it from that perspective. Okay, those are spiritual attacks. Anyway, I will continue. Those who have just joined us, welcome in. Please share the live as you're coming in as well. Yeah. Hey, Baba, if you want to make a contribution at any point, please feel free to chime in. Contribute or question or challenge, please feel free to come in. So isolation may feel like a modern challenge, but spiritually, it is a destabilization tactic. Let me read that one more time. Isolation may feel like a modern challenge, but spiritually, it is a destabilization tactic. So we need to watch out from those forces of darkness who come on TikTok, that their only contribution on TikTok is preaching divisive rhetorics, telling women to leave their men, telling women to disobey and demonizing their fathers, telling women they're victims, telling women the man is a problem. Those are destabilization tactics. Those are isolation tactics. Once you're isolated, you're easily attacked. You're easily taken down. None of us is meant to be alone. We are not alone. This earthly journey is not meant to be done alone. Okay? So when you are pulled from your community, your Ori becomes susceptible to confusion and fatigue, to confusing messages, to alienating messages, alienating preachings. Ashe leaks or becomes imbalanced. Ancestral messages may become harder to hear. Your dreams may become harder to remember. You become vulnerable to ego-based decisions. Look at that. You become vulnerable to ego-based decisions because once you've been isolated, then they can feed your ego until they, until you eventually fall. They can feed your ego. You only need your career. You don't need a husband. You don't need children. Oh, children are an inconvenience. So basically, you are being conned out of reincarnation. You understand? You're being conned out of reincarnation. All these all these alphabet agenda, LGTAYZ, you know what I'm talking about. Those are forms of spiritual attacks. You are being conned out of your return. You are being conned out of reincarnation. Ẹbí ò ní torí wa tán kò ní tán lórí wa o lágbára Èdùmàrè. Ẹbí kò ní tán ní orí wa o, ìran wa kò ní tán ní orí wa o. May our DNA not expire, well, how can I even put that in English? May our DNA not end with us. May we produce and reproduce so that our ancestral link and our ancestral lineage can continue to exist in this world. You understand? That torch that's been passed on from our ancestors, and we hold the torch today, may that not extinguish in front of us during our time. That's a very massive prayer that they say, our elders say that in Yoruba land. Ẹbí ò ní torí wa tán. Ẹbí ò ní torí wa dákẹ́, something along those lines. My elders may have a better Yoruba way of saying it with better resonance. It's a big thing. The biggest curse in this world is not being able to reproduce. Being the biggest cause is being a barren fruit. When we had consciousness, we all realized that. All our parents realized that. But we've been conned because we've been removed from consciousness. So we look at our own expiration as something trendy. That's the kind of spiritual fraudulence that that's going on today. We are being conned out of existence. Okay, let me continue. So truly, you become vulnerable to ego-based decisions. Yeah, just chasing your career, that's an ego-based decision. True healing happens in belonging. The sacred circle reminds you of who you are. True healing happens in belonging. If they're trying to isolate you, they're trying to destroy you. It's time we wake up from that. So recognizing your circle of alignment. Your sacred circle may not be defined by blood. It may include elders or spiritual mentors, artistic or cultural peers, ancestor conscious kin, your next of kin, your family members that they have that consciousness of your ancestors, or even your spiritual students and clients, can be part of your sacred circle. Ask yourself, who reminds me of my purpose? Who reminds me of my people? Who reminds me of my ancestors? Who challenges me with love? Who challenges me with love? When you find yourself in an echo chamber, you should always you should be very, very wary. If you find yourself in an echo chamber, you should all be very, very wary, because those who love you will always question you and challenge you because they don't want you to fall. They don't want you to fail. Those are principles we once knew and we once held dearly, but we've been conned out of it. So who reminds me? You have to ask yourself, who reminds me of my purpose? Who challenges me? Who challenges me with love? Who prays for my Ori even in my absence? Who prays for my Ori even when unrequested? That's not the word I was looking for, in the lack of a better term. Huh? Unprompted, without any prompting. Who prays for me? Who looks out for me? Who looks out for my best interest? Who looks out for me? You understand? Who tries to cover my blind spots? You understand? There is a feeling of love that permeates this world. When you come in contact with it, it's undeniable. You will feel it. You understand? That's your community. You will feel it. You will feel that connection when you meet those people. And when you meet the people that are in opposition to that loving energy, you are also going to feel them. You're going to recognize them. Sometimes they recognize you before you recognize them, because the same way you are able to feel loving energy, that positive energy, the people who carries the opposite of that, who carries the negativity, they can feel it. They are annoyed by your presence if you carry the light within you. When you carry a positive energy within you, the people that are of the opposite end of the spectrum, they can feel, so most of the time they can feel your positive energy before you can feel their negative energy. You understand? So, we have to pay attention to that, but we have to make sure that we are operating as part of a community, because we have astral community through our egbe, our ará ọ̀run wa, our ancestors, our egungun wa, through Ori wa, through Ìpọ̀nrí wa, and so on and so forth, through àwọn òrìṣà wa, àwọn irúnmọlẹ̀ wa, they are all part of our network. But when you've been isolated from them, initially they started with spiritual isolation. They isolated us spiritually initially through the religion that they brought in was all designed to isolate us spiritually. But after they won that battle by putting us into those useless religions, then they started working on our physical community as well. They started turning the backs of the women against the men, and it still carries on today. We are as divided as we've ever been. As a human race, we are as divided as we've ever been as a human race. But through Ori, we can recognize the seeds, those seeds of the division that's been packaged as progression, that's been packaged as modernization. And those people, there are many people in our community who carry those viruses, that poison. You understand? When we get aligned with our Ori, when those poisonous tongues start to speak, we can hear them and we can see them, and we immediately want to get away from them. But when we've been isolated from our Ori, we're not going to know. That's when we get tricked. Isolation is always a spiritual attack. Let's remember that. Okay? So, yeah, that is your circle of alignment. So, and I put together here some rituals for strengthening your collective ashe. So whenever you gather in person or spiritually, begin with Ki Ori wa jẹ́ Ori Réré, kí àṣẹ wa má bàjẹ́, kí ọ̀nà wa ṣí padà fún ara wa. My sister, she matters. She said I should I should find a way to produce audios of those verses. You understand? Of those those wordings that people can recite in order to be able to spark up their connection. And I'm going to work on that. I'm going to have to work on that. I'll put the translations in there, but I think my sister, she wants the original. She wants to be able to say it in Yoruba. And fair enough. And I commend you for that. I commend you. So I may need to maybe I'm going to have to think of something. Maybe I'll create an audio file for all the Yoruba, all the Wure that are present in the book. Maybe I'll just release that as a bonus for the people who have actually purchased the book. I'll release that as an audio file so that you'll be able to recite them. I'll just reference them. I say in this chapter, this and that in this chapter, in that chapter. I'll have to do something like that because again, it's been requested. So what it's saying, so kí orí wa jẹ́ Ori Réré, kí àṣẹ wa má bàjẹ́, kí ọ̀nà wa ṣí padà fún ara wa. May our heads be good heads. May our power not be corrupted. May our paths open for each other. Okay? So you can offer water light, or simply hold hands in silence when you're reciting that. So, and also some recommendations here, powerful days to actually practice that. Day of Shango, Ọjọ́ Ogun for warrior alignment and action, Ọjọ́ Ọ̀rúnmìlà, Ifá Day for divine revelation and planning. Those are just some recommendations based on the way that certain kind of rituals are performed on certain days. Nínú ìṣẹ̀ṣe, for instance, téèyàn kan bá fẹ́ bọ ajé, ó máa ń sọ pé it's better kẹ́ bọ ajé ní ọjọ́ ajé. So ti that sounds like common sense, doesn't it? Afe boaje, afe boaje. It's common sense, but okay. Be ake boaje ni ojo aje. It's common sense. So yeah. So basically, beware of disharmony in the circle. When one Ori in the circle is out of alignment, conflict becomes chronic. Gossip, envy, and spiritual competition emerge. It continues. Group Ashe becomes unstable or fragmented. Sorry, what was that? Yes, please, that would be very helpful. And say it slow. Okay. You want me to say that with my deep voice as well? Or is it the bed voice? Which one do you want me to use? My sister said, so say it slow, Okay. Sister Shibata said, say it slow. Okay, I'll give you my best shot. I've never done anything like that before, but I'm going to have to go learn the skill. Yeah, I'm going to have to go learn the skill. Learn the skill. I'm going to have to go learn the skill. My apologies, my sister. My sister Shimatas. I could not resist the way I read it. Okay. So basically, there's a solution to that, how we can avoid those issues. So address the misalignment with truth and compassion. Whenever we notice that there's somebody coming in our midst, sowing the seeds of this division, preaching divisive rhetorics, preaching hateful rhetorics, even if the preachings appeal to our ego. Even if those preachings appeal to our ego, we must always challenge those people because they're causing damage. They're causing division. You understand? A division in the physical is a division in the spirit as well. So I want it to want how you want it bad, because I think there's a going trend now. As soon as people have a fallout with their husband, or they have a separation in their relationship, the first thing they do is they put their ring light and they start coming down to demonize. Okay, maybe you had a breakdown with your own man. Instead of healing, the first thing they do is they set their ring lights and they come online and start spreading their poison. When we see that, we can challenge them with love or actually get away from them because, when somebody is spreading virus and they're spilling venom, we have to sometimes, we can preach to them with love and try and challenge them with compassion, or we can get the hell out there so that we don't get infected as well. Spiritual virus is a real thing and it spreads faster than the physical one. So, solution: address the misalignment with truth and compassion. Cleanse the space because they're spreading poison everywhere. Burn some sacred herbs. Pour libation and offer apologies. Re-anchor the circle with the collective Iwure or Ororu. And I put a quotable here. Ibi tí ẹ̀dá bá ti fi àwọn da ilẹ̀ yóò bàjẹ́. Torí tí àṣẹ bá ń sọ̀rọ̀, ilẹ̀ ń gbọ́ o. Tí àṣẹ bá ń sọ̀rọ̀, ilẹ̀ ń gbọ́ tó jọ bí òwe ẹ̀yin àgbà wa ẹ má bínú o. Tí àṣẹ bá ń sọ̀rọ̀, ilẹ̀ ń gbọ́. So what this verse is talking about, what is quotable, is saying, Ibi tí ẹ̀dá bá ti fi ahọ́n da ilẹ̀ yóò bàjẹ́. Where a being or somebody misuses the tongue, either through gossip, by spreading negative rhetorics, by spreading negative and separate, divisive ideologies, the house collapses. You understand? Ilé yóò bàjẹ́, mo ní ilé mi gan mo ká mi dáadáa. Ilé yóò bàjẹ́. So when there's a house where somebody is coming and spreading that negative energy, it ultimately the house eventually collapses. Okay, when a woman has been brainwashed because she, through her friends or her circle or through TikTok channels that she's following, they're always preaching men hate. Eventually, she may have a loving husband, but eventually she's gonna go home and start hating her husband as well. She's gonna go home and start hating her partner as well, because spiritual viruses are very real. If when you make contact with a spiritual virus, it eventually affects you as well. You become infected as well. So we have to be careful about what we expose ourselves to. We have to be very careful. Okay? Because spiritual viruses are very, very real. And when they don't feel like love, that's an indication. Okay? So where somebody misuses the tongue, the house eventually collapses. So when we find maybe it's our brother, it's our sister, it's maybe somebody we love, a friend, anybody that we share a space with, when they come with negativity, we have to be able to challenge them with love and understand that that kind of behavior can only bring division, can only separate us and isolate us. And when we're isolated, we're vulnerable. Isolation is always a form of spiritual attack. Let's remember that. Okay? Let's always remember that. Okay? I think I've completed the chapter. I wanted to read to the end of that chapter. Okay, I've already covered that. Spiritual disconnection is a spiritual attack. Always remember that. So recognizing your circle of alignment, can recognize àwọn ará ọ̀run wa, can recognize àwọn eégún wa, recognize àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa, recognize àwọn irúnmọlẹ̀ wa, àwọn òòṣà wa, ritual strength for strengthening. For strengthening the collective Ashe, I put some recommendations here, some suggestions. You may have other ideas, but I put some suggestions in there anyway. Ibi tí ẹ̀dá bá ti fi àwọn da ilé yóò bàjẹ́ 100%. So reflective practice. Who are the 5 people whose Ori uplifts your own? This is self-assessment, self-accounts that the book is recommending. How do you honor your place in your sacred circle? What gifts has your Ori been called to contribute to the collective? These are questions, self-assessments that we have to do with ourselves. Okay, so that we may correct our ways, so that so that we can identify where we need to make improvement and where we need to make corrections. Okay, and say out loud, Orí mi kó mi jọ mọ́ ìdílé àṣẹ, má jẹ́ kí n yàgò fún ẹgbẹ́ ọkàn mi. Orí mi kó mi jọ mọ́ ìdílé àṣẹ. Okay, I think too many alls in there. Má jẹ́ kí n yàgò fún ẹgbẹ́ ọkàn mi. My Ori, gather me into the family of power. Let me not isolate from my spirit kin. How powerful is that? How powerful is that? Orí mi kó mi jọ mọ́ ìdílé àṣẹ, má jẹ́ kí n yàgò fún ẹgbẹ́ ọkàn mi. May we not be separated with from our divine family, from our community, from our communion, our spiritual collective. You understand? Both our astral collective, our spiritual collective, those that have been appointed to assist or perform a role in the achievement of our destiny. Àwọn tí Olódùmarè ti yàn mọ́ wa, àwọn tí Orí ti yàn mọ́ wa, ipò máa ṣe wá ní ìrànlọ́wọ́ nínú ìrìn àjò wa. Tí ó máa ṣe wá ní ìrànlọ́wọ́ nínú ìrìn àjò wa, ṣó ti yé yín? Olódùmarè ò ní jẹ́ kí ayé àbí káwọn àjẹ́ndà kan wá jẹ́ ká yàgò fún ẹni olùrànlọ́wọ́ wa. Do you understand? Because whether we like it or not, we can be as enterprising as we want to be, but not igi kan dágbó ṣe tó jọ bí òwe o. Igi kan dágbó ṣe. This earthly journey is not an individual challenge. We are supposed to go through it as a community. You understand? As a collective, we are supposed to experience it as a collective. Baba mi Alex Jaye, àbọ̀rọ̀ àbọ̀yè bàbá o. inú mi dùn pé mo tún rí yín lónìí o ṣé dáadáa ní bàbá Èdùmàrè á wà pẹ̀lú yín bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ṣe wà pẹ̀lú wa o ẹ ṣeun bàbá o bàbá mi alátúnṣe thanks for the gift as well o ọwọ́ yá máa ròkè ní bàbá wa o ẹ ṣeun greetings Alex Jaye greetings so anyway so I'm going to end on this final reflection and maybe I'll allow others to speak up. So final reflection, you were never meant to walk alone. The sacred circle remembers when you forget. It carries your ori until you can carry it again. Àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa máa ń gbé wá even from the point of disconnection but àwọn babalá àwọn olúwo tèmi ọjọ́ kó mọ̀ pé ńgbà míì àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ó possible káwọn ẹgbẹ́ kọ́ dẹ̀yìn lẹ́yìn àwọn kan tẹ̀yìn náà bá tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá fi ti ẹgbẹ́ ṣe tí ẹ̀ fi ti egúngún ṣe ó ṣe é ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ o àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa wọn ò ní dẹ̀yìn lẹ́yìn wa àwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa á gbè wá o àwọn egúngún wa á gbè wá orí wa á gbè wá o ìpọ̀nrín wa á gbè wá o lágbára Èdùmàrè o àwọn orúnmọlẹ̀ á gbè wá àwọn òòṣà wa á gbè wá o nǹkan pàtàkì ni o. So the sacred circle remembers when you forget. It carries your ori until you are able to carry it again, until you come back into consciousness. Hence the book is to help people to get back into consciousness, is to realign with the divine network again, once more, as we once were, as we were designed to be. We were not meant to go through this alone. We are not alone. We've just been tuned out of our divine network. We've been tuned out of our divine connection. This book is there to help you to retrace, to reconnect, to realign you, and to recalibrate your ori, in the way it's supposed to be, so that you can begin to function as part of that collective, as part of that network, as part of that support system again, because that's what it is essentially. It's a network, it's a support system. So you were never meant to walk alone. The sacred circle remembers when you forget. It carries your ori until you are able to carry it again. The true power is never solitary. It multiplies when shared. So Ori finds its fullest power when it serves and it is served within a community. That's when Ori operates at its optimal. Okay? When Ori aligns with others in a sacred purpose, its light becomes a beacon that illuminates the path for many. That's very, very important. And I also, I reference it. Each chapter, I always try to look for, Oduifa that talks about the principles that are referenced within the chapter. Or Fumeji talks about collective Ori creates a path of strength. Irosumeji talks about the misuse of speech fractures the communal house. Or said Tura talks about spiritual elevation requires unity and reciprocal ashe. There's a lot of learnings, there's a lot of lessons in Oduifa. A lot of lessons in Oduifa. They're there to guide us and enlighten us. Anyway, I can daduro nibe mo de se elaboru mo se elaboye bo sise o. Mo kí gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n wá sínú ètò mo dẹ̀ máa ń sọ pé ètò yìí anybody it can benefit you whether you're Christian or Muslim or oníṣẹ̀ṣe it can benefit you. We're not isolating anybody here because at the end of the day we are supposed to be a community by the Olodumare design. Olodumare intended for us to function as a union, as one. But unfortunately, there's some external forces that have come to sow seeds of division. Nígbà tó gbé àwọn ẹ̀sìn yẹn wọnú ilẹ̀ wa, ó fi wá tú wa ká ni, kó ba lè control wa. Because when you can isolate a people, when you can break them up into fractions, then you can dominate them. Torí ẹ̀ lọ ṣe ń dominate wa lọ́jọ́ ìní náà. Ṣó ti yẹn tọ́rọ ti separate wa, ó ti tú wa ká, tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ tú àwọn èèyàn káàkiri, wọn ò ní lè lo collective orí, wọn ò ní lè lo collective àṣẹ láti lè ṣe ètò ilẹ̀ wọn. Ìkan tó dẹ̀ ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ń lu wa lẹ́ni now. Muslims are pulling left, Christians are pulling right, àwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe were trying to pull everybody together. And whilst we're doing that, they are fighting us. You know, àwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe, they are trying to pull everybody together. Ikọ̀ ọmọ Olódùmarè ní gbogbo wọn, àwọn lè ní àwọn ọmọ Olódùmarè, ọmọ Òṣìgìdì Allah làwọn, àwọn lè sọ pé ọmọ lẹ́yìn Jésù làwọn, àwọn lè sọ pé ẹrú Allah làwọn, àwọn lè sọ pé àgùntàn Jésù làwọn. So ti yé yín, we have to start recognizing that those religions were planted in order to separate us and break us into fractions. Torí ẹ̀ lọ́ ṣe lè fi wá ṣẹrú tó jọ bí òwe. Orí tó bá ẹ̀dá tó bá gbàgbé orí ẹ̀ yóò fara rẹ̀ ṣẹrú tó jọ bí òwe o. Ẹ̀dá tó bá gbàgbé orí yóò fara ẹ̀ ṣẹrú. Nǹkan tó dẹ̀ ṣẹlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ wa nìyẹn. So ti yé yín. So we have to find a way to reunite. You know, we have to find a way to reunite. All we need to do is just realign with our Ori Inú. The Orí Inú, wọ́n máa ṣe ètò ẹsẹ̀ wa, wọ́n máa ṣe ìtọ́nà wa. Just yẹn. Let me stop there. Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ní ìbéèrè, kí ẹ feel free láti wá sókè. If you have anything you would like to contribute, bàbá mi Alátúnṣe, ẹ̀yin gan ẹja gbóhùn yìí o.
Mo ṣe àbọrúbọyè bàbá o. Ẹ kú òun látàárọ̀. Mo ṣe àbọrúbọyè fún bàbá wa Ọlátúnjí. Mo ṣe àbọrúbọyè fún bàbá wa ẹlẹ́rìí ìpín. Ẹ kú ìtọ̀nà. Ẹ kú ètò látàárọ̀ bàbá wa. Elédùmarè ò ní jẹ́ kó rẹ̀ yín. A máa júṣe. Iṣẹ́ tí orí gbé fún yín, àṣeyè lẹ́ ṣe láṣẹ orí, láṣẹ onílẹ̀. Ṣé rí ìwé tí ẹ kọ ó ṣe pàtàkì púpọ̀ ní àwùjọ tá a bára wa lónìí. Ó sì jẹ́ ohun tí ó yẹ kí gbogbo wa ní ìfẹ́ sí. Gẹ́gẹ́ bíi pé tí Elédùmarè àti àwọn onílẹ̀ tí ò bá fún yín nírú oore ọ̀fẹ́ báyìí láti kọ ìwé yìí, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ènìyàn ló máa wà nínú ìgbèkùn àìmọ̀kànmọ̀kàn tó sì máa jẹ́ wípé a máa ṣe ìjàmbá fún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ orí ju bí ó ti ń ṣe ìjàmbá lábẹ́ àkókò yìí. Tí ènìyàn bá wo gbogbo àlàyé tẹ́ ti ń ṣe ní àtòórọ̀, a rí i pé kò sí òrìṣà kan tó lè dágbé ènìyàn lẹ́yìn orí ẹni. Bí ó ti lè wù kí òrìṣà yẹn ní ìfẹ́ tó. Ìyẹn jẹ́ àmúlò pàtàkì lábẹ́ kí ni orí jẹ́. Ìyẹn jẹ́ àmúlò pàtàkì lábẹ́ kí ni àyànmọ́ tó jẹ́. Ìyẹn jẹ́ ìmúlò pàtàkì lábẹ́ kí ni ìpín tó jẹ́. Ẹ fi fọ́nrán kan wọ̀n wá lábẹ́ ọmọ kékeré kan obìnrin tó ń bá àwọn ẹ̀mí àìrí tó ń bá wọn dunnú tó ń bá ṣeré. A wá wò ó sáà, a wá rí i pé ẹ̀mí yìí a máa jẹ́ ẹni tó nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí ọmọ yẹn àti ẹni tí ọmọ yẹn nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí. Ṣùgbọ́n lábẹ́ ojú àwa àgbàlagbà tí nǹkan wa ti dàbí ẹni pó corrupt, tójú wa ò ríran dáadáa, a lè mọ nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ńbẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n ọmọ tó ríran dáadáa ni ó mọ̀ wípé òun bá àwọn kan ń ṣeré. Yálà ẹgbẹ́ ọ̀run ni, yálà àwọn aláàbò lórí rẹ̀ ni tí a ń pè ní ancestors. A rí ìdánilójú wípé eré náà jìjọ ń bára wọn ṣe, wọn bára wọn jà. Torí respond ẹ̀ ó ṣò wípé wọ́n ń ṣeré ni. Tó bá jẹ́ pé ó ń sá, tó ń kiri, tó ń sá sábẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀dì, a mọ̀ pé wọ́n gbógun wá bá ni. Ó wá jẹ́ ká rí ìdí ẹ̀ múlẹ̀ wípé àwọn ẹ̀mí kan wà, àwọn agbára kan wà tí kì í fi ènìyàn lẹ̀ nígbà tán bá ti bí ènìyàn wá sínú ayé gan-an. Ṣé rí kó tó di pé ènìyàn wá sí ìrìn àjò tí wọ́n ń pè ní birth, ìbí, ó ti ń mú ìrìn àjò kan bọ̀, ṣùgbọ́n kété tó bá ti délé ayé tí wọ́n gé okùn tó so òun àtìyá rẹ̀ papọ̀, ó ti di ìbí nìyẹn. Ó ti wá sí inú àjò event tó ń pè ní ìbí. Kété tí ìbí yìí bá ti ṣẹlẹ̀, àwọn oríṣiríṣi agbára ló máa ṣe àsopọ̀ pẹ̀lú rẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí agbára tó ń fúnra òun mú wá láti ọ̀run.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Nínú ìrìn àjò yìí láti máa rí àwọn agbára ààbò. Nínú ìrìn àjò yìí láti máa rí àwọn agbára àdojúkọ. Ṣùgbọ́n gẹ́gẹ́ bí arìnrìn àjò orí àti ìpín, ẹ mọ̀ pé orí a máa yàtọ̀ sórí, agbára sì máa wà lábẹ́ orí jura wọn lọ. So tó bá ti wá di wípé ẹnìkan wá gbà fún ẹnìkan wípé orí òun o ẹ lè dá mú, tó ń pè ní ẹlẹ́dàá, nǹkan tá a lè dá mú. Láyé ìgbà tí wọ́n bá ti fún oúnjẹ yẹn lóúnjẹ, tán fún orí yẹn ní oúnjẹ, ó máa di nǹkan tí ẹnìkan ò lè dá mú mọ́. Àfi tó lórí fúnra rẹ̀ bá yọ̀ǹda rẹ̀ fáwọn tó lè dá mú.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Orí tí ò bá ti yọ̀ǹda rẹ̀ fẹ́ni tó lè dá mú, a máa sọ fún un pé ẹlẹ́dàá mi, ohun tẹ́nìkan ò lè dá mú náà ń pè ní ẹlẹ́dàá. Òun ni wọ́n sì ń pè ní orí inú, èyí tó ní agbára jùlọ, èyí tó jẹ́ òrìṣà tó súnmọ́ ènìyàn jùlọ, èyí tó ń pè ní next of kin lábẹ́ gbogbo olùrànlọ́wọ́, èyí tó ní ọ̀nà tó jẹ́ wípé máa ń bá Elédùmarè sọ̀rọ̀ direct. Òun ni wọ́n ń pè ní orí. Tí orí ènìyàn tó bá dára, wọ́n á máa rí nínú ìrìn àjò ayé rẹ̀. Tí orí ènìyàn tó bá gba ọ̀nà kejì, wọ́n á rí nínú ìrìn àjò ayé rẹ̀ náà. Kí ni ohun tí ènìyàn wá ń ṣe fún orí yìí tó máa lè fi rin ìrìn àjò, tó máa lè kẹsẹ̀ já? Òun náà lẹ ti ṣàlàyé ní abẹ́ wípé kó reconnect. Wọ́n ti disconnect ní àkọ́kọ́ ńgbà tó wá nú ayé. Gbogbo ohun tó kù ni pé wọ́n fẹ́ reconnect ẹ̀ padà. Wọ́n wá fẹ́ reconnect ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn ẹgbẹ́ rẹ̀. Wọ́n fẹ́ reconnect ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn ancestors ẹ̀. Wọ́n fẹ́ reconnect ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn òrìṣà rẹ̀. Ìrìn àjò tó gbé gbogbo àwọn babaláwo jókòó nìyẹn. Iṣẹ́ reconnection, iṣẹ́ wípé kán lọ fi odù wò ó, èyí tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú àpótí gbogbo ènìyàn. Ṣùgbọ́n ìpín àti orí fúnra rẹ̀, ìrìn àjò ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ ni wọ́n wá rìn nínú ayé, tó fi jẹ́ wípé tán bá ti wá ṣe ìtẹsẹ̀ dáyé rẹ̀, wọ́n á mọrú ìrìn àjò tó fẹ́ rìn lábẹ́ yìí tá à ń pè ní odù cosmology. So gbogbo wọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí ló yẹ ká mọ̀ kó tó dòní. Ṣùgbọ́n kí ló dé tá a fi mọ̀? Nítorí àárí gbogbo oore ọ̀fẹ́ tá a ń rí lónìí. Ìgbà tó oore ọ̀fẹ́ wá wà tí irú bàbá báyìí tán wá tó wá ń bá wa fi sí afẹ́fẹ́, ó yẹ kí gbogbo wa náà ká máa dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ orí ni. Torí pé orí ẹni, òun ni wọ́n ń pè ní apèrè. Orí ẹni, òun ló ní pattern, òun ló ní odù lọ́wọ́. Ṣé ẹ rí, ó dàbí pé kéèyàn ní security code sórí fóònù rẹ̀. Ẹlòmíì tó bá fẹ́ ṣí fóònù, ó máa dàbí ìgbà tó ń ya àwòrán tẹ́nìkankan ò gbúdọ̀ mọ bọ́n ṣe ń wọlé ẹ̀ ní. Bẹ́ẹ̀ lórí ẹlòmíì ṣe rí. Ẹlòmíì á sì sí títí ẹ̀ láì bìkítà. Ẹlòmíì á sí títí ẹ̀ tó jẹ́ wípé tẹ́yìn bá wò ó gan kẹ́ tó lè rí wù tó ń pè ní pattern. So orí oníkálukú ló ní èyí tá à ń pè ní pattern, which is perfection fún ìrìn àjò ayé rẹ̀. Òun ló fi ṣe pàtàkì wípé a gbúdọ̀ disconnect ara wa pẹ̀lú àwọn ancestors wa, nítorí pé àwọn ní ìrìn àjò táwa ń bá rìn, àwọn gangan la wá rìn ìrìn àjò fún. À ń wá, à ń lọ, a gbúdọ̀ disconnect. Ṣùgbọ́n ó jẹ́ ohun tó bá ènìyàn nínú jẹ́ wípé àwọn ẹ̀sìn tí wọ́n gbé wọlé ó ti disconnect wa lọ́pọ̀. A ti sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn lónìí lórí fọ́nrán kan lórí ètò kan mo ní for over 150 years ni wọ́n ti disconnect wa disconnection tán ṣe òun là ń reconnect within 2-3 years now tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa ti mọ TikTok yìí lò torí ìgbà tán wọlé wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní disconnect wa from our tradition system wọ́n disconnect wa from our cultural basis wọ́n fi religion wọ́n fi disconnect wa now àwa ń reconnect àwa ń mọ pàtàkì ohun tí wọ́n ń pè ní orí ẹnìkan ní mo ṣoríire o ẹlẹ́dàá mi mo dúpẹ́ o he has already making reference to the importance of orí but ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa láàní àgbọ́yé ẹ̀
akọ̀ǹkọrin yẹn lásán
akọ̀ǹkọ orin yẹn ó ní bí mo bá jí lówùúrọ̀ máa dorí mi mú mo ṣoríire o ẹlẹ́dàá mi what a beautiful confirmation for the movement of the day ahead what a confirmation what an àṣẹ ahead of the journey.
Absolutely.
torí àwọn tán ti mọ ìrìn àjò orí lábẹ́ pé wọ́n ti sá pamọ́ sábẹ́ àwọn ibì kan tí wọ́n ti sọ àṣírí yìí fún wọn wípé báyìí lẹ ṣe ń rìnrìn àjò nú ayé o ẹ máa bọ orí yín o ẹ máa súre fórí yín o ibẹ̀ lẹ́lòmíì á dẹ̀ jí tá máa fi orí rẹ̀ kọrin wípé èmi ò mọ bí olórí gbé yan rí o ǹbá máa yan tèmi ibì kan náà lágbèyàn rí o lábẹ́ ìbànújẹ́ ló fi ń kọ́ kì í ṣe lábẹ́ àtúnṣe oríṣiríṣi àgbọ́yé ló yẹ ká gbọ́ nípa orí torí pé nǹkan téèyàn bá orí rẹ̀ sọ lórí a máa gbọ́ orí a máa gbẹbọ orí a máa gbètùtù orí a máa gbàwúre orí a máa fọhùn àṣẹ ṣùgbọ́n we need to be connected back to our ancestors nípa ìrìn àjò orí communal connection tẹ̀yìn sọ nítorí pé nǹkan tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ ń pa rẹ̀ relation ni à ń relate mọ́ àwọn òrìṣà wa ni à ń relate pẹ̀lú orí wa ni à ń relate pẹ̀lú àwọn onílẹ̀ ni ó ní gbogbo igbó ní igbó ọlọ́dẹ ó ní gbogbo ilẹ̀ ní ilẹ̀ egúngún so we are all relating tá a bá ṣe wá ń relate yìí òun ló máa wá jẹ́ ká wà strong nínú ìrìn àjò àyànmọ́ wa nínú ìrìn àjò àkúnlẹ̀yàn wa nínú ìrìn àjò ìpín wa and what do we feed this orí for this orí to remain stronger a máa feed wọn ní honesty a máa feed wọn ní integrity a máa feed wọn ní òtítọ́ a máa feed wọn ní ohun tí a ń pè ní ètùtù a máa feed wọn ní ohun tí a ń pè ní àṣẹ so lábẹ́ èyí it will become stronger àwa máa rí ọ̀nà lọ gbogbo ìdojúkọ tí misalignment tó ń attract bá wa tó ń pè ní ajogun I was sharing something this afternoon mo ní ajogun wọ́n checkmate wa ni wọ́n checkmate wa lọ́nà ni anybody tí ajogun bá ń kojú rẹ̀ lọ́nà tí ò rí ìjà yẹn jà ó show wípé ó ti misalign ni ó ti lọ ní ọ̀nà tí kò yẹ kó lọ once you align òrìṣà ẹni yẹn ló máa jà fún ẹni yẹn òrìṣà rẹ̀ ló máa sọ ọ̀nà fún every challenges is a promotion torí pé orí máa ṣẹ́gun orí àjàjà yìí so ètò tẹ́ ń ṣe bàbá ètò tí ò lè parun ni nítorí ohun tó ti yẹ ká ti mọ̀ tipẹ́tipẹ́ ni ètò tí ò lè parun ni ẹni tó bá ti mọ̀ pàtàkì orí á mọ̀ wípé ìwọ̀nba ni wàhálà ẹ̀ ló máa tó nílé ayé ẹni tó ń rìn ní ìrìn àjò orí tí ò fún orí ní èèwọ̀ ìrìn àjò rẹ̀ á máa lọ smoothly ni ṣùgbọ́n nígbà tó bá ti sọ pé orí báwo ni wọ́n dẹ̀ ní àwáyé wá jórúkọ lórúkọ orí so nígbà téèyàn bá ti sọ pé orí báwo ni títí ẹ̀ ṣe jẹ́ báwo lórí yẹn ṣe máa gbé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ló ń rìn nínú ayé tó rí ògbé Lédùmarè á jẹ́ kó rí wa ó gbé wa o á jẹ́ kó rí wa ó gbé wa dé ibi tó dáa ju ibi tá a wà yìí lọ á jẹ́ kí wọ́n ní orí òun lẹja fi ń labú tiẹ̀ wọ́n ní orí òun lè kú fi ń là àpò tiẹ̀ ká wá wo pàtàkì orí as leadership fún gbogbo ara wọ́n á sọ nípa orí yìí wọ́n ní òun gangan tún ní orí inú tó jẹ́ inner òrìṣà iná òrìṣà títorí kálukú sì yàtọ̀ pátápátá síra wọn ṣùgbọ́n ńgbà tá a bá bọ̀wọ̀ fún tá a fún ní ètùtù rẹ̀ tá a fún lóúnjẹ rẹ̀ tá a kàn ń ṣe bó ṣe ń wù wá àwa ni kó gbé wa ìyẹn alágbára díẹ̀ o orí wa ò ní jẹ mọ́jèlé o.
tábà tiẹ̀ mọ̀ pé a ní orí inú.
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ni ò mọ̀ pé orí inú wà mọ̀ nǹkan tán pé wọ́n ńgbà tán pè ní àwọn kan ní holy spirit àwọn kan ní kinní kan ńgbà tí ò ní àgbọ́yé ẹ̀ wípé wọ́n ní orí làbá bọ ká tó bọ òrìṣà ọ̀ ká tún bọ òrìṣà ọ̀nà méjì tá a lè gbé lọ nìyẹn à á bọ orí à á wá tún wá bọ òrìṣà orí ẹni òun lè ń gbére pàdé ẹni orí agbe agbére pàdé agbe orí àlùkò agbére pàdé àlùkò orí lékelèké ń gbáre títí ẹ̀ wọ́n ní orí títí wa gan a máa gbére pàdé àwa ṣùgbọ́n gbà tá a bá mọ ìrìn àjò orí a kàn ń ṣorí wa bó ṣe wù wá Elédùmarè á lè jẹ́ ká mọ pàtàkì orí o nínú ìrìn àjò ayé àádẹ́ lè máa fún orí ní oúnjẹ tó yẹ kó jẹ orí á wá máa rí clearly a máa rí ohun tó dáa wọ́n ní ẹni tó lẹ́gbẹ́ lọ́run bàbá wa ó lẹ́gbẹ́ lọ́run ó délé ayé ó kọ ẹgbẹ́ rẹ̀ sílẹ̀ ṣé kò mọ̀ pé olórí lòun ni wọ́n wá ń yọ lẹ́nu ilé ayé wọ́n ní ẹ ti kọ̀ wá sílẹ̀ ẹ lè fi wá sílẹ̀ báyìí ẹ̀yin rárá o wọ́n wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní yọ lẹ́nu ilé ayé torí pé kò mọ̀ pé olórí òun lòun á ní ẹ fìdí ẹgbẹ́ lélẹ̀ ìdí ẹgbẹ́ tán fẹ́ fi lélẹ̀ ń túmọ̀ sí pé ẹ máa ṣe ètùtù tọ̀run kẹ máa ṣe láyé ẹ máa fi ránṣẹ́ títí tọ̀run á wá jẹ́ kí ilé ayé rẹ̀ ó ní ìtumọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n gbà tó délé ayé tí kò mọ̀ pé leadership role ló ń gbé wálé ayé ó wá ní ìdojúkọ wọn wá jẹ́ kí nǹkan rẹ̀ ó tù wọn wá jẹ́ kí nǹkan rẹ̀ oníkálukú ló ní ìrìn àjò orí yìí ṣe pàtàkì bàbá mi o ẹ̀kọ́ yìí ẹ lè kọ́ tán ẹ máa kọ́ wa lọ ó pọ̀ ó jìn ó rẹwà Elédùmarè á wà pẹ̀lú yín mo ṣe àbọrúbọyè o fún gbogbo ilé.
ògo àtọ́ àsúre ìwòrìwò fún bàbá wa láti ṣe ẹ ṣeun àbọrú àbọyè o ògo àtọ́ àsúre ìwòrè fún mo ṣe bá wò ifá orí mi rẹ o.
ògo àtọ́ bàbá mi Ọlátúnjí ẹ ṣé o mo kí yín náà lẹ́ẹ̀kan ó mọ̀ tọ́jọ́ mẹ́ta ògo àtọ́ yín bàbá mi o ájúṣe o a ò ní tẹ́jú rẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ láṣẹ Ìdùmarè bàbá mi o èṣù àgbè wá o èṣù àgbè wá bàbá o.
àṣẹ
tọ́pìkì yìí jẹ́ tọ́pìkì tó kẹnu ẹ ló ṣe lè ń gbọ́ mi.
à ń gbọ́ yín bàbá.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bàbá.
ṣe lè ń gbọ́ mi báyìí.
irọ́ agbọ́yín dáadáa ẹ padà sí tẹ́wà lẹ́ẹ̀kan.
gbọ́ yín yékéyéké à ń gbọ́ yín yékéyéké.
tọ́pìkì yìí jẹ́ tọ́pìkì kan tó kẹnu gan lọ́dọ̀ tèmi ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ò mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè ní orí.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni o.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ò mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè ní orí. tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí ṣé orí eléyìí tá a gbé síta gangan là ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí. orí eléyìí tó ṣe kókó òun ni orí inú.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
òun ni àkọ́kọ́ tó dáa jù láyé òun ni. orí eléyìí ó jẹ́ pé a ṣáà ní orí nǹkan tá ń pè ní orí. orí inú kẹ̀dẹ̀rẹ́ ó jẹ́ nǹkan tó wà hidden tó wà ní ẹ̀pamọ́ tí ò sí èèyàn a máa lè rí ṣùgbọ́n àwọn tó lè rí wọn ò wọ́pọ̀.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni o.
wọn ò wọ́pọ̀ rárá láwọn tó lè rí orí inú. tá a bá dẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí inú nǹkan tó tóbi ni orí inú. àwọn ò wá ní sọ̀rọ̀ ká má lọ nínú Ifá ẹ má bínú torí ibẹ̀ náà la ti ń rí ẹ̀kọ́ kọ́. ṣé rí ẹni tó bá jẹ́ ọmọ kóòtù ojíire tó jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá kábíyèsí mo tún dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Elédùmarè pé mo jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá pé mo jẹ́ ọmọ kóòtù ojíire.
ìbà o.
ẹja ti kíyèsí níbi ọ̀rọ̀ ẹranko ẹja wo ẹranko kan tá à ń pè ní ejò. torí ejò bá ń bẹ lọ́rùn ẹ̀ ọmọ ènìyàn wo ló lè náwó sí pé mo fẹ́ gbé yàtọ̀ sáwọn tán kó sí ilé tán kó sínú zoo gan kì í ṣojú lásán eléyìí táwọn èèyàn míì ń gbé kọ́rùn kì í ṣojú lásán tábà ẹja kọ́kọ́ wo níbi ejò torí ejò bá ń bẹ lọ́rùn ejò ta ni ọmọ tó lè tọwọ́ bọ̀ àbí tó lè fọwọ́ kàn kò sí dájúdájú orí ejò yẹn náà ní bá ṣẹ́gun ìyẹn àkọ́kọ́ ìkejì ẹja wo àwọn tó wà ní òkè òkè lénìí orí wọn ló gbé wọn débẹ̀ kì í ṣe bọ́yẹ pé mímọ̀ ṣe wọn kọ́ orí ni tá a bá dẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí a máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí inú.
Orí inú mi ò ṣe wọn.
tá a bá dẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí inú kí ni orí inú máa ń gbà tó fi máa ń gbèyàn ìbọn ló máa ń gbà dáadáa tó fi máa ń gbèyàn. kí ló fà á táwọn pásítọ̀ fi ń bọrí fún yàn kí ló fà á táwọn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àáfàá fi ń bọrí fún yàn ṣó wà nù Kùránì kan bọrí fún yàn ni ìjọ wà nù Bíbélì kan bọrí fún yàn nígbà táwọn náà mọ pàtàkì nǹkan tá à ń pè ní orí tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí nǹkan tó tóbi lóríṣiríṣi ni Ifá ní ìtàkùnléjò bí ò bá sórí àbáfejò àbáfidigi ni orí ejò ní bá ṣẹ́gun ẹja wá wọ ẹni tó rí ṣe ní ayé wọn sá orí láńgbájá gbé láńgbájá orí ẹ̀ ń bẹ lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ tàbí àwọn kan sọ pé orí bàbá láńgbájá ń bẹ lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ló yẹ kó ti dẹni ẹni ìrékọjá àbẹ́ni tí ò tiẹ̀ ní jámọ̀ kankan ní ayé ṣùgbọ́n ọlá pé orí ẹ̀ ṣì wà lẹ́yìn ẹ̀ ló jẹ́ kó jẹ́ nǹkan kan láwùjọ tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí Ọ̀rúnmìlà náà kò kó yín orí kéré rárá tá a bá dẹ̀ tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí inú a tún máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìwà ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló jẹ́ pé orí ẹ̀ náà ti dáa orí ẹ̀ ti gbé dáa tóbi tó dáa orí ẹ̀ ti gbé débi tó yẹ kó dé orí ẹ̀ ti gba gbèsè ó ti mọ ọ̀nà tó yá ṣùgbọ́n yóò fọ̀ padà lọ tó bá bọ̀ yóò tún padà fi ìwà yóò tún fẹ́ padà bàjẹ́ tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí inú a ní láti máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìwà ẹni náà sí méjèèjì máa ń ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ torí Ifá ní ajá sun ọ̀tẹ́ ìdéyín àgbò sun ọ̀tẹ́ ìdé rọ̀rọ̀ bájá ò bá ní rọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ kárí ilé ẹni ká lọ́ọ́ má gbò wá ká fi bọ́ eégún ilé baba ẹni kárí bí ṣe ń gbé ní sí adúrà forí inú abùfún tòde ẹbọ ríra ó ní ó kára gírí kó máa gbéra kó máa mú ṣe ǹjẹ́ kan orí kan ò ní burú tẹ́ dálẹ̀ ẹ̀fẹ̀ tí wà nìkan ló ṣòro ẹja wo méjèèjì yẹn ó ń ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ mo bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí inú àbí orí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ ọ̀gá tá ń pè lórí inú ó ṣàmọ̀ pé òun lórí ni tán bá ní kọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ bọ orí mo rí èèyàn kan tán ní kó bọ orí tó ra oríṣiríṣi nǹkan tẹ́nu jẹ tó pin fáwọn ọmọ kéékèèké tó lòun ti bọ orí nìyẹn mo rẹ́rìn-ín kì í ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ tán bá ní kọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ bọ orí ó ní orúkọ táwọn àwọn kábíyèsí Elédùmarè mo tún dúpẹ́ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí pé èmi náà mọ̀nà ó ní àwọn kankan tó jẹ́ pé èèyàn á pè tán fi ń jẹ́ orí tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n dẹ̀ rí bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni tán bá ní kọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ bọ orí ó ti jẹ́ kọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ gan tó ṣìnà Ifá ní ìbọn lè gbé ìbọn làwúre dúrà fún Ọ̀rúnmìlà bàbá ọ̀sàkápò rẹ̀ dọ́gba kálẹ́lẹ́ ó tó lẹ́ẹ̀bọ rí lawó ni ó ṣe ẹni ó fẹ́ lájẹ́ láyé ẹja máa ṣe bọ́ ìbọn lè gbé ìbọn làwúre ìbọn tá à ń sọ yìí gangan ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ látòrí inú ọ̀tọ̀ ni kéèyàn bọ òòṣà kó òòṣà má gbà kó rí ẹni máa tako ni ọ̀tọ̀ ni kéèyàn lu àwúre káwúre má jẹ́ kó rí máa tako ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí nínú ìgbésí ayé ọmọ ẹ̀dá ó jẹ́ nǹkan pàtàkì tó jẹ́ pé èèyàn ò gbọ́dọ̀ fọwọ́ rọ́ sẹ́yìn tí èèyàn ò gbọ́dọ̀ kó yẹn kéré Ifá ní òkú súnà re nàrí ọ̀sà súnlẹ̀gbẹ̀lẹ̀gbẹ̀ aráyé ráyé omi abẹ́ ọta aláṣẹ ràṣẹ omi alẹ́ odò àgbààgbà wọn wọ ẹ̀yìn ọ̀rọ̀ wọn ni pé òsùn ọmọ wọn múrun wọn ìdí mọ́ wọn àgùn wọn ìdíyà pépèpé dáfọ́sẹ̀ títí ṣolúra lẹ́yìn ẹ̀bọ́re lawó ní ó ṣe ǹjẹ́ orí ẹni ìṣẹ̀ṣe ni ìyá ẹni ìṣẹ̀ṣe ni bàbá ẹni ìṣẹ̀ṣe ni ìṣẹ̀ṣe làbábọ̀ ká tó pè ní bòrìṣà orí náà ara ìṣẹ̀ṣe ní ibẹ̀
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
tá a bá yọ nǹkan tí ń pè lórí tá a bá yọ nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí kúrò nínú ayé ọmọ ẹ̀dá kò sí nǹkan kan tó dájá mọ́mọ́ láyé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló yẹ kó ti gòkè ibi tó yẹ kó lọ ṣùgbọ́n torí pé kò ní àkàsí kò mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí ó ti ṣìnà kúrò níbi tí ò yẹ kó ṣìnà dé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti ṣe ẹsẹ̀ tí ò yẹ kó gbé eléyìí tó yẹ kó gbé ó ti fi ilẹ̀ eléyìí tí ò yẹ kó gbé ó ti gbé síwájú torí pé kò mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè ní orí Ifá ní ìbínú ni ò ṣe nǹkan fún ní sùúrù ní bàbá àwàgbà tó ní sùúrù ó gbogbo ló ní ajogbó ajátọ́ ajáyé Ifá gbèdégbèdégbèdé bẹ́ẹ̀ ní láyìn dá forí inú abùfún tòde orí inú òun ni àkọ́kọ́ tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí kábíyèsí Elédùmarè ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ò yà sí rárá
kábíyèsí orí o.
tá a bá sọ pé kéèyàn míì lọ bọ orí àríà mo bọ orí lánàá ìgbà tó o bọ orí lánàá ìjọ ọmọ nǹkan tó rí ẹ fẹ́ padà pè fún ẹ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń bọ orí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń bọ orí torí kó má bàa ṣe ẹsẹ̀ gbé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti lówó owó ti wà ó ti ní owó nǹkan tá à ń pè ní ènìyàn láyé ó ti jẹ́ ènìyàn ṣùgbọ́n tó rí inú ẹ̀ bá tún fẹ́ tako tòde ẹ̀ yóò dẹ̀ jábọ́ látòkè yóò dẹni ilẹ̀ kábíyèsí Elédùmarè tá a bá wa lọ tá a bá wa bọ̀ orí ní bẹ́ẹ̀nbẹ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wà ní ayé kábíyèsí Elédùmarè ó ti ga ó ti dẹni òkè ó ti wà lókè àwọn èèyàn míì tó dẹ̀ ń bínú orí torí pé ó ti wà lókè wọ́n á dẹ̀ máa sàsí títí ìṣẹ̀dá ò dẹ̀ ní gbọ́ orí náà ni méjèèjì o
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o
kò yàtọ̀ síra ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wà láti ọjọ́ tán ti bí ní kékeré àárín ọ̀tá ló wà títí tí ó fi dàgbà tí ó fi jẹ́yàn láyé ẹja wo màrìwò ọ̀pẹ nígbà tó bá yọ kékeré yóò wùyàn láàárín ẹ̀gún ló wà o láàárín pòpọ̀pẹ̀ ló wà o láàárín eṣiṣọ ló wà o yóò wá yọ títí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn náà ló dàbí irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n orí ẹ̀ ló ń ṣẹ́gun fún orí ó jẹ́ nǹkan tá a gbọ́dọ̀ máa kó àpọ́nlé fún ní gbogbo ìgbà
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o
orí jẹ́ nǹkan tá a gbọ́dọ̀ máa bọ tàbí tá a gbọ́dọ̀ máa ṣe ìwúre fún ní gbogbo ìgbà ǹjẹ́ bá a bá jí lówùúrọ̀ ká fọwọ́ wa gbá orí mú orí ẹni làwúre ẹni Ifá ní bá a bá jí lówùúrọ̀ kùtùkùtù ká fọwọ́ ẹni gbáṣẹ́ mú ọ̀tẹ́lẹwọ́ ẹni kì í tan ní jẹ bàbá mi kábíyèsí bàbá mo ṣe bàbá
kábíyèsí bàbá
Elédùmarè ó fi yín síbẹ̀ fún wa pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́
àṣẹ
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti ṣe iṣẹ́ tí ò rí àkójọ kankan tán bá wá wa lọ tán bá wa bọ̀ orí náà ni ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ òde ní ṣe wàhálà rárá tí ó dẹ̀ máa rí nǹkan tí gbogbo ẹ̀ máa bọ́ sí tán bá wa lọ tán bá wa bọ̀ orí náà ní bẹ lẹ́yìn ẹ̀
orí ló ń gbé ní o.
Ifá ní mi ìmọ̀ bí olórí gbẹ̀yàn rìn bá lọ yán tèmi mi ìmọ̀ bí awùwà pẹ́ gbẹ̀yàn rìn bá lọ yán tèmi Ifá náà níbi kan náà la gbé yan rí kádàrá ò papọ̀ ni kádàrá yóò papọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n orí gangan ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló wà tí ò mọ ìtumọ̀ nǹkan tá à ń pè ní orí ó ṣàmọ́ pé òun ní orí ni ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló wà tó rí òun gan tó mọ nǹkan tá ń pè lórí ṣùgbọ́n tí ò ní kókó fún àwọn baba ńlá baba wa ẹ wo fáyì Ògúndárósùn kan ni Ògúndárósùn ni Ògúndá ló pẹran tán tó ń fẹsẹ̀ yí orí yéye ní mògún ta ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ló pọ̀ dúrà fògúndá ilé tí ó pẹran tí ó fẹ̀jẹ̀ yí rosùn lẹ́nu orí náà ni
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
kò sí nǹkan méjì mọ́ kò sí nǹkan mí orí náà ni ìgbà tí ìrosùn ń lọ òun àtògúndá ọ̀rẹ́ ìmùlẹ̀ làwọn méjèèjì ọ̀rẹ́ àti ilẹ̀wá ọ̀rẹ́ àti kékeré làwọn méjèèjì wọ́n wọnú ìlú ìgbà tán dẹnu odi ìlú wọ́n bá di Ògún orí pọ̀ rẹ́rẹ́rẹ́rẹ́ Ògúndá wá sọ pé kábíyèsí Elédùmarè pé orí yíyí ní mògún ta ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ló pọ̀ ìrosùn ní rárá o ó ní bẹ́ẹ̀ èèyàn ò bá ṣẹ̀ èèyàn ò kì í jẹ̀bi ọba ìlú wọn dẹ̀ ń sin ewúrẹ́ ẹyọ kan ṣoṣo lewúrẹ́ yẹn ṣe ní gbogbo ìlú ọba nìkan ní sin ewúrẹ́ òun Ògúndá àti ìrosùn wọn jiyàn títí ìgbà tí ó dàárín òru Ògúndá gbé ewúrẹ́ ọba ó pa ó wọ ẹ̀jẹ̀ wọnú ilé ìrosùn ó fẹ̀jẹ̀ ó fi pa ìrosùn lẹ́nu ẹ wá wò ó ṣáà sọ pé orí ẹ̀ náà kọ́ ló ti débẹ̀ ó fà jùlọ wọn ẹgá wo lóòótọ́ orí yíyí ní mògún ta ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ló pọ̀ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló ń jìyà ẹ̀mọ̀dí lẹ́ni tá a bá wa lọ tá a bá wa bà wọ́n á lórí náà ní ibẹ̀ níbẹ̀ ẹ ṣe já kúnlẹ̀ ká pàpò ká ba rúbúrúbú níwájú ẹni tó ju ni lọ orí inú ju gbogbo wa lọ tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí inú nǹkan tó tóbi gidi ni Ifá nìyẹn káfẹ́fẹ́ là á máa fọyẹ́ ìwòrì fẹ́fẹ́ là á máa fọgbà bá a bá fọyẹ́ bá a fọgbà bí ò bá dún kámúrí ilé Ọ̀yọ́ kánà fún ọdún àforí ní irọ́ ni abùfọ́ba ní irọ́ ni àwọn méjèèjì ti kọ́lé ọ̀run bọ̀ wọ́n lé ayé ẹbọ ríra owó ni ó ṣe àwọn méjèèjì orí ní irọ́ ni èèyàn ni ọba ní irọ́ ni èèyàn náà ni àwọn méjèèjì wọ́n á jiyàn sí ọba ṣèdánwò fún wọn ìwọ orí mi gbèmí orí ọba gbèmí kábíyèsí bàbá.
irọ́ yìí kọ́
àwọn méjèèjì
mo sọ kí gbogbo ilé cut power tap ni please like and share please thank you.
okay ìgbà táwọn wá méjèèjì lọ ẹja power tap ẹ dákun ìgbà táwọn wá méjèèjì lọ orí ọba ní gbé ọba orí mi gbèmí kó orí ọba má gbèmí ìgbà tó orí ọba ní gbé ọba ẹni yẹn bá ṣèwúre á ní orí ọba kó gbé ọba kó orí tèmi gbèmí ìgbà táwọn wà lọ títí tí ọba bá bínú ẹni tó ní kó rí ògbè òun ẹgá wo nǹkan tó padà gbẹ̀yìn wọn ìgbà tó yá orí ọba ló gbé ọba orí tèmi náà gbè mí ó ní orí lóríro ẹni ṣèbò orí lóríro ẹni ọba kan ò lè dániró ọba kan ò lè dániró ṣèbò orí lóríro ẹni o pé orí mi gbè mí o ìṣẹ̀dá mi gbè mí o ẹni tó bá ti gbè nígbélé ayé ṣe rere.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
kí ṣẹ̀dá wa bá lè gbé wá ẹja kóbì fún ẹja bọ́ níwọ̀nba tó yẹ ká gbìyànjú agbára.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
Ifá ní jíjí tí mo jí mo gbọ́ wíníwíní apá mi ọ̀tún mo rí Ifá kílẹ̀ rí já mo ní ọ̀wọ́n yànrẹ̀tẹ̀ ní Ifá ní ọ̀wọ́n yànrẹ̀tẹ̀ péńpé babaláwo orí ló ṣe fáforí orí kówó rọjà ní lọ́ra péré ẹ̀bọ rẹ̀ làwọn ní ọ̀kára gírí kó máa gbéra kó máa mú ṣe mo kówó rọjà mo ra rere afẹ́dìfẹ́ ló kówó rọjà ló ra péré mo kówó rọjà mo ra rere àwọn bàbá wa bá tún fẹ́ kí orí wọ́n bá tún fẹ́ kí orí dáadáa wọ́n á ní orí àpérè àtètè níran àtẹ̀lé ni máyà kí là ń pè ní orí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti gbàgbé nǹkan tá à ń pè ní orí àwọn èèyàn míì gan tó máa ń ṣe àṣìṣe kékeré kan nínú kan béèrè nǹkan tán fi bo orí olówó kan ń bẹ ó ní owó ayé gbọ́ ọ̀run mọ̀ ebi wọn á pa àkókò tẹ́bi ń pa yẹn nǹkan tó wù ú jẹ bọ́yẹ soft drink ló wù ú jẹ lásìkò yẹn ó mu sí lásìkò yẹn àsìkò tó mu soft drink yẹn ọkàn yẹn á balẹ̀ inú ẹ̀ á dùn pé wọ́n ní nǹkan tó wù mí jẹ lásìkò. èèyàn kan náà wá bẹ ebi ń pa kò rí tó fẹ́ jẹ kò tí ì rí jẹ ẹja bìnrin pé tó ibi yẹn bá pa ibi yẹn lè kú mọ́ nínú ìgbà tí ó fi oúnjẹ yẹn ó lè má wù ú jẹ mọ́.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
gẹ́gẹ́ náà la lè fi ṣàkàwé orí. ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ lè béèrè nǹkan tó ń bọ orí tó orí mi obì ló gbà àkókò tó ní orí lóbì ló gbà yẹn ó ṣeé ṣe kó máa la nǹkan kọjá kó dóbì yẹn nìkan ni ó bá ṣẹ́gun. ṣùgbọ́n torí pé àìmọ̀kan àbí àìlákàsí ó lò jẹ́ kó fi lẹ̀ kó má ṣe rárá. ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló ti jì sínú ọ̀fìn lénìí torí orí ò tí lẹ́yìn. ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ náà ló ti wá jì sínú ọ̀fìn lénìí torí pé àìmọ̀ wá wù. orí àti ìwà méjèèjì jẹ́ kókó nínú ẹ̀dá ayé ọmọ ènìyàn.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
nínú ẹ̀dá ayé ọmọ kóòtù ojíire.
pàtàkì gidi gan bàbá.
pàtàkì gidi. orí àti ìwà méjèèjì kò ṣeé má níni. ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wà tó jẹ́ pé orí ẹ̀ kò ní kókó mọ́ torí pé ẹ̀ka sí àbí torí pé ẹ̀sìn. ẹja mọ̀ nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí ẹja mọ̀ nǹkan tá à ń pè ní pàtàkì orí.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
tá a bá dẹ̀ sọ nípa orí inú ó ṣe kókó ju gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ. orí inú ó ṣe kókó ju gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ. tá a bá wá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí inú ẹja máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìwà náà sí.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ni ó níwà ṣùgbọ́n torí ẹ̀ ti takò. ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ lórí wa ń gbé lọ ṣùgbọ́n torí àìmọ̀ wá wù ó ti fi bà kankan tó yẹ kó ṣe ó ti fi bàjẹ́. mo ṣe bá àgbàlagbà
ó mà ṣe o.
mo ṣe àǹbà àwọn tó láyé
kábíyèsí
mo ṣe bá àwọn bàbá mi kábíyèsí mo ṣe ẹ̀làbọ́ mo ṣe ẹ̀làbọ́yè gbogbo ilé àbọ̀mìrè.
bàbá ẹ má dùn ta ti gbé ìjókòó ta ti mú báírò àti pẹ́ńsù àti ìwé ta ti ń kọ ìmọ̀ọ́lẹ̀ lọ́lá ẹ má dá dúró bẹ́ẹ̀ bàbá o.
bàbá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa nǹkan tá a pè lórí nǹkan tó tóbi ní bá mi.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
nǹkan tó tóbi ni.
nǹkan tó ṣe pàtàkì ni o.
ẹja rántí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọba ló fẹ́ jẹ. ló yẹ kó jẹ́ pé òun ló yẹ kó jẹ tó tọ́ sí dáadáa. ṣùgbọ́n torí pé orí ti takò bàbá kò ní débẹ̀. ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló yẹ kó hùwà kan tó jẹ́ pé àkíní o tó bá dẹ̀ rí kíní o bóyá 30 naira ni o ló fẹ́ fi méèkì ẹ̀ láyé ṣùgbọ́n torí pé orí ti takò yóò lè wá títí tí kò má rí. nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí nǹkan tó kẹnu gidi.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
tó yẹ ká máa bọ lóòrèkóòrè ká máa ṣèwúre fún lóòrèkóòrè. ní gbogbo ìgbà tá a bá jí àkọ́kọ́ tó ṣe pàtàkì jùlọ tí mo kọ́kọ́ fẹ́ ká mú sọ́wọ́ òsìn àbí ká mú pamọ́ ká má fi jẹun ká má dẹ̀ jù dànù ní pé tá a bá jí láàárọ̀ kú lówùúrọ̀ kùtùkùtù ká kọ́kọ́ fọwọ́ wa ká fi gbá orí mú kórì mi gbèmí lénìí. ẹja wo ẹyẹ kan bẹ agbe ni wọ́n ń pè é bàbá mi ti sọ́lẹ̀ kan ìkan bẹ àlùkò ni wọ́n ń pè é ìkan bẹ odídẹrẹ́ ni wọ́n pè é ìkan bẹ lékeléke ni wọ́n pè é àwọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ọmọ ìyá ni wọ́n ọmọ ìyá làwọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ẹja májà gbàgbé agbe ó dáró àlùkò ó kún oṣù odídẹrẹ́ òun ló kú pupa lékeléke nìkan ló dá yàtọ̀ nù wọn orí lékeléke náà ló wá gbé lékeléke tó fi rẹ́ fún kùn. kò sí bó ṣe lè rí tó láyé láti ọjọ́ aláyé ti dáyé tẹ́ ẹ bá ń rí lékeléke àmì ẹ̀fun lẹ́ẹ̀ máa bá lára ẹ̀ orí ẹ̀ ló gbé débẹ̀. wọ́n á ní agbe tí ń gbére pàdé olókùn má gbére pàdé olókùn mọ́ ibo ni kó wá gbé lọ òun náà ṣiṣẹ́ tiẹ̀ olókùn ṣiṣẹ́ tiẹ̀ débẹ̀. kábíyèsí Elédùmarè tá a máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí nǹkan tó tóbi ni bàbá mi.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
orí ó jẹ́ nǹkan tó ṣe pàtàkì nínú ìgbésí ayé ẹ̀dá ó ṣe nǹkan tó jẹ́ kókó nínú ìgbésí ayé ẹ̀dá tó bá ní ká bọ orí ẹja gbìyànjú ká bọ
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
tá a bá wá bo orí náà tán ẹja wá gbìyànjú ká ní ìwà pẹ̀lú ẹ̀. Ifá ní ìbínú ni ò ṣe nǹkan fún ní sùúrù ní bàbá wa àgbà tó ní sùúrù gbogbo ló ní àjọgbọ́ ajátọ́ ajayé Ifá gbedegbede bẹ́ẹ̀ ní láyìn. Ráfúná iná lòun ò doyè ara tu ni ẹbọ ríràwó ni ó ṣe ìbínú ni ò ṣe nǹkan fún ní sùúrù ní bàbá wa àgbà tó ní sùúrù ohun gbogbo ló ní àjọgbọ́ ajátọ́ ajayé Ifá gbedegbede bẹ́ẹ̀ ní láyìn. Dúráfóòrùn òòrùn lòun ò doyè ara tu ni ẹbọ ríràwó ni ó ṣe Ifá ní ìbínú ni ò ṣe nǹkan fún ní sùúrù ní bàbá wa àgbà tó ní sùúrù àjọgbọ́ ajátọ́ ajayé Ifá gbedegbede bẹ́ẹ̀ ní láyìn. Dúráfóṣùpá dèdèrè tí ìṣọmọ kẹ́yìn wọn léje ó yòrò ó doyè ara tu ni ẹbọ ríràwó ni ó ṣe. Ẹja wo àwọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ló fẹ́ jo ìyá máa wí rọrùn ló fẹ́ jo rẹ̀ ara tu ni. Àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké àwọn ọmọ ògo ọ̀la wọ́n ṣe lè máa gbá yìí tì mí. Ẹja wo ìgbà tá iná ló jo ìyá ara tu ni. Ìgbà tá a dáná atẹ́gùn fẹ́ òtútù mú ọyẹ́ ń fí àwọn èèyàn wá ràgbà tí ná wọ́n ràgbà tí ó ń dùn mọ́ wọn ìgbà tó tásìkò kan iná gbé ìwà ẹ̀yọ ó gbára ó fẹjú gbogbo èèyàn tí ń bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n sá kúrò. Ẹja wo oòrùn náà ó jòyà ara tu ni ó náà ó jòyà máyé rọrùn. Ẹja wo ìgbà tó oòrùn náà ó jòyà máyé rọrùn ìgbà tó oòrùn ṣe ń yọ ọ́ bọ̀ lówùúrọ̀ kùtùkùtù ó ń dùn mọ́yàn lára ó ń ta sí yàn yẹ́rẹ́yẹ́rẹ́ ara ń yá ilẹ̀ ń ta gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ìgbà tí oòrùn gbára tán gbogbo ọmọ aráyé forí ẹ̀ pamọ́ ó gbórí kúrò ńbẹ̀. Òṣùpá dèdèrè ní sọmọ kẹ́yìn wọn léje òun náà joyè ara tu ni ó lóun joyè amúlùdùn. Òṣùpá nìkan ní ibẹ̀ lẹ́yìn ní túbọ̀. Ẹja wa wo nígbà tá a wà ní kéékèèké àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké wọn akóra wọn jọ wọn náà ṣeré ṣùpá o a ṣeré ṣùpá o òṣùpá yẹn nìkan ló fara tu nìyàn. Iná ní àsìkò tiẹ̀ oòrùn ní àsìkò tiẹ̀ òṣùpá náà ní àsìkò tiẹ̀ orí àwọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta ló gbé àwọn mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta débẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
Níbo lórí èmi àti yín gbéra wa délé ní. Ẹja kọ́kọ́ bira wa léèrè níbo lórí mi náà gbé mi délé ní. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló ń gbìyànjú láti kó ríwèé ìgbélùgbà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni láti kó ti gbìyànjú látọjọ́ tó ti kúrò nílé ó gbìyànjú títí kó ríwèé ìgbélùgbà àsẹ̀yìnwá àsẹ̀yìnbọ̀ orí ló ń takò. Ìgbà tó àsìkò tó mọ̀ nǹkan tá ń pè lórí ló tó ríwèé ìgbélùgbà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni nǹkan tó ti ṣojú mi ni tí mo ti bọ́ tí mo dè ṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí. Àkókò tó mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè ní orí ló tó ríwèé ìgbélùgbà. Mélòó ni irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí tí ò lè lanu sọ síta. Mélòó ni irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí tó jẹ́ pé yóò máa mú mọ́ra tàbí ọ̀dọ̀ ibòmíì lágbé lọ. Ifá ní orí tó bá máa gbé ni ní gbalawo oreko ni. Àìmọye aláwo kì í ṣe pé kò sólóòótọ́ ní bòmí nígbà míì ṣùgbọ́n kádà àbí orí wọn lè má ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ ìṣẹ̀dá wọn lè má jọ rìn papọ̀ tó bá ń sa nǹkan fún kó máa jẹ́ pàbó ló ń já sí. Ìgbà tí ó wàá fi padà pàdé ẹni tó jẹ́ pé orí àwọn méjèèjì papọ̀ tó bá nawọ́ báyìí nǹkan tó ń ṣe yóò bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa bọ́ sí.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
Ẹja mọ pàtàkì nǹkan tá à ń pè ní orí. Ẹja mọ pàtàkì nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí inú. Tá a bá dẹ̀ ti mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí àti orí inú orí méjì níbẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n ìkan jù kan lọ orí inú làkọ́kọ́.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
Orí eléyìí tá a gbé síta má kọlu mọ́tò má kọlu kẹ̀kẹ́ jẹ́ kí n rí náà ríwájú. Tá a bá wá mọ méjèèjì ẹja wá fi nǹkan kan tó tún jẹ́ pàtàkì tó ṣe kókó fún bí kò ṣe ìwà. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ sọ ìwà nù ó ṣe báyé ní í ṣeun. Ó gbọ́ àtọ́ ìyá mi ó gbọ́ àtọ́ yín ó gbọ́ àtọ́ yín ìyá mi. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti sọ ìwà nù ó ṣe báyé ní í ṣeun. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ènìyàn lórí ń bájà tó ti parọ́ máyé pé iṣẹ́ ayé ni àbẹ́ẹ̀ rí tí ìdẹ́ ń ṣayé tó jẹ́ pé ìṣẹ̀dá ẹ̀ ní bájà lọ́wọ́. ẹja gbìyànjú ẹja túbọ̀ máa súnmọ́ àwọn onímọ̀ ọmọ kóòtù ojíire lóòótọ́ wọ́n ti fi ẹ̀sìn wọ́n ti fi parọ́ fún wa. Ìgbà tí mo wà ní kékeré kábíyèsí Elédùmarè mo tún dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Fá, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ adániwáyé, èṣù láàlú mo dúpẹ́, láàárọ̀ ìyàrá mo dúpẹ́.
Ìṣẹ̀dá mi ó
ìgbà tí mo wà ní kékeré àwọn ẹ̀gbọ́n mi wọ́n máa kó mi láyà jẹ pé torí bàbá wa ṣe awo gidi níjẹ̀bú ló ti ṣawo. Wọ́n wá kó aláyà jẹ pé awo tí bàbá ṣe tá a bá ti ń lọ pàdé báyìí wọ́n gbé mi dání ni. Awo tí bàbá ṣe tí bàbá bá kú wọ́n gé orí wọ́n gé apá wọ́n gé gbogbo ẹ̀. Ẹja wá wo nǹkan tán fi rú nǹkan yẹn tán ti fi kó ọmọ kóòtù ojíire lẹ́rú lọ. Tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé àwọn ibi tó yẹ ká ti máa rí ìgbàlà kéékèèké ìwòsàn kéékèèké làwọn ọbẹ̀ yẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti sọnù, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti kó dànù torí pé àgbà ẹ̀sìn. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn nǹkan yìí náà ló yẹ káwa náà máa lù fúnra lára wa. Ṣùgbọ́n torí pé a ti ṣìnà àmọ̀nà tó tọ́ mọ́ ní gbogbo àwọn nǹkan yìí ti wá dáradára ló fi dàrú dúdú tí ò fi yé èèyàn kankan mọ́. Ẹja padà ẹja mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí, ẹja mọ pàtàkì orí. Ọba tí ń bẹ lórí ìtẹ́ ó joyè láàrin gbogbo ìlú, ó gbìyànjú ó ń tu ìlú tùbà ìlú tùṣẹ, kì í ṣe mímọ̀ ṣe, orí ẹ̀ ní bẹ lẹ́yìn ẹ̀. Ọba tó wá jẹ tìlú òrójú tìlú òráyè tẹ́kù òkè bí eku, kì í ṣèjẹ́ bí ẹ, orí ni ò sí ń bẹ́ẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
Kábíyèsí Elédùmarè, ẹja mọ iye nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí, ẹja mọ pàtàkì nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí, kórí wa bá lè gbé wá. Ẹja kúnlẹ̀ ká bẹ àpérè àtètè níran àtètè gbé ní kù fóòṣà. Ifá ní òótẹ́ kòǹkò yí bìrìbìrì babaláwo orí ló ṣe fá fórí orí títí kọ́lé ọ̀run bọ̀ wálé ayé ẹ̀ bọ́rí lawó ni ó ṣe. Orí òun lajẹ́ òun lájẹ́ ọ̀tẹ́ kòǹkò yí bìrìbìrì orí mi ìwọ ni. Orí nù ó dọ́lọ́mọ mo dọ́lọ́mọ ọ̀tẹ́ kòǹkò yí bìrìbìrì orí mi ìwọ ni. Orí nù ó dáláyà mo dáláyà ọ̀tẹ́ kòǹkò yí bìrìbìrì orí mi ìwọ ni. Ẹja wo pàtàkì orí nínú ẹ̀dá ayé ènìyàn. Ẹja wo Ifá ní ọ̀tọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ là ń jẹ pọ̀ ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ là ń jẹ múmu, lọ́tọ̀lọ́tọ̀ là ń fowó tuntun sẹ́nu, ohun torí ohun torí láfọ́ máa kan yóò jíde ràn jì kó bà lè fún ohun torí tani lọ́rẹ. Ifá ní kágbára ó jẹ́ kó oògùn ó jẹ́, bóògùn ò bá jẹ́ bágbára ò bá jẹ́ mọ́. Ẹ wá máa gbọ́ fá o, Ifá ní ká forí ká fi pẹ̀lú ẹ̀. Orí ẹni jẹ́ ojúgbẹ́ ewé lọ, orí ẹni jẹ́ ojúgbẹ́ egbò lọ, ọ̀dọ́dọ́ àbàwò lọ̀lọ̀ dúrà fún Ọ̀rúnmìlà bàbá ọlọ́gbé sàníyàn pẹ̀ níyàwó. Ẹja ogun àárín yẹn Ifá gan sọ, Ifá lórí ẹni jẹ́ ju ewé àti egbò lọ. Mo lo àwúre kò jẹ́. Ifá lórí ẹ ìwọ tó bá mọ pàtàkì nǹkan tó rí jẹ́ láyé, tó mọ pàtàkì nǹkan tó rí inú ẹ jẹ́, kì í ṣorí tá à ń gbé kiri yìí o, kì í ṣorí mo rí náà ríwájú o, tá à ń pè pàtàkì lórí inú gangan. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló dẹ̀ tó mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí ṣùgbọ́n torí inú ẹ ti takòtò díẹ̀. Táwọn méjèèjì ò bá ti lè ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ òfo náà ni. A gbọ́dọ̀ kọ́kọ́ mọ báwọn méjèèjì ṣe fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀, orí inú àtòrí ìta méjèèjì gbọ́dọ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o. Àti ìpọ̀rí bàbá.
Tó bá ti wá lọ lọ́tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ kábíyèsí bàbá. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bàbá mi kábíyèsí àgbò mo ṣe bàgbàlagbà. Méjèèjì gbọ́dọ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀. Tí méjèèjì ò bá tún ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ òfo ni. Báwo ọ̀nà wo wá la lè gbà tí méjèèjì lè ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ bí kò ṣe ìbọ, ẹ̀bẹ̀, ìwúre. Ẹ gbọ́ dáadáa o, ìbọ, ẹ̀bẹ̀, orí mi dákun gbèmí pẹ̀lú ìwúre. Mi ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àdúrà, mo ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìwúre.
Ìwúre.
Tá a bá lè ṣe àwọn nǹkan yẹn dandan ni kó rí méjèèjì ó ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ tí wọn ò ní ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ rárá. tó bá tún ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ oríṣi ogun míì ni ó tún fà wọlé ìkan ó gbàbọ̀dé ṣáájú ìkan méjèèjì wa gbọ́dọ̀ máa ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ méjèèjì gbọ́dọ̀ máa ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ lọ́nà wo ló lè gbà ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ ká máa ṣe ìbọn dáadáa ká mọ ẹ̀kẹ́ orí wa dáadáa ká mọ nǹkan tó rí wa ń jẹ́ dáadáa ìṣẹ̀dá wa kó gbè wá kó rí wa kó gbé gbogbo wa
àṣẹ.
ká má bàa láyé fọwọ́ tì í ká má bò ní bọ̀rọ̀ bá ọjọ́ mùkẹ́mùkẹ́
àṣẹ wá.
tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí nǹkan tó ṣe kókó ni nínú ayé nǹkan tó ṣe pàtàkì ni nínú ayé táwọn onímọ̀ tó jẹ́ pé onímọ̀ sáyẹ́ǹsì lóòótọ́ tán bá gbé wò tán tì síwájú tán tì sẹ́yìn wọ́n tún mú nǹkan tó ṣe kókó náà jáde nínú orí.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
dájúdájú láìsí orí nínú ayé ọmọ ẹ̀dá nínú ayé ọmọ ènìyàn nínú ayé ọmọ adarí oorun kò já mọ́ kankan mọ́. tá a bá mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí nínú ayé ọmọ kóòtù gbogbo àgbáyé gan ni kì í ṣe ọmọ kóòtù ojíire òyìnbó lórí òyìnbó náà lórí tiẹ̀ tá a bá mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí tá a mọ pàtàkì orí òfo ni kò jámọ́ kankan dájúdájú a gbọ́dọ̀ mọ nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí dájúdájú a gbọ́dọ̀ máa ṣe ìbọ̀fórí wa dáadáa kì í ṣe pé mo kan mo lábì méjì fórí ẹ kọ́kọ́ pè lórúkọ tí ń jẹ́ ẹ kọ́kọ́ pè wọ́n wọ́rọ̀ wá dáadáa tí ó rí ó mọ nǹkan tí ń jẹ́ láńgbájá ìwọ mò ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ tí ó fi lè torí náà ó fi lè mọ̀ pé orí láńgbájá èmi mà ló ń pè kí ṣẹ̀dá wa má jẹ́ kó rí wọ́n gbàbọ̀dé kó rí wa kó lè gbé gbogbo wa.
àṣẹ.
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ lórí pákó lọ lórí wọn ti rìn lọ tó jẹ́ pé ọ̀tọ̀ níbi tó rí wà ọ̀tọ̀ lórí ibi tí tìta wà ọ̀tọ̀ lórí ibi tó rí inú wà méjèèjì dẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ máa ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ tí méjèèjì bá ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀ ìgbà yẹn lèèyàn tó lè rọ́nà lọ. bàbá mi kì í ṣe gbogbo wa pátápátá là ń lọ́kòkó gbogbo wa pátápátá la lọ́kòkó tán là ń bomi rin ẹni títí ẹ bá yè nìkan ló mọ̀ ọ́n ṣe.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
báwo ló ṣe wá lè yìí ó wà lọ́wọ́ orí inú ìta àti ìwà owó mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta tó wà nìyẹn. báwo ẹ jẹ́ dúró mo ṣàlàmọ́ yìí ẹ jẹ́ dúró
bàbá
àbọ̀mí rèé kábíyèsí bàbá.
ọgbọ́n ni yóò níjọba o ẹ ṣeun bàbá o Èdùmàrè á tún máa bùkún yín ní ire gbogbo orí yín á gbè yín lágbára Èdùmàrè àwọn rúmọlẹ̀ á gbè yín o àwọn òòṣà á gbè yín wọ́n á gbè yín o èṣù á gbè yín lágbára Èdùmàrè ẹ ṣeun bàbá ẹ kì í fún yín látẹ̀wọ́ kan sí torí kí bàbá wa ibi tó bá wa expand kìíní yẹn dé èyàn tún lọ fà gan àti wá rí ẹ̀kọ́ kọ́ àbábá ńlá ìbùkún ni o àti wá rí ẹ̀kọ́ kọ́ gan nínú ọ̀nà orí yìí ẹ ṣeun bàbá o mo ṣe bá síwájú o bàbá wa Ọlátúnjí Olúmídé ẹ ṣeun o àwọn orúnmọlẹ̀ àgbẹ̀yìn o ẹ ṣeun so yeah ẹ̀rí kí bàbá wa tún wá expand ó tún wá gbé far but ultimately it's about pàtàkì orí yìí kò lópin o pàtàkì orí is something very very important ó dẹ̀ ní chapter kan tí ó relate mọ́ nǹkan tí bàbá wa ń sọ nípa orí ni àkọ́kọ́. Ori ni àkọ́kọ́. So basically, there was a chapter where I was talking about your Orí Inú is your personal sovereign. It's not your servant. Orí ló ń gbè wá o. Orí jù wá lọ in hierarchy. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Torí nǹkan tí bàbá wa ń sọ fún wa nǹkan tó ń yé mi ń bẹ̀ nìyẹn o. Ń pé in the spiritual hierarchy, Orí Inú ju tòde lọ o. Ifá dẹ̀ fìdí ẹ̀ múlẹ̀. Kí Ifá bá ní ṣe kílé Èdùmàrè bá ní ṣe Ifá sọ pé adífá forí inú abù fún tòde ó ní orí inú jọ̀wọ́ má bà tòde jẹ́ ìwà nìkan ló ṣòro ẹni tó bá níwà ire gbogbo ló ní ṣó sì yẹ Ifá náà fìdí ẹ̀ múlẹ̀ pé orí inú ju tòde lọ orí inú ni a bù fún tòde. Gbogbo nǹkan tí a bá achieve lórí ilẹ̀ ayé yìí orí ní ń tọ́ka sí o, orí ló ń ṣìnà ẹ̀ fún wa, orí inú dẹ̀ là ń sọ o. Orí inú gbogbo nǹkan tí ẹ̀dá bá achieve lórí ilẹ̀ ayé yìí o, tí ọmọ ènìyàn bá achieve, orí inú ló ń tọ́ka sí. So yeah, there was a chapter here tó sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orí is not your servant, it is your sovereign. Honour it, ká bọ̀wọ̀ fún, align with it daily, ká máa bọ orí, ká máa ṣe ìwúre fún orí, ká dẹ̀ máa ṣe ìwà pẹ̀lẹ́ tí bàbá wa ṣe sọ. And when you are ready, orí will lead you. Eléyìí wà ní abẹ́ chapter àwọn nǹkan tó yẹ kí ìpalẹ̀mọ́ tó yẹ kí a máa ṣe ká tiẹ̀ tó lọ sọ́pá fẹ́ lọ bá babaláwo pa fẹ́ lọ bọ òrìṣà kankan. Ó yẹ ká máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ nǹkan tí bàbá wa ń sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan ní pé ká máa bẹ orí wa, kí a máa kí orí wa, ká dẹ̀ máa ṣe ìwúre. Kí a máa bẹ orí wa, kí a máa kí orí wa, kí a máa ṣe ìwúre, ká dẹ̀ máa ṣe ìwà pẹ̀lẹ́, ìwà rere. Ṣó ti yé yín? Orí wa á gbè wá lágbára Èdùmàrè o. Orí wa kò ní padà lẹ́yìn wa o. Orí inú kò ní bà tòde jẹ́ o lágbára Èdùmàrè. Gbogbo wa là á lórí ire o lágbára Èdùmàrè o. So ẹ ṣeun gan babaláwo Ọlátúnjí Olúmídé tí ẹ fún wa mú nínú ìmọ̀ orí. Ẹ̀dẹ̀ tí wàá ṣeun, mo ṣèdúpẹ́ bàbá wa alátúnṣe náà. Ẹ̀yin náà fún wa ní omi ìmọ̀ mu. Ó tiẹ̀ ti pẹ́ ta ti ń bù ú mu lọ́dọ̀ yín. Ẹ mọ̀ kí bàbá wa Olúmídé àwọn máa ń ṣe ìrúbọ bàbá ọ̀hún ní àǹfààní láti wà pẹ̀lú wa ní gbogbo ìgbà. So mo ṣe bá yín àgbà wa o, mo ṣe bá yín awo o, mo ṣe bá yín olúwo wa, gbogbo olúwo pátápátá mo ṣe bá yín o. Ẹ ṣeun. Bá mi ẹlẹ́rìí ìpè àbọ̀rú àbọ̀yè bàbá o, mo ṣe bá Júnilọ́ ṣe dáadáa ní bàbá. Mo fẹ́ interrupt àwọn awo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan ni o, bàbá ẹlẹ́rìí ìpè. Ẹ kú pẹ̀lú ẹni o, àwọn rúmọlẹ̀ á pẹ̀lú yín, àwọn rúmọlẹ̀ á gbè yín o. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá o. So yeah, today's topic I wanted to focus on ancestors. Kí là ń pè ní ẹgbẹ́? Kí là ń pè ní ará ọ̀run? Kí là ń pè ní egungun? Ṣó ti yé yín? So I believe there was a topic about something about what are ancestors, I believe was the topic, if I remember it correctly. What?
Ṣé ká gbọ́n sókè ní bá mi, bá bínú. Ibi orílẹ̀ mi ti bá yín ní orúkọ yìí sá.
Àsọ̀rọ̀ orí náà, gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ni o. Ìwé orí ni. Ṣó ti yé yín? Ìwé orí ni o. Mo sọ pé ẹ ṣí sọ o. Àìrọ̀ kò sáyọ kúrò nínú nǹkan tẹ́ sọ àtọ́. Ẹ má ṣe mí gbọ́ o. Nínú ọ̀rọ̀ orí náà ni a ti sọ bọ̀. Àìṣèwọ̀n gbọ́ àtọ́ bàbá. Àṣírí ìwòye òkú.
Bàbá mi ẹlẹ́rìí ṣe báyìí. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n sọ one or two things nínú nǹkan tá à ń pè ní ancestors. Dàdídì àwọn kan gbà bóyá àwọn bàbá wa tó ti lọ orírun. Àbí ṣé mo correct ní Yorùbá tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ancestors wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orírun.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni o.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí n sáré sọ méjì àbẹ́yọ̀ kan sí.
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá.
Torí àwa náà ní ẹ ṣe báyìí.
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá.
Tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa nǹkan tá à ń pè ní orírun jẹ́ nǹkan tó ṣe pàtàkì náà nínú àìdáyé ẹ̀dá. Ifá ní ọ̀dọ́mọdé ò ní ṣoògùn kó má ní bàbá. Dájúdájú ẹni abá níwájú tó bàbá ń ṣe fún ni. Tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ancestors, nípa àwọn bàbá àwọn èèyàn wa tó ti lọ like ancestors náà, a lè máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ancestors ká máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Ògún, ká máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn irúnmọlẹ̀ wa tó ti lọ, ká máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn oríṣàdá tá à ń pè ní òrìṣà wa tó ti lọ. Ká tún máa sọ̀rọ̀ náà, tá a bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ gbogbo ẹ̀ náà, á máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ibi tá a ti dìde gangan, kí ni nǹkan tán ṣe ń bẹ̀. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti tàpá sórírun, ó ti gbàgbé nǹkan tán pè lórírun. Tẹ́ẹ̀dá bá dẹ̀, àwọn bàbá wa máa ń sọ pé omi tó bá gbàgbé orísun dandan ni kó gbẹ. Tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa orírun, ó dàbí ibi téèyàn ti dìde láti kékeré. Nǹkan tán jẹ tán fi bí wa. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wà tó jẹ́ pé nǹkan tó ń dà wọ́n láàmú lénìí, nǹkan tí àwọn bàbá wa ń fẹnu kàn yìí ló ń da ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ láàmú lénìí. Tó bá wá lọ tó wá bọ̀ á ní àjẹ́ ilé wa ló ń ṣe wá, oṣó ilé wa ló ń ṣe wá. Tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn ancestors wa, àwọn ni àkọ́kọ́ tá a kọ́kọ́ mọ̀ ká tó mọ ọwọ́ ọ̀tún yàtọ̀ sósì. Ìdí tá a fi tó fi rí bẹ́ẹ̀ rèé, tán bá bí wa lọ́mọ ọwọ́ ní kékeré àmọ́ ọwọ́ ọ̀tún yàtọ̀ sósì. Ẹ má jà á gbàgbé pé nǹkan táwọn bàbá wa ń ṣe tán sìn lọ́wọ́ náà máa fi bọ́ wa títí tá a fi mọ ọwọ́ ọ̀tún yàtọ̀ sósì. Tọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ bá wá yà kúrò ń bẹ̀ tó jẹ́ pé ẹni tó bá ìkan nínú àwọn ancestors yẹn wá ni tí ò wá tẹ̀lé mọ́, ó ti jẹ́ dandan káwọn ancestors yẹn kán máa dà á láàmú kiri. Ó ti jẹ́ dandan káwọn ancestors yẹn kọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó bá ti ń ṣe kó máa jẹ́ pé látọwọ́ wọn ni ó ti máa wá. Ṣùgbọ́n tọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ bá ti fojú ojú àná wò kú, ẹbọra ti bọ́ pọ̀lọpọ̀ láṣọ torí pé ó ti fojú àná wo kú dẹ̀ tí wọn. Tá a bá dẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ancestors náà, nínú wọn làwọn ẹgbẹ́ wa wà. Nínú wọn làwọn ẹgbẹ́ wà. Kò sí èèyàn tó wà ní ayé tí ò ní ẹgbẹ́ tiẹ̀ lọ́tọ̀. Ifá ní ọjọ́ sí ọjọ́ ń relé àgọ́ àlà nítòsù lẹ́yìn agbé bàtàrù gẹ́gẹ́gẹ́ ní síwájú alágbe. Adá fún bọ̀rọ̀kìnní ayé abù fún tọ̀run, ẹbọ rírawó ni ó ṣe bọ̀rọ̀kìnní ọ̀run ní jẹ́ kíta yóò tẹ́ kàkà kẹ́gbẹ́ ayé ó tẹ́ tọ̀run gbé lẹ́yìn ẹ̀yin ẹgbẹ́ ọ̀run mi ẹ gbà mí sílé ayé ń tẹ́ lọ. Kò sí èèyàn tó wà tí ò ní ẹgbẹ́ tiẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n nípa àwọn nǹkan tá a ti fílẹ̀ ní nǹkan orírun wa, ó jẹ́ kọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ tí máa ṣe ẹsẹ̀ gbé tí ò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ rárá. Ẹ já wo ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn nǹkan tá a ti parun. Nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì yẹn ò dáa.
À ń gbọ́ yín o.
Ẹ já wo ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan tá a ti parun nílẹ̀ kóòtù jíire. Tó dẹ̀ yẹ ká mú lókùnkúndùn. Lóòótọ́ àwọn kan ò tí ì parun nílé wọn o. Ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tá a bá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa bóyá 100 ènìyàn, bóyá àwọn tán ń ṣe bóyá wọ́n lè pé 20 nípa nǹkan tá à ń pè ní ancestors, dájútùú ṣe nǹkan tá à ń pè lórí ìran wa. Ẹ já wọnú Ifá òtúrúpọ̀ méjì. Ifá ní erédèrè àánú ìyẹ̀rẹ́dì ìyẹ̀rárò, bójú bá ṣe méjà wòran bèbèdí sí méjà jòkó lérè ẹni ọwọ́ kan ní òró ṣẹ́kẹ́ṣẹkẹ́ láwọ̀ ẹsẹ̀ kan ní òṣègè kó sì máa rìnà. Ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ láṣẹ bí lọ́rọ̀ tá ìṣe jẹ́, wọ́n ní bá a bá jí ká kúnlẹ̀ ká kára wájú, wọ́n ní bá a bá jí ká kúnlẹ̀ ká bèrò ẹ̀yìn. Èmi jí mo bèrè, mo lé mi ìmọ́ra wájú ẹni, wọ́n léegun ilé bàbá ẹni ní. Mo ní mi ìmọ̀ àwọn òòṣà tí ń bẹ lẹ́yìn, wọ́n ló òòṣà lé bàbá ẹni ní. Àwọn pèpè láwo lé, ètìtẹ̀ láwo òde, alápàdé ló kọ́lé ní òfin kanlẹ̀ ní òfin kànkè. Ìwọ Olódùmarè lójúlójú wọn mára yí lẹ́nu àṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gìlìgìlì dáfún yé polú. Ìṣọmọ oṣù rẹ̀ nífẹ̀ẹ́. Ìyá rẹ̀ fi ń lè okú léje, bàbá rẹ̀ fi ń lè okú léje láláì mọ́ dídá ọwọ́ láláì mú tẹ́lẹ̀. Wọ́n kó oòrùn sílẹ̀ yépolú tukú sẹ́kún. Ẹ má jà á gbàgbé pé ọmọ kékeré léje ni yépolú nígbà wáṣẹ̀. Torí pé kò gbàgbé orírun láyé ṣe yẹ ló fi padà dórípò àwọn bàbá rẹ̀ tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé ọmọ obìnrin ni. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti fi àwọn ancestors ẹ̀ kalẹ̀ tó jẹ́ pé ó yẹ kán jọ máa mọ́nítọ̀ ara wọn ni. Torí kó agbára ayé má bàa ka, torí kó má bàa ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ gbé. Ṣùgbọ́n ó ti fi àwọn ancestors ẹ̀ kalẹ̀, ó ti fi ibi tó ti dìde ó ti fi lẹ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn dàbí ẹni bí ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ tó wo kòkó dàgbà. Kòkó wá dàgbà tán, ọ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ wá digi burúkú. Ẹ má jà gbàgbé pé ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn ancestors náà láti wá. Ṣùgbọ́n torí ẹ̀sìn, torí eléyìí ò dáa, eléyìí ló dáa, ọ̀nà yìí ò dáa, ọ̀nà yìí ló dáa. Ó ti jẹ́ kó oníkálukú wa ká máa da gbogbo ẹ̀, ká máa da lúrú, ká máa dà mọ́pọ́ ṣàpà. Tí ò jẹ́ ká mọ ibi tó yẹ ká tọrí bọ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn ló dẹ̀ ti ń ṣe iyèméjì pé èwo gan ló wá dáa jù gan nu méjèèjì. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹja wò dáadáa ká fi bí ìṣáná ká kíyèsí oògùn, èmi ò polówó ẹ̀sìn o. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹja wò dáadáa. Ìwọ táwọn bàbá ẹ bí tán pè ẹ́ ní Ògúnṣeyè. Ìwọ táwọn bàbá ẹ bí tán pè ẹ́ ní Ògúnṣọlá. Ẹ má jà á gbàgbé pé àwọn orúkọ yẹn orúkọ àwọn ancestors wa ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
ìwọ tí bàbá bí tán pè ẹ́ ní èṣù bíi ẹ má jà á gbàgbé pé orúkọ àwọn ancestors wa ní má mú kìnìún yẹn tán ẹ má jà á gbàgbé orúkọ àwọn ancestors wa ní ìwọ tí bàbá bí tán pè ẹ́ ní Ṣàngódínà Ṣàngóṣínà táwọn èèyàn míì tán ti Ṣàngódínà lénìí
Wow.
ẹ má jà á gbàgbé pé orúkọ àwọn ancestors wa ní pé ó níbi táwọn ó ní nǹkan táwọn bàbá wa rí kán tó lè pèèyàn nírú orúkọ bẹ́ẹ̀
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
ó ní nǹkan táwọn bàbá wa rí kán tó lè sọ̀yàn nírú orúkọ bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa kẹ̀dẹ̀rẹ́ ẹni tó gòkè tó gun orí àkàbà tó ga sókè lókè tí ẹni tó bí wá wà lórí ìjókòó nǹkan tẹ́ orí ẹni tó wà lórí ìjókòó orí ẹni tó gun àkàbà ò lè rí láéláé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ti ṣe ẹsẹ̀ gbé torí pé láti ó ti kọsẹ̀ látara àwọn ancestors ẹ̀ látara ibi tó ti dìde orírun ẹ̀ kádà ẹ̀ tó mọ̀ nǹkan tá à ń pè ní ẹ̀sìn láyé orírun wa la kọ́kọ́ mọ̀ ká tó mọ̀ nǹkan tá à ń pè lọ́wọ́ ọ̀tún yàtọ̀ sọ́wọ́ òsì orírun wa la kọ́kọ́ mọ̀ torí ibẹ̀ láti dìde omi ẹ̀ náà fi bọ́ wa omi ẹ̀ náà fi wẹ̀ wá omi ẹ̀ náà ti ṣe gbogbo àwọn nǹkan ṣùgbọ́n torí àwọn baba ńlá baba wa nígbà tán wà nígbà wáṣẹ̀ tán bá bímọ ẹyọ kan gbogbo ọmọ téèyàn kan bí yẹn wọ́n wá máa dárúkọ ẹ̀ lẹ́yọ kọ̀ọ̀kan lọ́dọ̀ àwọn ancestors wa ìyẹn tó jẹ́ Orí Inú wa ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ míì ló jẹ́ pé ẹgbẹ́ ló ń dà láàmú tó bá wa lọ tó wa bọ̀ wọ́n lè sọ fún níta pé Ọ̀ṣun ló ń dà láàmú tọ́ṣun dẹ̀ yàtọ̀ sí ẹgbẹ́ tẹ́gbẹ́ gan tí wọ́n á ní kàtígórì by kàtígórì ọ̀tọ̀ lẹ́gbẹ́ eléri ọ̀tọ̀ lálára agbó ọ̀tọ̀ lẹ́gbẹ́ olékò ọ̀tọ̀ láláṣọ oṣù àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ torí mi ń ṣe olóòṣà babaláwo lèmi ó níbi tí mo lè kádé tó jẹ́ pé ó ní ìpele ìpele ṣùgbọ́n torí pé ó ti forírun ẹ̀ kalẹ̀ ó sì wá wá nǹkan tí ò sọnù kiri ìgboro wọn ẹni tẹ́gbẹ́ ń dà láàmú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló ti ṣe Ọ̀ṣun tí ò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹni tó Ọ̀ṣun ń dà láàmú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló ti dán Ọbàtálá lénìí ẹni tó Ọbàtálá ń dà láàmú ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ló ti wá dán Ọlọ́ya lénìí
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o.
torí pé wọn ò ní sùúrù láti lé wá láti ibi tán ti dìde látòrí ìran wọn wá. àwọn nǹkan tó yẹ ká fojú tó á ti yà kúrò ń bẹ̀. èèyàn kan sọ fún mi pé kò sí nǹkan tán pè ní ẹgbẹ́ pé òun ò lẹ́gbẹ́ òun tọ̀ kò bá lẹ́gbẹ́ ìwọ ló mọ̀. ṣùgbọ́n nǹkan tí fá sọ fún mi náà ni pé kó lọ bọ ẹgbẹ́ ó lóun mọ nǹkan tán pè lẹ́gbẹ́ tọ̀ ó wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. ṣùgbọ́n èmi mọ̀ pé nǹkan tán pè lẹ́gbẹ́ ìgbà tí mo dẹ̀ ní ó wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ tó bá jẹ́ pé ẹgbẹ́ wà lóòótọ́ tí ò bá wà wọ́n fara wọ́n ẹ̀ ìgbà tó sáde ní bí ọjọ́ kẹta àbí fọ́sẹ̀ kan àbí nǹkan tó sáde tó ní alábàá ìlú ńlá alábàá ìlú mo níjẹ̀bú olóò lẹ́gbẹ́ tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pé àwọn nǹkan kan báyìí ló lè gbé wa lékè ló lè tọ́ wa sọ́nà ló lè fi ọ̀nà àti tètè ṣoríire láyé àná àti tètè là eré ajé tí gbogbo wọn á sá kiri àsápojúdé tó jápá àwọn tó lè mú wá nírànlọ́wọ́ láì fi nǹkan kan mọ́kan òun làwa ti filẹ̀ tá a ní kì í ṣọ̀nà tiwa ni pé ibi tá a ti dìde ẹja kọ́ wádìí ẹ̀ dáadáa ẹja mọ̀ nǹkan tá a pè ní ancestors wa dáadáa ká mọ̀ nǹkan tá a ń gbà. ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn bàbá wa pátápátá ibi tó yẹ kán fọmọ wa mọ̀ wọn ò fi mọ̀ wọ́n. bàbá ń ṣe babaláwo ògbólógbò babaláwo ni ayé mọ̀ social media mọ̀ gbogbo ibi náà ti mọ̀ títí dókè òkun ṣùgbọ́n àfàyìnwá àṣẹ̀yìnbọ̀ àwọn ọmọ tó ti ná ara ẹ̀ bí tó bí fúnra lára ẹ̀ wọn mọ̀ bóyá oníṣẹ̀ṣe ni.
àwọn ọmọ ń lọ church
ìgbà tán fà lọ tán fà bọ̀ ó níbi tó rìsọ́ọ̀tì sí mo ṣe làbọrú mo ṣe làbọyè gbogbo ilé ẹ dákun ìfẹ́ níṣẹ́ tá a fẹ́ ṣe lálẹ́ yìí mo ṣe làbọrú ẹ̀ làbọyè àní tẹ àní tí o mo ṣe bá
ògbó
jùlọ mo ṣe bá
àtọ́
gbà.
àsúre ìwòrìwò fún ẹ ṣeun bàbá Olúmídé Ọlátúnjí mo ṣe bá wò mo ṣe bá jú nílọ o. Bàbá ẹlẹ́rìn pé akínyìn o akínyìn ní kíkí tó lọ́lá jùlọ ní ẹ̀làbọ́rú ẹ̀làbọ́yè bọ́ ṣiṣẹ́ o ẹ kú pẹ̀lú wa o. Bí bàbá Ọlátúnjí Olúmídé ṣe ń sọ wọ́n ní pé àwọn ẹlòmíì tó yẹ kí bàbá já awo pọ́nbélé but àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ wọn ò mọ̀ pé babaláwo ni àwọn ọmọ dẹ̀ ń lọ church wọ́n dẹ̀ ń lọ sí mọ́sálásí ẹ rí pé ìyẹn kẹnu so yẹmi pé next generation yẹn wọn ò ní mọ ìtànà Ifá nìyẹn ìyẹn jẹ́ nǹkan tó kẹnu o ìbá yín o bàbá Ọlátúnjí Olúmídé mo ṣe bá jù ní lọ ẹ ṣeun gan ẹ ṣeun a rí ẹ̀kọ́ a dẹ̀ rí ìmọ̀ mo ní inú tẹ fún wa lénìí kò ní tán níbi tẹ́ tí mo Èdùmàrè á bùkún yín ní ire gbogbo ẹ ṣeun gan àmọ́ lóore o. Okay. If anyone else would like to make a contribution, feel free láti unmute o. Ó lákì bàbá ẹlẹ́rìí pé busy ni. Feel free láti unmute at any time. Tẹ́ni kankan bá fẹ́ fọ́ wọn. Feel free láti unmute. If not, then I can just continue reading Kinka chapter yìí. So, what is an ancestor? Ní aṣọ ẹ̀mọ̀kẹ́ bàbá wa. Babaláwo Olúmídé wọ́n ti bá wa yọ̀nà náà ẹ̀ tó ti yé yín. So not all dead become ancestors. An ancestor is not just one who died, it is one who lived honourably. Ẹ mọ̀ kí bàbá wa ti sọ fún wa nípa ìwúlò ìwà pàtàkì ìwà tó ti yé yín. Ìwà jẹ́ nǹkan tó máa ń tún orí ṣe. Ìwà àbàjẹ́ náà dẹ̀ jẹ́ nǹkan tó lè ba orí òde jẹ́ tó lè ba orí jẹ́ orí wa ò ní bàjẹ́ lágbára Èdùmàrè o orí rere ni orí Èdùmàrè á ṣe orí wa o. So ìwà ó wà very important. Ìwé yẹn náà tún sọ an ancestor is not just one who died because ìwà is a fundamental part of it. So ti yé yín it is one who lived honourably, died well and left behind àṣẹ and ìwà pẹ̀lẹ́. Good character ló ń pè ní ìwà o character ni wọ́n ń pè ní ìwà. So true ancestors are remembered in name, in deed, iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n fi sílẹ̀, and in ritual a dẹ̀ máa ń bọ àwọn ancestor wa náà ṣé ti yé yín. Continue to guide and intervene for the lineage. Ṣé ti yé yín àwọn eégún wa máa ń gbè wá ó sì ń ṣe ìtọ̀nà ẹsẹ̀ wa o. Uplift the ori of their descendants and are called upon in ceremony and silence. A máa ń ṣe ìwúre fún wọn, a máa ń bọ wọn, a dẹ̀ máa ń ṣe ìdúpẹ́, a máa ń ṣe oríkì fún àwọn ancestors wa, fún àwọn aráàrún wa o. They stand before Olódùmarè as spiritual advocates. Ẹni tí ó ṣe rere láyé yóò bọ́ sí ipò rere ní ọ̀run. Ẹni tí ó ṣe rere láyé yóò bọ́ sí ipò rere ní ọ̀run. Òsì ẹ̀ náà ẹni tí ò ṣe rere láyé kò ní bọ́ sí ipò rere lọ́run náà lóòótọ́. So ti yé yín kí bá fi lè mọ̀ pé everything about the Yoruba cosmology nǹkan tá a máa ṣe ní orí ilẹ̀ ayé yìí àti ní ọ̀run it is all performance based. So ti yé yín in order to become something that we call ancestors àwọn egungun wa tó ń gbè wá tó ń ṣe gbogbo èèyàn tó ń ṣe gbogbo ìran wa àbọ̀ orísun wa tó wá láyé yìí tó wá yípo padà ni ó ń di egungun irọ́ o. So ti yé yín ẹni tí ó ṣe rere láyé yóò bọ́ sí ipò rere lọ́run. So ti yé yín how to ma ẹ jẹ́ kí n máa kà lọ. So the one who lives righteously on earth will find a seat in heaven or the spiritual realm. So ti yé yín I hope that's clear. Is that the end of that chapter? It might be. Bear with me a second. So that's 213. Don't know why it keeps jumping everywhere. Yeah. Ẹni tí ó ṣe rere láyé yóò bọ́ sí ipò rere ní ọ̀run. So for those who live righteously on earth, they will find good position in heaven, good reward in heaven. They become ancestors because they've made. They will find a seat in the heavens. So that's something to remember. That everything that we are, during this journey, and what we become when we transition, it is all performance based. It is all based on how well we've behaved. It all depends on our conduct. It depends on our conduct on this earth. Okay, so this image as well is depicting something. Living as an ancestor in training. Because every single one of us, we are essentially an ancestor in training. Just hearing? Every single one of us, we are all ancestors in training. To walk with Ori is to walk with those who walked before you. To walk with Orí Inú, kí a fi Orí Inú ṣe, kí a máa ṣe iṣẹ́ orí. So ti yẹ yín kí a máa ṣe ìgbésẹ̀ wa kó align pẹ̀lú Orí Inú wa. To walk with Ori is to walk with those who walk before us. So ìwà pẹ̀lẹ́ wa a kàn ṣe lásán, a tún fi ń honour àwọn baba ńlá wa, àwọn ìyá ńlá wa tó ti wá. Spirit of ancestor said, not so there is heaven, not in the biblical sense. Okay? There is a spiritual realm that we all came from. Ọ̀run la wà kí a tó wá sí ayé. So ti yẹ yín bàbá mi, spirit of ancestor. I am very cautious when I use those words. Torí pé àwọn words yẹn, there are like commands tó ti fi hypnotize mind wa. But kí nǹkan bá lè yé wa, sometimes mo máa ń fẹ́ ní choice. A máa ní láti lo familiar terms lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan, but we have to use them with caution and with clarity. Ṣó ti yé yín? So nǹkan tó ń pè ní ọ̀run is not heaven in the biblical sense. So ọ̀run ní ibi tí a wà pẹ̀lú Olódùmarè kí a tó wá sínú ilé ayé yìí. Don't look at it. Ẹ jẹ́ a try láti decolonize mind wa from the biblical paradigm, from the Arabic construct. Ká yọ kúrò lọ́nà wa, ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí interpret nǹkan wa pẹ̀lú ìṣẹ̀ṣe wa. Ṣó ti yé yín bàbá? Ẹ jẹ́ a bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wo ìgbésẹ̀ ayé wa gbogbo, our cosmology, our knowledge base, everything about who we are. Ẹ jẹ́ a máa assess ẹ̀, ká dẹ̀ máa perceive ẹ̀ based on ìṣẹ̀ṣe wa, káyé fi ojú ìta wo inú ilé. Ṣé yẹn make sense bàbá mi? Torí kí ta bá ń fi ojú ìta wo tinú ilé, ó ṣeé ṣe kí a máa rí, ká má lè access nǹkan tí à ń wò yẹn, ká má lè access ẹ̀ dáadáa. Ẹ jẹ́ a máa lo interpretation tiwa, kí ayé lo interpretation tiwọn. But lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan kí ó ba lè yé wa, a lè borrow àwọn familiar term, torí pé inú àwọn ẹ̀sìn yẹn ni gbogbo wa ti wá. But ó yẹ ká máa ṣe é pẹ̀lú caution, kí a ṣe máa lo Yorùbá, ìṣẹ̀ṣe, Ifá paradigm ní ká máa fi perceive reality wa, kí a máa fi perceive cosmology wa, kí a máa fi perceive nǹkan tó ń pè ní spirituality. Though ìṣẹ̀ṣe and Ifá is more than spirituality. I hope I've provided some clarity there. Ṣó ti yé yín? Ọ̀run ni àwa ká tó wà ní ayé, Ifá ti fìdí ẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀. Ṣó ti yé yín? So nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ ọ̀run wà, but not in the biblical or Arabic sense. Ṣó ti yé yín? Spirit realm wà. So living as an ancestor. So to walk with Ori is to walk with those who walked before you. Ṣó ti yé yín? Is to honor those who walked before you. Is to honor our ancestors. Ìwà wa a máa fi honor our ancestors ni. A fẹ́ bà wọ́n lórúkọ jẹ́, a fẹ́ bà wọ́n lójú jẹ́. Ṣó ti yé yín? Ẹni tó bá ń fi Orí Inú ṣe kò ní bà àwọn ancestors ẹ̀ ní orúkọ jẹ́. Ṣó ti yé yín? Because our ancestor, ìṣẹ̀dá wa náà ni, is part of our lineage. Ṣó ti yé yín? So you become an ancestor through spiritual alignment, living your Ori truth. Cultural devotion, preserving and practicing sacred cultural traditions. So ti yé yín kí a máa ṣe ìṣẹ̀ṣe, bàbá ẹni ìṣẹ̀ṣe ẹni ní, ìyá ẹni ìṣẹ̀ṣe ẹni ní. So ti yé yín. Community contribution, serving and uplifting others. Kí a máa fi ìṣọ̀kan ṣe. So ti yé yín, because we are not meant to be existing in isolation. Ẹ̀mọ̀ké chapter kan ta kà lẹ́ẹ̀kan àti rí pé isolation is a spiritual attack. Anything tó bá fẹ́ isolate wa, àwọn olórí burúkú tó wà lórí TikTok tó máa ní pé kí ẹ kọ ọkọ yín sílẹ̀ yín ìyá wa, àwọn wèrè tó máa ní pé kí ẹ kọ ìyàwó yín sílẹ̀, kí ẹ kọ ọmọ yín sílẹ̀, kíníkan, anything that kí ẹ kọ ìṣẹ̀ṣe yín sílẹ̀, kí ẹ yé sọ Yorùbá, vernacular ni yẹn ni èdè àwọn baba ńlá wa, gbogbo àwọn kíní yẹn they are spiritual attacks. All those things are spiritual attacks. Anything that tries to separate you from your lineage. So ti yé yín, ẹ̀dẹ̀gbọ́n bí baba ṣe sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan, ipe bó tó jọ bí òwe o, ipe odò tó bá gbàgbé orísun rẹ̀ yóò gbẹ ni. So anything that tries to make you forget about your orísun, that tries to make you forget about your ancestors, that tries to make you forget about your lineage, that tries to make you forget about your culture, that tries to make you forget about your community, that tries to make you forget about your family, that tries to make you forget about your husbands, that tries to make you forget about your wives, that tries to make you forget about your children, or that tries to con you and deceive you into not having children. Those are all forms of spiritual attacks. So it's time we will start recognizing them for what they are. Ajogun ni àwọn kìnìyàn o. Téèyàn kan bá ti bọ́ sórí TikTok tó bá ti ń spill àwọn virus yẹn, ká ti tètè mọ̀ pé ajogun ni wọ́n o. Ṣó ti yé yín? Ká bá sọ̀rọ̀ ká tẹ̀síwájú. So community contribution kan tá à ń ṣe nínú agbègbè wa. Ṣó ti yé yín? And serving, uplifting others. Kí a máa rànra wa lọ́wọ́. Kí a máa ká máa gbéra wa, ká máa fi ọkàn kan ṣe, ká máa fi inú kan ṣe. Ṣó ti yé yín? Relational integrity. How you treat your family, your lovers, and your friends. Ṣó ti yé yín? Is all part of how we honor our ancestors. So it's all part of how we preserve our ancestral customs, the do's and the don'ts, the way that we are, our culture, that the culture that they left behind, the blueprint that they left behind. So self-responsibility also, healing your own trauma. Don't be a nuisance on TikTok spreading the seeds of division because your boyfriend broke your heart when you were 15. You have not moved on from it. You're still going everywhere and spreading your virus and spreading your wound. You're still bleeding everywhere. Everywhere you go, you don't bring the message of love. You bring in division. You bring in poison. You understand? Self-responsibility, healing your own trauma so that it's not passed on, so that you're not bleeding on everywhere you step. We're supposed to be blessing the ground that we walk on, not bleeding on them. And that's very common, especially on TikTok. Okay? So heal your own wounds. Have some personal responsibility. Heal your trauma so that it's not passed on, so that you're not spreading that infection everywhere, that virus, that spiritual infection, that spiritually transmitted diseases. STD is not only sexually transmitted. Sometimes there are some spiritual, spreading spiritually transmitted diseases everywhere you go. And they can't even help themselves. Everywhere you see them, they're spreading their trauma everywhere. That's not practicing self-responsibility. Just hearing. Gbogbo nǹkan tó ń dùn wá nínú, gbogbo nǹkan tó bà wá nú jẹ́, Èdùmàrè á bá wa fi ìrọ̀rùn sí, Èdùmàrè á yọ wá nínú ẹ̀, Èdùmàrè á dùn wá nínú, inú wa ó dùn, ọkàn wa á balẹ̀ lágbára Èdùmàrè o. àwa ní ìtẹ̀síwájú ká kúrò nínú ìbànújẹ́ kí ìbànújẹ́ kí ó wá di ayọ̀ fún wa lágbára Èdùmàrè kí Èdùmàrè wá sọ ibi di ire fún gbogbo àwọn bàbá wa àwọn ìyá wa gbogbo àwa èèyàn lè rìnrìn ilé ayé yìí kí ó má ní àdánwò so ti yé yín. Life, as they say, is not a spectator sport. It's a participant activity. Gbogbo wa la máa ní láti participate nínú ẹ̀. Tá bá dẹ̀ participate nínú ẹ̀, ó ṣeé ṣe kí a fẹsẹ̀ kọ́, ó ṣeé ṣe kí a fi orí gbá, ṣó ti yé yín. But tá bá wá ti ní injury, we have to go and fix ourselves so that we don't then spread the infection or spread the injury everywhere that we go, so that we don't become nuisance into our community. We don't become viruses to our community and spreading that seeds of division. That hurt. Somebody broke your heart 50 years ago. You're still hurting today and hating all men. Just hearing that's pathetic. So hopefully gbogbo wa ní nǹkan tó bá ń dùn wá ní ọkàn kí Èdùmàrè wá fún wa ní ìwòsàn níbẹ̀. Just hearing wọ́n ní pé egbò ọkàn lójú. So kí Èdùmàrè wá fún wa ní ìwòsàn bẹ́ẹ̀ kí Èdùmàrè wá fún wa ní kó wá dùn wá nínú inú wa ó dùn ọkàn wa ó balẹ̀ lágbára Èdùmàrè, so that àwa náà we become a positive influence to our community and not bleeding everywhere and becoming a virus. So you are writing your ancestral script every single day, even in silence. The ancestors walk with those becoming worthy of remembrance. Every choice, every act of service echoes in realms beyond the visible. Ó ní òwe kan tó jọ bí òwe, ó ní pé tí àwọn bá sọ̀rọ̀ ilẹ̀ ń gbọ́. So like I said, however you look at it, we've always been part of a system. None of us is operating in isolation. But àwọn àjòjì yẹn ló máa ń fẹ́ ká rò bóyá àwa isolated, like there's something we can do in silence, in secrecy. Àwọn ló máa ń preach selfishness. Tó máa ń sọ pé be selfish, only look after yourself. How can you be selfish when everything that you do has, resonates beyond yourself? It resonates. Ilẹ̀ ń gbọ́, àwọn alálẹ̀ ń gbọ́, àwọn rúmọlẹ̀ ń gbọ́, àwọn òòṣà ń gbọ́, àwọn egungun wa ń gbọ́, àwọn ancestors wa ń gbọ́. We have a whole community. Àwọn òrìṣà ń gbọ́, àwọn rúmọlẹ̀ ń gbọ́, àwọn lineage tó ń bọ̀ lẹ́yìn tiwa. So ti yé yín? Even our, the people that are going to succeed us, they feel the resonance as well. So we are not, everything that we do has an impact. Okay, because we are never alone. That perception of individualism is part of the deceit. It's part of the spiritual attacks that we've been subjected to. So we are never alone. Everything that we do has an impact, and it goes beyond the physical 3-dimensional world. So every choice, every act of service echoes in realms beyond the visible. When you honor your path with truth and discipline, you stir the memories of those who once carried similar burdens. In becoming who you are meant to be, you become part of the eternal chain, because there is a chain. I called it the Olodumare Universal Network. I believe that. I don't even know how I came up with that. I was just trying to explain a concept that we are part of a system. We are not isolated. The enemy tries to isolate us, and the enemy tries to brainwash us to condition our minds with preachings and agenda of individualism. Look out for yourself. Do what's best for yourself. What do you mean do what's best for yourself? That's not the way we grew up, but that's what they're preaching nowadays. As long as you are happy. What do you mean as long as you're happy? You don't exist in isolation. You're part of a system. We are all part of a community. Both physically, that we can see with our physical eyes, with our naked eyes, and metaphysically as well. Because we didn't just, fall from the sky. We come from a lineage. Okay? We come from a lineage. We come from a clan. We come from a community. Okay? That resonates across, beyond this physical world. tó ti yé yín láti ayé àti ọ̀run la ní ẹgbẹ́ la ní àwọn ancestors la ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ tó ti yé yín we are not just isolated here. But when they preach, when they try to brainwash you with isolating ideologies, that's a form of spiritual attacks. Okay? So that's very, very important. So in becoming who you are meant to be, you become part of the eternal chain, that part of the divine network, part of the system, part of the Olodumare universal network, not just living, but living as an ancestor in training. Gbogbo wa, we are ancestors in training, but it's performance based. Not everybody becomes an ancestor in the sense of everybody can become part of the lineage because of out of the luxury of being born into the world. We were all born into a family. So ti yé yín, but kò ń ṣe gbogbo àwọn ẹni tó bá kú tó bá wálé ayé yìí ló máa ń di ancestors. I think pé more from a positional perspective. So ti yé yín, ipò ní ipò ancestor tá à ń pè ní àwọn baba ńlá wa àwọn ìyá ńlá wa tí à ń ránṣẹ́ tí à ń ṣe ìrántí torí ipa tí wọ́n fi lẹ̀ lórí ilẹ̀ ayé yìí. So ti yé yín, wọ́n fi ipa rere lẹ̀ lórí ilẹ̀ ayé yìí ni àwọn ancestors wa àwọn rúmọlẹ̀ wa àwọn òòṣà wa nǹkan tá a fi ń rọ́ wọn rántí wọn lénìí nígbà torí ipa tí wọ́n filẹ̀ ni àwọn baba ńlá wa kan bí Awólọ́wọ̀ ń sìn torí ipa tí baba filẹ̀ lórí ilẹ̀ ayé yìí ni. So ti yé yín, Olúfúnmiláyọ̀ Ransom Kuti ìyá ńlá wa Olúfúnmiláyọ̀ Ransom Kuti nǹkan tá a ṣe rántí ìyá bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn torí ipa tí wọ́n filẹ̀ lórí ilẹ̀ ayé yìí ni. So ti yé yín, and so on and bẹ́ẹ̀ and bẹ́ẹ̀ and so on and so forth. You know, all our great ancestors. Okay? So, and this chapter goes into when the dead do not become ancestors. Some spirits transition in confusion. Where is it gone? I don't like when it does that. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me, darling. Okay, here we go. So, some spirits transition in confusion, shame, or violence without legacy or ritual. This is why ancestral veneration, kama bo fáwọn àwọn ará ọ̀run wa, kí a máa kí wọn, kí a máa yìn wọn, kí a máa bọ̀ wọ́n, it's not just about honor. It is about repair. Okay? It's about repair. Some people call it's about breaking generational curses as well. Yeah, some of us, that's why we're here. We're here to make correction. Toto Jabi Olu orúkọ bàbá mi mo ṣe bájú ní lọ. Àwa kan àwa ṣe àtúnṣe ni. Tó ti yé yín, àwa ṣe àtúnṣe ni. So some of us, we were reincarnated to come and fix some family pain, to come and resolve some family issues, to come and resolve some communal issues, to come and resolve some national issues, to come and resolve some international, some universal issues. Okay? Some of us, we came here to make a correction, ultimately. So cleanse family lineage. We must cleanse family lineages through ritual and restitution. Speak the names of forgotten or dishonored relatives. Transform pain into guidance, not inheritance. So let's not pass on the generational curse. Okay? Let's not pass on the generational curse. Whatever we've been through in this world, we have to know that we've got a responsibility to heal from them. And in addition to that, we've also got a responsibility, to those that are coming behind us, to our children, to ensure that we don't transfer that virus, that generational curse. We don't transfer it onto the next generation. It has to end with us. That's the message, basically. It has to end with us. That's what we're here for, is to make correction. Ẹṣin àtàwọn ọmọ rẹ̀ gbogbo wọn ló ń tọ̀nà fúnra wọn. Ṣe rí kóòtù yẹn? Ẹṣin àtàwọn ọmọ rẹ̀ gbogbo wọn ló ń tọ̀nà fúnra wọn. The horse, i.e., the ancestor, and his children all carve the road for each other. or forge a path for each other. Okay, may we be ancestors who actually open doors and and forge path for for our descendants. Okay, for our descendants, for our successors, and those are the kind of ancestors we want to be. Those are the kind of ancestors that we want to become. We want to become ancestors who are able to heal generational wounds, who are able to then carve new pathways, open new doors for those coming behind us. We don't want to be the kind of ancestors that are going to use our own trauma to then inflict upon the next generation behind us. We don't want to do that. Okay? Even though that's the preachings that you hear a lot, especially on this TikTok. Ogbo ato baba mi ọ̀rọ̀ Yoruba TV, ogbo ato baba, ogbo ato asure ìwòrìwò fún, ogbo ato baba ẹ ṣeun. So yeah, you are the future ancestor of your line. Gbogbo wa là ń láti rántí ìyẹn o. You are the future ancestor of your lineage. This life you live, your voice recordings, your journal entries, your altar routines, the wisdom you share, the children you raise or mentor, the forgiveness you choose, okay, or play a role in your in what you leave behind. So nǹkan tá máa fílẹ̀. So in what we all leave behind, your contribution are going to be determined by the life that you live, your voice recordings, your journal entries, the knowledge and the wisdom that you share, your altar routines that you pass on to your children and your grandchildren, the wisdom that you share, the knowledge and the wisdom that you impart onto the world, the children you raise or mentor. So don't get deceived out of not having children. Oh, these women these days are too difficult. There's no good women here, this and that. You are being conned into not having children, brother. Okay, you have to find a good woman. Even if you have to travel somewhere to find it, if it's not available in your area, why don't you move to a different area? If there are no good women where you live, why don't you try other places? But nothing should be able to con you out of not leaving any successors behind, not leaving any children behind. In our cosmology, that's one of the biggest curse. Okay, not being able to leave any impact onto the world. In our Yoruba cosmology, we are being told that ipa èèyàn ni ọmọ tí a bá filẹ̀ ní ipa wa. That means your impact on the world starts with your children. You can build a house, you can do this, you can do that, but your children are your real legacy. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Orí Inú mi ò ṣe o. I was looking for that word, it was escaping me, but my Ori Inú said, here you go, sir. Yeah. Your legacy are your children. You can have millions and billions and all those things, but if you don't have children, you're not going to have any remembrance. You're going to have any legacy. So let's not get conned into not having children. I hope I don't get into trouble by saying this, because this is one of the biggest agenda going on in the world today. In case you haven't noticed, torí ara ó láwọn nǹkan kan tá a máa ń sọ lórí ayélujára, àwa tí à ń sọ, we are taking risks by saying them. Ẹ̀yin tí ẹ bá mọ̀, ẹ ṣàkíyèsí kìíní yẹn o. Ó láwọn nǹkan kan, àwọn agenda kan tí wọ́n ń gbìyànjú sí. Ṣó ti yé yín? Tí àwa kan bá wá ń take risk, àwa ń mú ẹnu bà, risk là ń take o. We're taking very, very serious risk, but we have to speak the truth. We have to try and draw people's attention to certain things that's going on around us. Àwọn ajogun kan ti wà ní wa tí wọ́n try láti convince àwọn ìyá wa àti àwọn bàbá wa pé kí a má bímọ. Ṣó ti yé yín? Àwọn agenda yẹn dẹ̀ serious gan, wọn ò fi ṣeré àtọ́lò. wọn ò fi ṣeré so táwa kan bá wá ń take risk pa máa wá ń sọ àwọn nǹkan kan tó ń go against the agenda ká bá fi lè lára wa lójú ká lára wa lóye àbí kí ká draw attention níra wa sí nǹkan kan don't shoot the messenger o ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá fi pẹ̀lẹ́ shoot messenger ó máa padà sórí yín lágbára Èdùmàrè ni o please don't shoot the messenger o I get passionate about certain things torí kí mo máa ń wo bó ṣe ń lọ ó dẹ̀ máa ẹni tó bá rí bó ṣe ń lọ ó máa ká yín lára o ó máa ń kó àwọn kankan máa ń ká èmi lára ṣó ti yé yín ẹ ní bínú ni o ọmọdé ò lè jẹ́ kó má yí lọ́wọ́ o ẹ̀yin àgbà wa ẹ má bínú tó bá dà pé ohun bá ń le lẹ́ẹ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan certain things I'm passionate about when it comes to our continuation our survival our sovereignty, those kind of topics draw passion out of me. And then it's about there draw passion out. If it doesn't make you passionate, maybe you should go find out what's wrong with you. If we're talking about our survival as a race, and you don't feel passionate about it, maybe there's something wrong with you. Maybe you need to go and check yourself. So please don't get upset when I get passionate about certain things, about our survival, about our sovereignty, and you feel like my voice is getting kind of harsh, and you're feeling upset, you're feeling emotional about that. Maybe you need to check yourself, because nothing should be more important than our survival on this planet. Nothing should be more important than our sovereignty on this planet. So sometimes from time to time, my voice will get a bit harsh, it will get passionate, but it's out of the love for my people. So if you've been softened by Western indoctrination, and they've told you that when a man gets passionate, you've been conditioned to look at that as something toxic, maybe you need to check yourself. Okay, if you're not passionate about your survival as a human race, then I don't even know what you're doing here, to be honest with you. Anyway, let me not talk too much. But trust me, some of us, we're taking certain risks by talking about certain subjects because we know about the agenda that's being pushed. And we know the kind of danger that comes with it for people that tries to go across the face of those agendas because we see the harm that it's doing to our people. So táwa kan bá ń sọ àwọn kìnìyàn and take risks ni. So ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ bá wa fi etí àgbà gbọ́, ẹ bá wa fi etí ìfẹ́ gbọ́. Please listen to it with love as well. And understand that you're not the target. We're not, when we get passionate about certain topics, it's not because we're trying to be disrespectful. No, it's not that. But if you know what's going on, if you know of the agenda, it's enough to get passionate about. If you don't, then please just trust the rest of us, or maybe you should embark on some research as well. But ẹ̀rù àbá. Anyway, so basically there are some daily practice here that can help us to retrace our steps, to recalibrate us, to help us to be able to function as ancestors, as an ancestor in training, basically. So speak like an ancestor. Each morning, ask yourself, if I expired today and I go in a transition, what am I leaving behind? Is my name a name of fear or a name of honor? Is my name a name of unity or a name of division? Is what I preach, the kind of tone, the kind of conversation, my kind of opinion, are they divisive or are they bringing unity? Am I a hateful person or am I a loving person? We have to be asking ourselves those questions. Is my name a name of fear or name of honor? I could go on. What can I heal today that my ancestors could not? What can I share today that my ancestors once did, or maybe some ancestors couldn't do that? You understand? Then say, Kí orí mi jẹ́ àtẹ́lẹwọ́ rere fún ìran tó ń bọ̀. I think maybe ṣé mo fi àtẹ́lẹwọ́, okay, yẹn náà lè lọ. Mo kí àtẹ́lẹwọ́ lè kó jẹ́ àtẹ́lẹwọ́. Ẹ mọ̀ kí Yorùbá tèmi gan, mo ṣì ń gbìyànjú sí ni, ẹ má bínú. Tó bá jẹ́ kí mo fi àmì sí tí níbi tí kò yẹ kí n fi àmì sí, ẹ má bínú. But kí orí mi jẹ́ àtẹ́lẹwọ́ rere fún ìran tó ń bọ̀. Bàbá mi fi ṣe bàbá mi rí bí mo ṣe ń struggle tí mo ṣe ń jẹ agídígbò pẹ̀lú àmì èdè Yorùbá. Ẹ ṣeun ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀gbà mílẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn bàbá ẹ̀kan fi mí rẹ́rìn ni o. ẹ wà lórí òkè ẹgbà mílẹ̀ mẹ́yẹn o. ẹ̀rín tí mo ṣe ń jà kan fún pẹ̀lú èdè Yorùbá ìgbò ń gbìyànjú ni ẹ má bínú o mo ń gbìyànjú ni mo ṣe ń work nínú Yorùbá mi and it's still a work in progress, I promise you. ẹ ṣeun bàbá ẹ ṣeun. So kí orí mi jẹ́ àtẹ́lẹwọ́ rere fún àtẹ́lẹwọ́ rere fún ìran tó ń bọ̀. So may my Ori be a blessing for the generations to come. May my Ori forge a path, open doors, not closing the doors. Open, forge a path for the generations coming after me, for generations to come. So that should be our guiding principle in terms of what we're doing now. Are we opening doors for those coming behind us? Are we making life? Are we making life easier for the generation are coming after us? Huh? Are we making it easier? Èdùmàrè will help you. Èdùmàrè á gbé gbogbo alágbára Èdùmàrè. Àtúbọ̀ máa gbìyànjú sí ni o. A máa dánmọ́rán sí i lẹ́nu lágbára Èdùmàrè. Mo ń improve díẹ̀ náà ni o. Tẹ́ bá mọ̀ gbà tí mo ti kúrò ní Nàìjíríà. Mo ń improve ni o. Ní àwọn agbègbè kan èmi gan àwọn tí wọn ò mọ Yorùbá sọ tèmi lọ wọ́n ti wá pọ̀ gan o. Ẹ ṣeun bá mi ẹ ṣeun ìgbìyànjú.
àìrèjìnà láàárá bukẹ́ ọ̀kẹ́rẹ́.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o. Ẹ ṣeun
bàbá
bàbá.
ṣe ń lọ sí la màmá lóríṣiríṣi bàbá you are trying like seriously.
Ẹ ṣeun.
In short, yeah, you are making points, you are making sense.
Ogun àtọ́ bàbá.
Elédùmarè will continue guiding us.
Àṣẹ o.
Àní ṣe lásán.
Àṣẹ.
Ẹ wá máa dúró, a máa gba òmìnira, a máa gba ìtúsílẹ̀.
Àṣẹ.
You are trying o, Ifá ò gbọ́. In short,
Àṣẹ Ifá o.
your own kan go far pass our own gan.
Ẹ̀yin níwájú táwa ń wò àwọn bọ̀ lẹ́yìn yín ni o.
Ẹlẹ́rìí ìpín wẹ́rì dé bàbá. In short, you are trying bro. Alátúnṣe bàbá mi bọ́rúbọ̀ ìsà Yorùbá bọ́rúbọ̀ yìí o. Akínyàn akẹ́yìn àgbàlagbà ẹlẹ́rìí ìpín. Orí, you are trying boss.
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá mi.
You are trying. Ọjọ́ ní tiwa.
Àṣẹ o.
We are heading somewhere. A máa débẹ̀ láìpẹ́.
Alágbára Èdùmàrè.
Bàbá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ Báìbù dáadáa, ẹ mọ̀ ń pa Báìbù dáadáa.
Díẹ̀ ni bàbá díẹ̀.
Ẹ join wa lọ́la.
Bàbá mi alátúnṣe gangan if you want to know about the Bible ìmọ̀ pọ̀ lọ́wọ́ bàbá wa gan, ó wà pẹ̀lú wa náà.
A ní kíní lọ́la òrìṣà ọba àti apology Christian yẹn. So wọ́n jọ fẹ́ fi Bible hàn ra wọn lọ́la.
Okay. Ní time wo nìyẹn? 10. Okay, lágbára Èdùmàrè máa ṣọ́ láti yọjú síbẹ̀.
So Sunday a fẹ́ ṣe movement ìta gbangba wa yẹn náà ẹ má miss ẹ o.
Okay bàbá. Okay bàbá àjíǹde ara àjọ.
Àṣẹ o.
Okay, ẹ ṣeun bàbá ẹ ṣeun kábíyèsí bàbá ẹ ṣeun mo ṣe bá jù ní lọ. So thank you so much. Yeah, so the reflective journal is very good to have that self-reflection. So what do I want to be remembered for? What unfinished business in my lineage is calling me? What gifts must I document and pass on before I return to the to the spiritual realm, to the ancestral realm, for the lack of a better term. So what gifts, what are the knowledge, what are the gifts, what are the favors, what are the information, what are the guidelines, what are the blueprints that I want to leave behind to help the generation behind me? You see, when we practice that self journal, when we look at our world in that fashion, it puts us in the realization that there is always a greater calling. You understand? We may be going through individual challenges, but it put things into perspective. Because if we realize that we are part of a community, we are part of a chain, then our little our problems gets put into perspective. Because it's something bigger than yourself. As an individual, you may want to make some disruptive decisions based on your individual perception. But if you realize that you are part of a network, you are part of a chain, and you are an integral and important part of the chain, you may not do those things if you realize that. That's why individualism, we have to recognize, is always a spiritual attack. All the preachings today, all the indoctrination, all the movement today that are forcing us to operate in isolation, those are all spiritual attacks. I don't care how it's packaged. It may be packaged as something rewarding from a career perspective. You understand? It may be packaged as something progressive, something modern, but trust me, those are all forms of spiritual attacks. Anything which aims to separate you and isolate you and make you think as an individual, it's always a spiritual attack. So no, we are part of a chain. You are a link in the ancestral chain. You are not alone. So conning us and conditioning our minds into thinking we're alone is a form of spiritual attack, because when you're alone and you're isolated, when you think your decision don't have any don't have any consequences to the overall, to the community, to the don't have any impact on the chain, doesn't cause any ripple in the divine network, then obviously you're just going to be acting in out of selfishness. You understand? So the preachings of selfishness, like go for self as long as it makes you happy, those kind of preachings, those kind of ideologies, they are all forms of spiritual attack. We have to recognize that, okay? Because that's not the way the Creator designed our system. Our ecosystem is not designed with isolation, because we don't benefit from isolation. I made some examples earlier about what I showed from this book, Drone, and I basically showed there were two different families which were displayed. Okay, look at this. Have a look at this. This example. The cost of the drone mentality. The book is titled Drones. Okay, so have a look at this. Am I too zoomed in? Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so look at the contrasting pictures here. Someone is enjoying a nice meal with a family, husband and children. Okay, looks like there's love and harmony in this room. Compare that to this person living in isolation, because she's been conned, she's been conditioned, she's been deceived. She's been misinformed into thinking she doesn't need anyone. Just chase your career, just do for yourself, as long as just do what makes you happy. You understand? You don't need a man, you don't need children. You've been deceived into that isolation. Okay? So now looking at it from a burglar's perspective, if somebody wanted to burgle the house, which one would you pick? Which one would you pick? If somebody was a serial killer and they were looking for a victim or somebody to prey on, so which house would you pick? Which woman? Which of these people would you pick? If your target is to harm a woman, which one would you pick? Clearly, you're not going to pick this woman on the left with the support system, because she has a husband in the house and she has children. She's less vulnerable. This one living in isolation is very vulnerable. So when we hear preachings and ideologies of isolation, we have to recognize that they are spiritual attacks. It doesn't benefit us, no, regardless of how it's packaged, regardless of how it's presented. Isolation is always a form of spiritual attack, because we are vulnerable. There's always power in numbers. There's always healing in numbers. But when you're isolated, if you can be convinced and manipulated, if people weaponize your ego and your selfishness to isolate you, just know that they're trying to attack you. There's something else that they're planning. They're making you vulnerable. Okay? That's the point. We must realize that we're not in isolation. Even metaphysically, we have our ancestors guiding us. We have our Egbe guiding us. We have our Orishas guiding us. We have our Irumoles guiding us. You understand? We are part of a network. So don't fall for the isolation manipulations. Please don't fall for it. Okay? And the same thing applies to both men and women. Don't allow yourself to be isolated. That makes you easy picking. Okay? Both physically and spiritually. Okay, so final insight for this chapter, and then we'll probably start winding down a bit. So you are not just your parents' child. You are your grandchildren's ancestor. Look at it, can you see that framing? So you are not only your parents' child, you are also your grandchildren's ancestor. You are very, very important. Okay? You are very, very, very important, every single one of us. If we live our life from that point of view, don't you think we would do a lot better? Don't you think we would behave a lot better? Wouldn't our conduct be much more loving and be much more, communal, be much more, beneficial to not only ourselves, but to others? So you are not just your parents' child. You are also your grandchildren's ancestor. So walk in a way that your name becomes a song, not a warning. Okay? Walk in a way that your name becomes loving, not cursing. Okay? Walk in a way that your name and your deeds becomes beneficial, not only yourself, but to the wider community, to the wider ecosystem, not detrimental. And this speaks to all of us. I don't want to make it sound like I'm separated from this. This is about every single one of us. So let your Ori be known in this world so that it may speak with power in the next. Okay? Let your Ori be known in this world. Okay? So that it may speak with power in the next. Remember what I read earlier, that every single one of us, we are ancestor in training. What we become after we transition is performance based. It's based on what we do and the impact that we leave behind in this current incarnation. Okay? So it's very, very important that we remember that. Okay? There was another quote I placed, I think it was in the beginning somewhere. Ẹni tí ó ṣe rere láyé yóò bọ́ sí ipò rere ní ọ̀run. That's what, in summary, ẹni tí ó ṣe rere láyé yóò bọ́ sí ipò rere ní ọ̀run. Those, or the one who lives righteously on earth, will find a seat in I don't want to this caused a bit of a problem earlier. Maybe I should change it. Obviously I cannot change it in the printed book. But in the manuscript, maybe I should change it. I should find a better term. Somebody help me out. So sit in Orun, I don't want to call it heavens anymore, because somebody was looking. It can trick people into looking at, from a biblical perspective. You know what I'm saying? Those are words. Words have meanings and they have commands. Unfortunately, when we hear the word heaven, it puts us back into the religious paradigm of Christianity, and we don't want to be thinking like that. We want to think as Africans. We want to think as Yoruba in the spiritual realm. Thank you, realm. That's much better, isn't it? That's much better. Actually, I think I might be able to polish that a little bit. Even spiritual, sometimes, that word can be problematic. Let me call it ancestral. Okay? Let me call it ancestral. Thank you very much, Sister She Matters. Thank you very much, Kiram Giel. My apologies if I'm butchering that. Can I call you Kiram? Yeah, thank you very much for those contributions. Because that heaven's problematic. Unfortunately, I've printed the book, so but at least let me update the manuscript. There's always a room for improvement. So yeah. So the one who lives righteously on earth will find a seat in the ancestral realm. I think that has a much better ring to it. And whilst in the process of trying to decolonize our minds from man-made religion, from foreign doctrines and ideologies, we have to be careful about the words. We have to do away with the words as well, because those words, they push us back into it, unfortunately. Okay? So anchored in Oduifa in this chapter, or Oyakumeji, the righteous find their seat in heaven. The teachings of Oyakumeji, Ojeke Amokpe, Bobowa, concept of Atunwa. You understand? So, Irosu Igbori náà sọ fún wa pé ancestors and children carved the road together. Ìrẹtẹ̀ méjì náà sọ fún wa pé legacy is built daily, not just posthumously. Not just after we transition, then we want to build our legacy. No, we do it whilst we're here, while we still have an opportunity to do so. So yeah, I hope that made sense. Apologies if it got a little bit if it got a little bit spicy in some parts, because I'm passionate about certain subject. I'm passionate about certain subject. So when certain topics are presented, I get passionate about it. Look at this beautiful sister here. Look at that. Okay, maybe next time we'll touch on this. As you can see, this lady, as she's in the field flourishing, the illuminated crown basically is depicting that she's in alignment with her Ori Inú. As you can see, she's smiling from ear to ear. The beautiful little sister, she's wearing Odeifa, the Ifa necklace. I'm not sure if is it showing properly. Because of the lighting in this room, you may not see it properly. I don't think the lighting is doing it enough justice. Let me try this. No, I don't think the lighting is doing enough justice. For those who have the book, you'll be able to see that and you can see under the watchful eyes and guardian of the ancestors. They are always watching. They are always guiding us. That's a key message to take from this chapter. Okay, I think maybe we should probably stop it there. So again, the inspiration behind today's topic is basically the video that I presented at the beginning. I was feeling a little bit tired earlier, but Bimashwari video, I was thinking about, okay, so what chapter should we talk about today? I was feeling a little bit lethargic, but as soon as I saw that video, I just knew it. I knew, okay, there goes my inspiration. Bear with me just a second. I just want to put it back up on the screen. Okay, so this is where we started from. Okay, everything is a little bit slow right now. Come on, internet. Anytime today, please. As you can see, I think.
And they're tickling her. Stop. And I pray so much, it can't be no bad spirit in her. I pray so much over this house. Wow. She is really interacting. Oh my goodness. Y'all, I don't know.
Yeah, so that was my inspiration right there for today's topic. You know, when I was feeling a little bit lazy, a little bit lethargic, and I was mo trying to say pé kí ni topic tá máa wá sọ lẹ́nìí. Bí mo ṣe wá ń wo ní TikTok lọ, mo kàn rí fídíò yẹn, mo ní yes. As you can see, that children is clearly in touch with her ancestors. She's in touch with the unseen. You understand? She's in touch with bọ́jà àwọn ancestors ẹ̀ ló ń bá ṣeré ni o, bọ́jà àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ẹ̀ ló ń bá ṣeré. But that baby girl right there, she's in touch with her ancestral connections. You know, so they are amusing her. They were playing with her. She was definitely not under any spiritual attacks, because that was a loving exchange. From what we were able to see, that looked like a loving interaction. So we have a whole network of ancestors around us all the time. They are around us, but unfortunately some of us, we've been tuned out of it, and that's the whole point of this book. You know, torí pé Orí Inú ni ló máa ń ṣí ọ̀nà fún wa fún gbogbo àwọn other elements tó wà nínú network yẹn. Orí Inú is our intermediary between us and all the and the network of the ancestors, the Orishas, the Irumoles, the Egbe, the Egungun. Our Orí Inú is basically our medium, the intermediary, the middle point between us and the rest and the wider network. So we have to refamiliarize with our Orí Inú. We have to honor our Orí Inú. We have to realign, reconnect with our Orí Inú, so that Orí Inú can then introduce us, align us with the wider network, so that we can function to our optimal best. Moshe laboru, Moshe laboye, boshishe. So Orí Inú á gbè wá o, lágbára Èdùmàrè. Orí Inú ààbò fún tòde á gbè wá, orí àlànà wá sí rere o. Gbogbo ìgbìyànjú wa, orí á máa ṣe ìtọ́nà ẹ̀, orí á dẹ̀ máa gbé wá sí ibi ipò rere o. Lágbára Èdùmàrè, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kó jẹ́, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kó rí, bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kó ṣe o. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá ọmọ Olódùmarè. Thanks for your contribution as well. Tẹ́yìn náà bá fẹ́ wá dá sétò, tẹ́ bá ní nǹkan tẹ́ bá fẹ́ bá a sọ, ẹ feel free láti wọ ilé o. Bàbá mi alátúnṣe, ogbó àtọ́ bàbá o, kábíyèsí bàbá, ẹ ṣeun o. Bàbá ẹlẹ́rìí pé a mọ̀ pé wà létí ìgbọ́. Wọ́n dà kí bàbá busy lọ́wọ́ ni. And just me being awesome. Ìyá mi, thanks for your wonderful contributions as well. I know that some of it would have been difficult for you to follow. Some of it may have been a bit tricky, but I try to balance it. I try to balance it for the non-Yoruba speakers amongst us. But I appreciate you staying, and I appreciate your presence also. So, ẹ̀yin bàbá wa, ẹ̀yin ìyá wa, àmọ́ lóore o, Kiram Gill. That name does not sound familiar. If you're new here, then please follow the page. She Matters, thank you very much. Yami She Matters, thank you so much for your amazing presence and your wonderful contributions as well. I made a promise to you at the beginning of the program, and I will try to I'll try to deliver on that. Lágbára Elédùmarè. The live with more than 10 friends. What's that? Ọmọ Elédùmarè. Message yellow Nikoko. Yeah, thank you. Ancestral language is important. Absolutely, it is important. It's everything. It's everything. That's part of the games that the enemy has played on us. That's part of it, because when you remove our ancestral language, you remove our medium of our ability to unite. you remove our connection to the ancestral network. You understand? It's disconnecting. So we have to try. We have to make an effort. I struggle sometimes as well. I can't pretend here. I haven't perfected it. I'm still learning myself, and I'm improving. By the way, I hope so. My elders would be the judge on that, but I think I'm improving. I feel like I'm improving, but I've still got a lot to learn. But it can only improve through practice. So, Shemo, thank you very much, Sister Shimatas, or Yami Shimatas. Thank you so much. Yami just been me. Thank you so much. And Babami, thank you. Thanks to every single one of you for your amazing contributions. I hope it's been helpful. I want to one in the comment section. No. Babami, I'm okay in the house drop. Mosheba, Bejio, Mosheba. Bàbá ẹlẹ́rìn ìpè mo ṣe bá yín o, bàbá mi ọmọ Elédùmarè mo ṣe bá yín, mo ṣe bá Júnilọ o, ìyá mi ajé wá mi rí mo ṣe bá Júnilọ. Èyí náà sọ pé ẹ ti gba ìwé yín, wọ́n ti deliver ẹ̀ fún yín lénìí. Would you care to share your first impression, any early feedback you would like to share? I'm always curious to know. I'm always curious to know. Even though I wrote the book, even when I got my copy, it was like it was a moment. It was a moment. It was a moment. When I received my copy, it was a moment. So yeah, I'm always curious to know how people how did you experience it? When you finally got your hands on it, how did you experience it? So yeah, we've been reading from this book today. In the last week or so, all the programs we've been reading from this book, we explore different chapters. Okay, we try to enhance our understanding on certain concepts within our Yoruba cosmology. Èdùmàrè á tọ́ wa sọ́nà, àwọn orúnmọlẹ̀ wa á tọ́ wa sọ́nà kí a bá lè padà wá sí ọ̀nà Olódùmarè náà ni o. So it's about trying to elevate our level of consciousness through Ori Inú, because that's the starting point, and trying to regain what's been lost, spiritual ancestral wisdom rather, and trying to realign and reconnect ourselves back, trying to get back on the Olódùmarè universal network, Olódùmarè support system, which consists of all our ancestors. It consists of our Orí Inú, it consists of our Ìkànrí, it consists of our Òrìṣà, àwọn Rúmọlẹ̀, àwọn Babaláwo, àwọn Ìyánífá, àwọn Oníṣègùn. We have a whole support system that we've been disconnected from. That's the greatest crime, if you ask me. We've been disconnected from a whole support system, which is why we struggle. This life is not supposed to be to be a struggle. There will be challenges, but it's not meant to be painful like this. Okay, we've been bamboozled. That's why it's like that. So hopefully we can reconnect, and the rest of our journey will be eased, and will be fruitful and successful. Okay, and rewarding as well. So yeah. Tẹ́nìkan bá ní anything tẹ́ bá fẹ́ wá dá sétò ẹ jọ̀ọ́, feel free to on mic. If anyone would like to come up, I find the singing part fascinating. That was not singing per se. Sometimes singing, but the Babalawo Olumide is an Ifa priest essentially, and he was chanting. He was reading from Odu Ifa. It was reciting some verses from Odu Ifa, and it was using it to teach, basically. So but there, even if you don't understand the language, I'm sure deep in your soul, deep in your essence, you feel that resonance. You feel something. You feel something divine. There's something special in that. That's probably what you felt there. Yami, just me being awesome. Okay, even sometimes I'm some Babalawo. Sometimes I'm Yoruba, but sometimes some things that they say, even I don't understand what they're saying. Sometimes I can't lie to you. I'm still learning it myself, and I'm Yoruba, because even in Ifa it says that means even understanding the verses and the tone at which it's being recited it's not an easy thing. It's something you have to acquire the listening ear for that as well. Even if you do speak Yoruba, so not everyone who speaks Yoruba, who understands Yoruba, can always or can understand what the Babalawo is saying, even though it's in the same language, but it's in a different tone. It has a different ancestral resonance to it. You know, it's like a language in itself, even though it's a Yoruba language essentially. But the way it's spoken, it's like a spirit. I don't want to call it spiritual. It's like an ancestral tongue to it. It's fascinating. It's amazing. You feel it. You feel it. You know, yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Okay. Man, quick abẹ̀rẹ̀ round up láti bẹ̀yẹn o. As usual, torí kí mo ti sọ pé ẹni tó bá fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ẹjọ́ Mike, ẹni tó bá fẹ́ wá sókè, tó bá nìkan tó fẹ́ bá wa sọ, bó jẹ́ ìmọ̀ kan lẹ fẹ́ fún wa mú ni o, bó jẹ́ ìbéèrè ni o, bó dẹ̀ jẹ́ àtúnṣe àbí àyọkúrò kan tẹ fẹ́ fún wa, ẹ feel free láti come up o. But if not, as usual, we can just end the show with a beautiful song from one of these Isheshe artists that we've had the honor. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, maybe we should just play a song and end the live from there. Let me try and find the something related to today's topic. Okay, checking. One second. Egun àti Òòṣà. Okay, I think this probably sounds.
Adigungun àtòrìṣà Adigungun. Yálà lórí ẹ̀, òtítọ́ ajé jù wọ́n lọ. Kò sóríṣà tó dàbí Ifá. Tó dàbí Ifá. Kò sóríṣà tó dàbí Ifá. 100. Ifá mi, ẹṣin ló máa gbà. Better they come to ẹ̀jẹ̀ ìrà. Àrídúró dé olúmọ̀rọ̀ kan. Ẹlẹ́rìí ìpín o. Ifá ẹni, ìṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ẹni. Ifá ẹni, àjíkí. Ifá ẹni, àjíkẹ́. Àtòrí ẹni tí ó tún wọ́n ṣe. Adigungun, àtòrìṣà Adigungun. Ìyálà lórí ẹ̀yẹ. Òtítọ́ ajé jù wọ́n lọ. Kò sóríṣà tó dàbí Ifá. Tó dàbí Ifá. Kò sóríṣà tó dàbí Ifá. Tó dàbí Ifá. Before me I do anything, mo máa bèrè lọ́wọ́ rí, mo máa bèrè lọ́wọ́ Ifá pé ṣeré ló máa já sí o. Ifá jẹ́ mọ̀ kí n tó ròde. Now I got the map, got the blueprint. I choose the way Ifá chooses, and I'm walking in light, I see the real me. Everything is aligning, see me. Ifá orí mi rè, àyà mi rè. Ifá orí mi rè. Adigungun, àtòrìṣà Adigungun. Ìyálà lórí ẹ̀yẹ. Òtítọ́ ajé jù wọ́n lọ. Kò sóríṣà tó dàbí Ifá. Tó dàbí Ifá. Kò sóríṣà tó dàbí Ifá. Tó dàbí Ifá.
Okay, bàbá mi.
Ilé asán.
Bàbá mi òrìṣà ọba, àbọ̀yìnbọ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ o. Ogbó àtọ́ bàbá àbí ìyá mi dẹ̀ nìyẹn òrìṣà ọba ogbó àtọ́ àsúre ìwòrìwò fún. So yeah, on that note, I think we're going to bring today's live to a conclusion. We may be back tomorrow or the day after. So thanks everybody for your presence and your amazing contribution. So yeah, ẹ ṣeun. Ìpàdé wa jẹ́ ire àti ayọ̀. Mo ṣe ìbájú nílọ o. Mo dẹ̀ kí gbogbo ilé ní kíkí tó ní ọlá jùlọ. Mo kí yín ní ẹlàbọ́rú, ẹlàbọ́yè, ẹlàbọ́yè bọ́ ṣíṣẹ́ o. Ilẹ̀ ti ṣú díẹ̀ sọ láti wrap up níbí báyìí o. Lágbára Èdùmàrè gbogbo wa là á sùn re là á jíire o. Àjíǹde ara á máa jẹ́ wa lágbára Èdùmàrè. Àní wá yín tì o, àní wára wa tì. A máa rí yín bá o. Ire àti ayọ̀ ni a máa fi pàdé o lágbára Èdùmàrè. Gbogbo àdáwọ́lé wa a máa yọrí sí rere. Gbogbo àdáwọ́lé wa ó wá di ire àti àṣẹ báyìí o. So mo kí gbogbo ilé o. Mo kí gbogbo ilé. So ìpàdé wa ní ayọ̀ o. So we'll end the program here. Thanks to all the contributors rather. Thanks to all the contributors and thanks for all your contributions as well. So we'll be back tomorrow. If not tomorrow is Saturday, right? I may be out and about tomorrow. If I'm able to do a session early, I definitely will try. But if not, we'll be back on Sunday then. So have wonderful weekends, everybody. Have amazing Friday if you're partying and you're stepping out. Yummy, Ifakemi, Ifadara. Okay. Oh, you look like you just came up. So yeah, we literally just wrapping up the show. So yes, well, Lagbari Dumari, we'll see each other then. Okay. Sorry you missed it, but yeah, we'll be back tomorrow or Sunday. Okay. So ẹ ṣé wo mo ṣe bá yín àgbà wa mo ṣe bá yín bàbá mi alátúnṣe bàbá mi ẹlẹ́rìn ìpín mo ṣe bá Jónílọ Ifá orí mi rè o. So a tún máa pàdé ní ire àti ní ayọ̀. Ẹ ṣeun ire o. Thank you. Thanks everyone.